welcome to the MinnMax Show. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Sergio Vasquez.
Hello.
Jeff Marchiafava.
Hey.
And Kyle Hilliard.
Hello.
This is a beast of an episode. We've been wanting to do this for a very, very, very long time.
That is true.
And this is it. We're now going to record our Game of the Year discussion. So this episode is going to be about categories. It's going to be biggest news, characters, stuff like that. And if you're worried about spoilers, I totally get it. We're going to have timestamps, so if you want to skip like characters or moments, if you're worried about spoilers in there, that's a great way to dodge those. They're also towards the back half here. But we have a lot of categories, some fun ones. Some are more fun than others. Some are a little more serious. We tried. It was interesting. Like, we came up with so many options, and then we're trying to like whittle some down, like which are redundant, which can we get rid of. And I think we all were subtly in agreement that like we can get rid of some of these negative categories.
Yeah. We didn't want too many that kind of... Once we kind of had a full list, it was like, man, a lot of these are negative things, and that's not really what any of us want MinnMax to be. And
Right.
So
Worst game of 2019.
Yeah, let's just have more fun ones and
Right.
positive things.
We cannot talk about Jump Force at all if we just eliminate all negative categories. I think it would work out pretty well. Also, before we get into all that fun stuff and run through all those things, I want to thank everybody that came out to the first MinnMax community meetup, which was at Bauhaus Brew Labs on Monday. That is like... It's a very scary thing to just like send up the flyer and say, hey, everybody that supports the Patreon, and if you're in Minnesota, come on by. And then people actually came out there. And like the part that really tickled me the most was the amount of people that came out when it was just like them by themselves. Like they didn't bring friends or anything like that. I would feel uncomfortable doing that. And the fact that people came out, met other people from, you know, got to know them a little bit more than just a name in the Discord and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that was really heartwarming.
Yeah. And just anyone who was nice enough to come up and tap me on the shoulder and start a conversation with me. Like, that's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
For future reference, like, please do that. Like, don't feel like you can't, you know...
Well, that was the
like,
surprising.
engage with us, you know?
Totally. And it was amazing being at Bauhaus and getting set up with like Smash Brothers and everything there. And then just trying to figure out who's here for MinnMax and who is just here at the brewery. And it was like, if anybody was looking at that Smash Brothers start screen for more than 5 seconds, I'm like, you're with MinnMax. So then I went over and just like would introduce myself. And it's like, oh, thank God, I'm not just talking to a complete stranger here.
Yeah, and I always feel awkward about that, and I don't want to be like, hey, look at me, look at this guy's here, come talk to me. And so
that was
I
a weird
appreciate
speech.
Which I did to everyone who came up to talk to me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You said you don't like to do it, but you did it so often.
I know. I'm very confusing that way. But yeah, it was just super nice to meet a lot of people who would tell us their names and their screen names.
And specifically, people would say, you might remember me from such emails and suggestions for topics as it was like, oh my God, I love that email that you wrote in a year and a half ago. I can't believe you're here and are willing to call it out. And so Bauhaus said that they were overwhelmed by the support from the community because so many people brought toys to exchange for beer there. So all those toys go to HCMC, which is a hospital here in the cities. But the fun thing, too, is then we also have the GoFundMe for international listeners and viewers or people outside of Minnesota. And I'll have a link in the YouTube description there or in the podcast description so you can find it. But like we've cracked over $2,000 now that we can use to buy even more toys and games for folks. So that's going to be a very fun, silly shopping spree of probably leaning towards like a bunch of Switch Lights and then just installing some great games. We're not going to put any filler on there, but I realized like we can put like some Jackbox stuff on Switch. Like that'd be a fun thing for like a big group if they're in the hospital with a family, you know?
Yeah. No,
and so that'll be a fun shopping spree, and I will involve the community in that, and we'll have a lot on Instagram, all that fun stuff. Also, more, let's see. Oh, table setting. The Game Awards going on Thursday. We haven't talked about this before. We got it on air, but we'll be streaming some sort of reactions for that. I for sure will be there, and then whoever else wants to join to be cool, we'll see who's up for that. And so we'll do the full commentary and stuff, and I'm really looking forward to those. I know people have warmed up to them over like the last several years. People don't make fun of them anymore, but it's just a fun communal viewing event, and so we look forward to having the chat jump in there and make fun of the awards with us.
Yeah, we can finally see the end of that Ghost of Tsushima trailer.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that tease. Did you guys watch State of Play, the PlayStation thing?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought Resident Evil 3 was super exciting and fun.
I was annoyed just from the live stream point of view that like they try and do that fake out where they had it first person and they pitched it in the build up as like this is the campaign for Resident Evil Resistance. Then they show the trailer and it's like, oh surprise, it's Resident Evil 3. They're bundled together.
Yeah.
Which is like a fun twist. But then like they set up the Dreams trailer in a way where they're like, here's a trailer for Dreams. And then like the entire point of the Dreams trailer is it was also kind of going for like a twist, right?
Yeah.
Where it was trying to like make it seem like a sci-fi game and then psych, it's all one game.
The other thing about Resident Evil, which at least for me, maybe I just wasn't reading enough into it. My first question was like, wait, so is it going to be first person? Like, it's like,
right.
It was like I think there was a shot of third person, but then they released it. I think it was like an 8-minute video of them sort of going down like what the game was a little bit more, and then they showed just straight on third person gameplay, and it looks like Resident Evil 2, which is like perfect. Like, and it's absolutely crazy that it's like, was it April
2020?
Yeah. That's nuts.
So a timeline that's getting increasingly crowded with major releases. March and April. For sure.
Why not? So that was surprising. Also, a lot of people were excited about Babylon's Fall gameplay, like the new Platinum games, which I did not expect that. I was expecting more of an RPG, which I guess is stupid to expect from Platinum. But then seeing that gameplay, it's like, oh, it's just a stylish action medieval game. That's really cool.
That's kind of the thing that I got from it. But I'm a little disappointed in that they didn't show like, Platinum games have recently had either like they've always had like some sort of focus. They have like if you dodge at the right time, the game goes into slow mo, which is kind of Platinum's thing, right? But like the thing that they showed off was like this pull mechanic, which has been in Devil May Cry 4, DMC, and Devil May Cry 5. But I didn't see anything that's like. With Astral Chain, you saw like, okay, here's regular Platinum action, but you can control the second figure. With Nier Automata, they had that whole like backstory and the fact that it was an RPG. Here, I'm not seeing like beyond that pull mechanic what is kind of like them building on. Yeah, there's no iterative concept here besides like, hey, you can, you're in a medieval setting. And I was kind of like Hanson expecting some sort of RPG progression of like upgrading your things, which I'm sure will be there. But that trailer specifically, it just felt like here's the combat. We're making another Platinum game, right? That was like the sole pitch for it.
Yeah, which is cool to see Square Enix funding a stylish action game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were happy to work with them again after Nier Automata.
Right. But. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So, should we get to the big awards here?
It's going to take like 5 hours. So
it might take 5 hours. We should dive in. So we'll run through the different categories. If you were just listening to this, we're going to have a video version that hopefully will be showing what we're seeing, so if you want to track it along there, but we'll try and read out what's actually on this list. And it's tough, because all we have to go off of, really, is us right here. Hang on, Kyle is correcting a typo. Great, thank you.
You don't have the left. Whatever.
Oh, okay,
I'm just trying to help you,
Very
man.
smart.
Just trying to help you.
But all we have to go off of is, like, the people here. It's always tough to be like, well, it seems like the industry, this had a big impact, but, like, all we can gauge is our own feelings and levels of excitement or disappointment, whatever it is, in these games, and then find how that averages and then put that on the list. So this is not some objective view of 2019.
Yes. And we should also mention it's especially weird for this year because none of us knew we were going to be here for like 3/4 of the year.
Right.
And so normally, like, we go into these kind of discussions with a huge group that all have different interests, and we everyone's been playing different types of games all year.
Yeah.
And so, when we ended up here, it was like, oh, we really got to start cramming stuff in, and there's just only so much we could get to.
Yes, for sure. But I don't think that will have a huge impact until next week when we actually do our ranking for the games of the year. But this is going to be more select and specific, so hopefully it won't be too disastrous. But look,
but if someone says, hey, why didn't you do this for this category, it's probably because someone here hadn't played it or we didn't remember it.
Right.
We need more brain power.
We were certain that someone else had already played it and didn't think that it was going to be a problem.
Yeah, so we could do like a ranking and actually like list out these different things, but I figured let's be more brutal. Let's stick to the MinnMax name and have the winner, which is the maximum winner, and then the minimum winner, which is the runner-up. So,
which
doesn't make sense, but
I don't really understand
We're
how it works.
shoehorning it in.
So we have different categories. We're all going to volley out suggestions from the year. Then we'll try and whittle it down and get to the obvious winner for the winner of these categories, and then the runner-up. But that's going to be tough for some of these later on. I can't wait, which is why we should get going right now. Biggest news of 2019. Let's start with this. A nice way to look back on the year.
Yeah, that's good. Now let's see. Did anyone obsessively take notes all year about major news?
I have every time. See, this is how I determine what's a good news story in 2019. Anytime I open up my computer or Twitter and said, "Oh wow," which I say out loud several times a week, but like anytime I saw something that was like, "Oh boy," as Mickey Mouse would say, then I wrote it down in this note, so I have a track.
Which, thank you from the rest of us for doing that.
Yeah, it paid off finally.
The Oh Boys document.
The oest boyest.
That's right. Okay, so the news stories that had the biggest impact. Okay,
you want to just list them off?
Do other people have?
Yeah,
should
you
we
guys
start
must
with
have
everyone
something.
else?
I don't want to monologue.
I have a
here.
few, but I mean, like, I'm sure they're the ones that should I just go down my list and then yours
How
will
about
be a
you
lot longer?
you volley one, and we'll write it down on the list if we think it's a potential candidate here.
Randy Pitchford's flash drive.
100%. Do you want to explain what that means for people that aren't familiar specifically
Yes,
with
Kyle,
Randy
please, in
Pitchford's
detail.
flash
You did this
drive?
to yourself.
I think so. Randy Pitchford left a flash drive with important documents.
All
Among
the
other things.
company secrets, as some would say.
At a medieval times.
Right.
And then there was
It's
also
just the perfect restaurant to leave that at.
Yeah. Of course, Randy Pitchford's going to medieval times for dinner. And then there was also
Go on.
pornography on the flash drive.
It was
that he
yes.
was using for magic research.
This is the explanation that he gave. Just the entire first half of this year and the Randy Pitchford saga, but I like boiling it down to one headline, and I do think this Randy Pitchford flash drive is absolutely a contender for just weirdest news stories.
Yeah.
Because then the person that found it, they had to like bribe them in a way by giving them like a bunch of Gearbox, like, gifts and stuff like that to try and get that flash drive back. But then they talked about it on Piff the Magic Dragon's Magic podcast.
That's right.
It is a saga, man. Okay, so some of these they might be small. If you guys think it stands no chance, just go ahead
cut
and
it
put an
way,
accent right now.
Okay.
Rockstar and their PC launcher.
No.
Okay, interesting detail for
It's
the
an,
industry
yeah,
this year.
it's
everyone's
a
doing
notable
it.
news story. I don't think it.
It's
right.
The news story is that Rockstar wasn't doing it already.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And they're finally giving away San Andreas. So
Finally.
Putting Red Dead 2 on PC before Red Dead 1. That's fine.
that is
Whatever.
yeah,
That's
hey,
cool.
New story of the year. Okay,
it.
here's another one. Sony buys Insomniac.
Not interesting, but everyone thought they were already owned by Sony.
Wow.
I mean, which is, just inaccurate, but like because of that, because they've been so tied to Sony all these years,
Right.
it wasn't like a big deal. It was exciting for Insomniac, and I think it's good for Insomniac, but it wasn't like a big headline to me.
That's true, but I don't know how brutal we want it. Like,
go.
that feels like an okay runner-up, maybe,
no,
Okay, I'll put it down
I mean,
as an
I
option.
guess it depends on what else is coming, but
There's some juggernauts we haven't hit yet. I mean, I'll just get with this next one here. Hey, Blizzard and the China debacle.
oh, right.
With
Okay,
yeah,
well, get rid of
that's-
Insomniac.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
Just blasted that one.
Okay, that is off the list then. So now it's just Randy Pitchford's flash drive and Blizzard China, which, again, what a saga.
Yeah.
Kyle, do you have another one you're going to add here?
Bungie Activision split.
Yeah, that was the one on
Yeah.
my list as well.
Do you want to explain what that's about, Cyril?
So, if you follow Bungie's history, they were for a while I want to say they were independent first, and then got bought by Microsoft.
Right.
And then they split from Microsoft.
Wait, just to back up a little, weren't they owned by Apple initially?
Or I
might
think they're
have
just
been.
making Halo
They were making
4
Well, they were
Apple?
Marathon was like a Mac game, and they made NOP, GNOP, which is Pong backwards, which was like a game that was included on Apple computers. And
Everyone's favorite Bungie game, of
then,
course.
NOP, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but you're on the
They
right
have
track.
they have a long
yeah.
history of being acquired and then becoming independent again, and then it happened again. But I think this one felt a little bit more surprising because it felt like they were at least locked in for like that 10-year contract. It felt like, okay, at the end of that, that's when they'll reconsider. But the fact that they essentially broke that, whatever the legal stipulations were for that, they basically were free of that contract ahead of its expiration, which felt surprising at the time.
Right.
And them also getting to keep Destiny, I think, was like the other big part of it, because it felt like this is Activision's next big thing. Of course, they're going to keep it. Like if this thing were to happen, Activision would keep Destiny.
Yeah, but it's just amazing because like so much of that paperwork was out there as well in like the legal documents, and so everybody knew they're like, okay, the structure for release is you have the big release, then the Comet, the little expansion
Sequels
and stuff.
and
Yeah, but apparently in that paperwork, I didn't notice it, but I guess it's that idea that Bungie owns the IP, which is insane because Activision would bill it as like from the creators of Halo and the people that brought you Call of Duty was like their big pitch for Destiny, and now just to be like, oh yeah, but we technically don't own it, and we just poured probably hundreds of millions into this thing, and now it's just no longer ours.
Was there like did Activision ever come out and say exactly? Was it just Destiny wasn't meeting expectations?
They
Despite
said
being
in
the hit
an
it
earnings
was,
call
right?
that it was not hitting like the marks.
Like they
internally
wanted
that they
another
wanted.
Call of Duty, and they were getting
Right. They were getting something
good
like
game,
popular,
but
but
not,
not to their expectations.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Which I guess says like a lot about what publisher expectations are for certain games. I remember there's like that Tomb Raider thing where it sold like like you would look at the number and say that's a good number of sales, and Square Enix seemed to be disappointed by that.
So like Hitman specifically, right? That was the
it was
one.
like Hitman and Tomb Raider.
And Tomb Raider.
Yes,
Okay.
where it was like it's the best-selling one in the franchise, but not enough for the publisher to be happy.
Right. And it's so crazy with a game like Destiny, where they also had microtransactions in there, and I'm sure everyone was angry about that. And now it's free to play. Like, it's just amazing to see Bungie take ownership over that entire property.
Yeah,
again.
I think going forward for the like most of this year, a lot of their major decisions were viewed through the lens of like, is this something that would have happened anyway, or is this because of the split? Things like it coming to Steam obviously was a thing that wouldn't have happened otherwise. But even things like cross save, right? Like that, them setting up so you have a universal account that you can take anywhere. And even just like the way they've started rolling things out with Shadowkeep, where it's less like focused around individual like tentpole releases and more around seasonal content. You know, was that a thing that Activision had pushed them to do, and they said this is a good idea anyway.
Yeah.
And like the delay, I feel like this was a lot of the split was based on the initial Destiny 2 not doing super well for them, and Forsaken I think was the kind of the nail in the coffin for that contract. But I think Destiny has been on an upswing for most of its trajectory, so I wonder when Activision made the decision versus when it came into effect. And like Destiny keeps getting better, but you know, when did Activision decide to pull that cord? Was
right. Hey, good breakdown, man. This is a weird one because it was like bubbling for a while, but I feel like the first time you saw this headline in any capacity, it was one of those like, wow, what is happening here? Which is the George R. R. Martin working with Miyazaki and From Software on the new game, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Is that a contender?
It's exciting, but I don't think it's a contender.
Okay, I'm going to write it down and go against what you just said, just in case, From Software.
I think it's major. I don't think it's like up there, but I think it's a weird combination for sure. Like to have, like it just feels like George R. R. Martin could work with whoever he wants, right?
Right.
At this point, except for on
except
a
for
novel.
himself on his own book.
So for him to, however it came about, whether someone said like, "Hey, you should work with these guys," or he was like, "I really like Bloodborne" or something, and said like, "We should work together on this." Like it's kind of an interesting combo for sure.
It certainly was a good headline. I think the thing that keeps it for me from being more important is just there hasn't been any follow-up, and we don't know how long we're going to have to wait for that kind of follow-up.
This is an argument that's frustrating. I hear you, but at the same time, it's like, this is headline that was a whoa or a wow or an oh boy moment, right? And like the fact that like there's still more to come, it's like, how important is that?
I get that, but just in terms of the things that it's also going up against.
Okay.
Which I think.
All right, I will not put it on the list.
Well, I mean, you can put it on the list. I'm not going to stop you from putting it on the list.
Yes, back on the list.
There we go.
Jeff, you want to volley one out?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Next one.
This is one category that I have been like struggling to find the time to go through all these, and when I saw Biggest News, I was like, no, Hansen has like every headline recorded.
I'm so excited. Okay, what about PlayStation 5 details out of nowhere appearing in that Wired article?
I like that one on the list, actually.
Yeah?
I think it's so also weird because that was, if we had heard that thing, like they could have made that a much bigger deal. But like the way it was released is also like in a way kind of muting, but also amplifying, because it feels like the fact that they just said, yeah, Wired's got all the details on the the specs of the PS4 just felt like, oh, okay. But also the fact that they're like, yeah, we're just gonna tell you guys
it's
what it is.
Still confusing.
I don't know how it happened. Twice it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There were 2 rounds of that.
It's an interesting signifier of like how information is shared in today.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need to do a big thing. It was totally fine just being like one interview with one outlet, and it got shared by everybody else.
It's also like, it also, I think, tells you how important it is to certain people, like the specs, and how unimportant they end up becoming, because when you think about like how many people think about the specs of the PS4, right? Like at this point, right? Like they think, like they'll tell you like everyone in like their initial pitch is always like teraflops. It's got 1.6 teraflops or whatever. It'll run at this like gigahertz or whatever, and then like, everyone forgets that as soon as the console is out. It's just like how do games run on it, right?
And because the hardware is so customized, it's so hard for even like the best tech company, like the best tech outlets out there, even they're like, you know what, we're going to have to wait and see like how this hardware is actually working once it's in, the total ecosystem of the new console. But I also did like with that one that they did have the very concrete thing that everyone can understand of like they brought out and they demoed it with a game showing that the loading times were like nearly non-existent
even if it's a PS4
at that point.
game. Yeah, that was really smart for sure. Okay, here's some more we can fly through. The Call of Duty 2020 shakeup before Modern Warfare came out this year, like that announcement that Sledgehammer is moving into a support role and that Black Ops 5, this is a Kotaku story, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by Call of Duty's development, but I understand I'm on a limb
Yeah,
there.
I mean, it's interesting, but it's like it's not big headlines or anything.
What about from GDC? What if my computer decided to close Google Docs?
Put it on the list.
No, what about from GDC, the announcement of Google Stadia?
Yeah, I think that's noteworthy.
That's a whoa moment.
Yeah.
And again,
that's an oh boy for sure.
But again, that's that tough thing of like knowing the follow through and that Stadia hasn't lit the world on fire at this point.
Yeah,
it's like, man,
it feels like it
the
hasn't even
news that like
released.
Google is getting into the game industry in what they see as a big way, I think is a story from the year, right?
Yeah.
I'll only pee on that one a little bit.
Oh, please, just a tinkle.
But even when they announced it, I was already like, I don't know how this is going to work, and I'm very skeptical until we actually start seeing demos of it.
But when you first saw that headline, you probably fell out of your chair.
Yeah, no boy.
I guess I had no boy. I can't remember the specific moments. I don't remember the exact place I was in that moment when I heard about it.
Okay,
as opposed to Randy Pitcher's flash drive.
Everyone knows where they
I was
were.
driving home and
Not
I
in medieval times.
This just in.
I like how you're like so very itty bitty in your own car that you're driving like this.
Meep, meep.
Yep.
Okay, if Sony buying Insomniac isn't on this list, I don't think Microsoft buying Double Fine is going to make the cut. But worth noting is
but
a very
it's
interesting
very
thing
very
this year.
sweet announcement.
Yes. Kyle, do you want to throw it in there?
I honestly don't remember the full details of this, but there was like a lawsuit between Rockstar and the Pinkertons.
Oh boy.
Like
okay.
they're like over like the use of their family name in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
I think it got settled out of court, which makes it like the fact that I don't think it was on the list, but I remember
I think we're all in
that.
agreement that is the number one news story of 2019.
The old Pinkertons. And also, like, Rockstar gets sued every year
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
someone looking to cash in
Lindsay
on
Lohan's
their...
granddaughter
Yeah.
at this point is
I'm
also
next. Watch out, Rockstar.
Here's a tiny one that I don't even remember happening, let alone writing down, but apparently the director of Cyberpunk 2077 joined Blizzard. Somebody remember that? That's a weird news story.
I think I remember writing that story. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Here's another very specific one that I don't think is going to make the list, but one of those things this year that I was like, wow. When AOC called into that Donkey Kong 64 live stream to talk about trans rights.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
It was just one of those like, this is insane.
It's the future, man.
To have somebody in Congress jump on the line and talk about Donkey Kong 64, and she also talked about how much she loved Pokemon Snap. I was like, this is like, I know she's very young, but like this is mind blowing that we're at that point in society.
Bernie Sanders has a Twitch channel, doesn't he?
I haven't checked it
I
out.
don't think he's
he
playing
was-
any games on there,
He
but
was talking about how much he liked Space Invaders and
Boo, old man.
that game with the stick that you twirl the hoop, down the street.
he really likes threes a lot because it's just like numbers, just lots of numbers.
Even distribution and all the numbers there.
3%.
There's some really good Bernie impressions.
Killer. I have EA canceling the Star Wars Vancouver game. Also notable, but not huge. This is tricky. It was definitely a huge thing when it happened, but when Metro Exodus was pulled from Steam, and that kind of ropes in the larger just push for Epic exclusives.
That was like the first big kind of like story because there was an additional layer there that hasn't been in story since of they pulled it from Steam, which is different from like this is an exclusive, and I think that was like that specific moment led to a lot of the kind of simmering ire for a lot of people because like they like everything else, every other Epic Games exclusive is viewed through that lens of like you are literally taking it away from Steam, which is where I've been comfortable buying all of my games.
And I pre-ordered it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like there is no better like encapsulation of that feeling than the fact that the game was on Steam. You could pre-order it. And then they said like, no, like we're you can no longer pre-order it. If you pre-ordered it, we're honoring it, but this is moving to Epic.
Yeah.
And it was such a weird thing throughout the year too, because then Shenmue 3 was also a big hullabaloo about this as well. And it's tough because like, yeah, that one headline maybe didn't pop as much, but it definitely was such an ongoing saga this year of just Epic locking down. It's like if there's a cool game coming out on PC, odds are it's going to be on the Epic Game Store over Steam at this point because they're just shoveling out Fortnite.
Although
cash.
today, I think it was today or a couple days ago, the the Bastion developers. What is that? Super
Hades.
With Pyre.
Yeah. Hades.
Hades is on Steam now, right?
Yeah. So now those exclusivity contracts are starting to expire.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah.
I believe that those contracts are only for a year of exclusivity. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Metro Exodus pop up again next year on Steam. Tying into this and just the insane amount of money that Epic has, Fortnite Chapter 2. I feel like there's a saga.
That on the list actually because it was like the way they did that. I thought I'm not even a big Fortnite guy, but I was watching it from the outside. I was like, this is cool. Like
the black hole having like such a narrative moment in this, just battleground.
Like I like because we were talking the other week about movie trailers and Avengers, and it's like you guys don't have to put out a trailer. Like and I feel like that's what they did. Where they were just like they turned off the game and everyone freaked out, and then they turned it back on and had a big thing. You know what I mean? They didn't make a trailer for Chapter 2. They didn't like buy all this YouTube ad space to sort of hype it up. They just like flipped a switch that it like collapsed the world and like reopened. Like I just thought it was cool. I just liked how it was done.
It's a nice flex of like they have the world's largest captive audience at this point, and they can do whatever they want.
And take advantage of that. Do something fun with it. You know?
Plus, like they get to lean into everybody saying shut down Fortnite. Fortnite sucks, and they're like, okay, we did it, and we're gonna hold to it for what, like 32 hours or something like that. Okay, what about? Kyle, jump in if you have a ton more.
I've got a couple.
Oh yeah, please.
This is maybe under the radar a little bit, so I don't know if you have to add it to the list. But Devotion being delisted from Steam and not coming back in any way.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes the list, but it was definitely that was like one of my oh boy moments. In that like it was when I
Hang on,
when
did you
it
say
went
owl
down.
boy moment?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was like delisted because it had some like message that was going against like the Chinese prime minister at the time.
It was like a Winnie the Pooh poster, right?
Right. Well, it was like a reference to calling him Winnie the Pooh, which is something that is like borderline illegal in China at this point. And so it went down, and I fully expected that game to come back because in the wake of that, people were like, oh, this game's actually really good and people should play it. And I was like, okay, I'll wait for it to come back and I'll buy it. And then it never did. And so like the fact that they just said like for whatever reason, we can't make this work. It's not, the game is just gone at this point.
They released a statement later basically being like, sorry, it's not coming back. By the way, watch the movie that's coming out based on our first game, which is like, it's like that studio is strange. Like they had like a weird hit. But,
which is an odd precursor to a lot of the Blizzard China stuff for sure. Just like how like you forget every once in a while that China is like one of the biggest forces in gaming. Which by the way, the Switch just launched there, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, and like and they are very much kind of wielding their power as a market force by like, using their kind of authoritarian tendencies to say like, we don't want this. like, don't do this.
Right. Which might tie into one of the other big stories from the year that we put on the list, Blizzard China.
And then the other one would be like Anthem. Like it's complete kind of like for that game to fall so flat on its face, and for BioWare to like they announced that they're having that huge update. Well, they didn't announce it, but like
Kotaku leaked it.
For that game to have become such a huge failure in a lot of ways, and
for sure, where I would cut you off and tell me where MinnMax stands on this. I'm with you, but what's the headline? I like having this to that one thing, and the headline is not just an opinion piece.
Anthem falls flat on its face.
Yeah, but no one wrote that headline. It's just like a sentiment more than a specific.
It was a story that like was made up of individual events, but that told like through that narrative, it told a complete story.
The headline was like 100 review headlines.
And like
true. I mean, it wasn't an announcement. I guess.
Taking away. What you're saying.
It was a thing of it was a story told in pieces where they said like, hey, we have this roadmap, we're not doing that. Yeah. We're gonna go completely quiet on the game, and then them. Like part of it, which I think kind of elevates it a little bit, is that like they're still planning to bring it back, but how that's going to happen, and like a lot of it is also like the story of that also Kotaku also reported of how that game came to be and why like a lot of that game's development was so like strange and kind of like tense for a while. I mean, which happens with a lot of games, I'm sure, but like for that game story to have become so public, I think kind of is like a nice intersection of like people didn't necessarily want this game from BioWare, and people were. I think there's a certain amount of celebration seeing like this new venture from them that is like, oh, this is a thing. You're turning it into a thing that is like a market force versus like the RPGs that we want, and for people are kind of rejoicing in the idea that okay, now you can go back and make the games that I want.
Yeah, now make Mass Effect 2 too.
Yeah, now make Dragon Age 4 basically.
Right. What about Dexit, the Pokedex controversy with Sword and Shield?
I mean, okay. I think we can put it on the list.
But for us, it didn't have that huge impact, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we even barely talked about it on the podcast,
Yeah, it's, I don't know.
The game I mean, I know you like to get to the core of the headline.
Yeah.
But I feel like the game coming out and being good just sort of undercut that whole, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But
okay, what about Reggie retiring from Nintendo?
That's like a nice, I think the headline there is important.
It's a nice thing.
Serial.
It's like a nice story. You bundle it because usually we don't get to see a lot of that. Or we haven't seen a lot of that yet.
Yeah.
People just kind of either quietly go away, but
or they get fired for some weird reason or something. Like they leave a flash drive at medieval times or something.
I mean, it was like a heartwarming moment, that happened to be on Twitter for a while of like everyone saying kind of their goodbyes to Reggie and then like him being like for the company to acknowledge him in such a way that he got his send out and he's coming back for the Game Awards.
That's right.
Yeah, very exciting. Metroid Prime 4 getting rebooted and moved over to retro. I think is cool, but probably not a contender. Activision, remember this when they laid off 800 employees?
Yeah.
It was a huge deal earlier in the year. Again, huge saga, but I don't think the four of us fell out of our chairs for it.
Yeah.
Herman Hulst is the new Worldwide Studios president for Sony. That internal Sony shakeup, again, news story.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot of just sort of rearranging.
Right. Ninja joins Mixer.
That's honestly a big deal.
That's big. It's hard to I don't think it's big in this group specifically, but it does kind of point to where, that
the effort Microsoft is
people
making
are still trying to compete with Twitch, which at this point seems like so ubiquitous, right?
Yeah. My last one was very early in the year. It's just to tickle your memory banks. Is that a phrase?
No.
Do you remember at the start of the year when that professional Overwatch player, there was like a conspiracy?
This is on my list, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Everybody thought that she wasn't actually playing for these Twitch streams. And it was a bizarre saga because then everybody on the internet, of course, is like, just because she's a woman and she's good at the game, these conspiracy theories, this is so stupid. Turns out then she was not actually playing. And the team explained it as
like a social experiment.
It was a social experiment to pretend as if this woman was that good at the game. That was such a weird little beat in the video game industry. So not making the list, but one of those weird things.
Yeah.
I also I don't know, one of my personal stories, which I don't think ranks, but it was like the Shanghai Dragons, like being this weird, like ridiculous, historic underdog in the Overwatch
they never won
league.
anything.
Yeah,
right?
I think I want to say like the entire first season they didn't win a.
This is the Overwatch team.
Yeah, they didn't win a single
Bad
match.
News Bears of
yeah. But I think if you count them among professional sports, they had the longest losing streak in professional sports ever.
Right.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, and now I think they're actually like a pretty solid team after several.
Have they won it all? Yeah.
They've won. They're like contenders in the league now. They're not like perpetual. Losers, but
is it weird that makes me significantly less interested
in the Overwatch League or
just Overwatch League?
Because if you tuned in, you'd still be like, oh, they're really good. Like you want to tune in and just see goofball bloopers.
But it was
close, but they still lose.
I was watching that. Like they had so many close calls, and then the time they actually won, there was that's
gonna be exciting. Yeah,
and that's watching them win their first match was super gratifying. But I just want to mention it. I don't think it'll win.
It's winning made them less renowned almost. Just kept going. Anyway.
Okay, so biggest news right now on the list we have Ninja joins Mixer, Reggie retiring, Anthem's failure, Devotion is gone, Fortnite Chapter 2, Epic Store exclusive / Metro Exodus off Steam, Google Stadia, PlayStation 5 and Wired, George R. R. Martin and From Software teaming up, Bungie Activision split, Blizzard China, which we haven't really dove into yet, and Randy Pitchford's flash drive. What gets cut? What's a safe cut?
I think you can cut Devotion. I think it's to me it feels personally important for reasons we'll get into.
I think
in the future,
Anthem's failure too.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was a pretty consistent talking point for a while. And it still kind of is. As soon as you see that Kotaku report,
it's one of the gaming stories of the year, but I don't think it's a gaming news story of the year. Which is this is why all categories are flawed. But that's the way I see it.
I don't know. There are things on that list that I would cut first, but
so
let's cut those too.
I would go with Reggie retiring. I would cut George R. R. Martin and From Software. I would cut Epic Store. I would cut.
I would not cut Epic Store.
I would not cut Epic.
All right, Google Stadia. I would. Okay. I kind of know what my top two are, which are
okay. Well, let's keep going. We'll see where the table screams. Ninja joins Mixer. I'll cut because again, it's an interesting saga, but for the table. But how many?
I also think that there is time. I think the story is still happening. I think that if in 6 months he goes back or whenever his contract expires,
but again, I don't want to factor that in.
Yeah.
I want the specific
but like
moment.
what I'm saying is that individual point by itself, I don't think is like isn't enough to hang with it like a lot of this other.
I think it's also.
And now you're a Giant Bomb fan. Does it hang?
Oh well, because
no, I love it. You can't help not compare it to.
Well, it doesn't make the list. Was the one that we use at Game Informer all the time.
Right. So we have
Bungie Activision.
I would cut PS5 details and Wired just because it's 2019. You assume that it's going to get out there somehow.
That was more weird than that was like.
No, it's pronounced Wired.
Oh, that's right. Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Okay, so at this point, it's Fortnite Chapter 2, Epic Store exclusives, Bungie Activision split, Blizzard China, Randy Pitchford flash drive.
I mean, okay. I know it's like it's probably the most fun story on the list, but do we really think Randy Pitchford's flash drive is like
number one news story?
Yeah.
But it's the most
solid
fun.
It was like a fun time. It was like a really fun time on Twitter. Like
we all had a great time.
The fact that like this was like kind of like a jumping off word for a lot of people, like kind of this pent up animus towards Randy Pitchford in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but to me that is such a spectacular implosion of a.
Because it also connects to, like, do you remember the reveal stream for Borderlands 3? And again, I'm going against my own rules of rotting it out. But just like the Randy Pitchford, oh God, why does he have to be connected to one of the biggest games of the year with Borderlands 3? Was such an overwhelming mood for 2019, right? And you could just feel everybody within 2K wincing of like we can't say no because it's an independent company and he owns this stuff. But
it did seem like a big flipping point for that company that usually their fans are on board with pretty much anything that they're doing, like
Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Battleborn.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I think they're on board with Borderlands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although that Halo port for PC.
But it's
Samba de Amigo and Wii. Whoa.
I guess it is kind of
Brothers in Arms.
Hello, neighbor.
Randy has been a controversial person for a long time, but this was such a weird conglomerate of like so many bizarre things that like everyone was talking about it and couldn't even believe that it was something that was happening.
Yes, exactly. That suddenly magicians podcasts were in the gaming lexicon. It was such a funny beat.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like
what did it affect the sort of larger industry, or was it just like
it was like it was a fun train wreck to watch.
Tabloid stuff, you know?
It was tabloidy. Yeah. It was the most tabloidy.
Yes, but I guess
news story that made you go, wow.
In terms of biggest news, yes, not necessarily biggest.
I think
the category isn't biggest industry impact.
Right. Right.
It's biggest oh boy.
At this point,
is that the name of the award?
That was a major oh boy.
I would cut Epic Store exclusives just for falling in the category of like the news story is. It's again a story from 2019, but is it a news story?
I think it's still something people talk about all the time. Like I think that is maybe my number one.
See,
wow.
Because like that is when you think about PC gaming at this point, that is the thing that keeps popping up. That is every week I feel like there is a new either Epic Store exclusive, another round of people being super pissed off about that.
And there's more sustained anger about this than there is about
even like the Blizzard China stuff, right? China. I feel like that stuff is mostly blown. Like there are still
which is insane to me, but
right, like the fact
which
that
is the reason why it should be our number one.
No.
But like I mean, I think that is a much bigger deal than a lot of the stuff on this list.
Yeah. Okay. What about Bungie Activision?
Yeah, I think that can go.
That one.
Interesting, and for the future. Also, it's so focused on Bungie and Destiny.
Yeah. Right. Happy for those folks to finally have like some independence and be able to chart their own, Destiny.
Right.
But I don't think it had like I don't think you didn't see like a dearth of like studios saying like we should also be independent. If anything, you saw more studios get bought.
Right.
Which kind of makes this exception more notable. But
yes. Okay, so right now it's Randy Pitchford's flash drive, Blizzard China, Epic Store exclusives, and Fortnite Chapter 2. I'm having a tough time cutting Fortnite Chapter 2 because it was like one of my favorite things. It is one of those like, wait, they're doing what now? And I thought it was one of the most bold marketing plays I've ever seen in the video game industry.
Hanson, is that a moment? Versus a news story.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Also, I could use my argument of it being focused on a single game and not necessarily. Well, though Fortnite is the game industry right now, for better and worse.
I think that is a moment to me more.
That's a great point. All right, noted. Okay, so flash drive, Blizzard China, Epic Store exclusives. Is this the point when we go around and name what we think our number one would be and see how that shakes out?
I mean, we may as well have a 1 and 2, right? Because that's how the
let's just do one, but I think
okay.
I think we'll figure it out from that. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Hang on, writing down.
Do you want to start with Serial so you can vamp on your phone here for a minute?
Yeah, correct. Serial.
Yeah, I would go Epic Store exclusive
as number one.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But, and I guess we should clarify, this won't voting, right? We're not voting necessarily,
No,
right?
because some people could be a 10
death.
out of 10 on their vote. Another person could be a 3 out of 10 on their vote. So, math always gets messy.
Yeah.
We'll just keep talking it out like we've
grown-ups.
always done. Yes.
That's you.
All right.
Okay,
And
now we got to figure out a timestamp for that.
Cool.
Number 1.
Yeah, I think
Is that an instruction?
man, it is neck and neck.
Look into your heart.
I would
know
say
the right answer.
Blizzard China.
Number 1.
Yeah.
China
Kyle?
number 1 is what you're saying?
Okay, buddy.
Blizzard China for me. I think the fact that what was essentially what many people considered to be a flawless developer. I mean, people held up Blizzard as being. I mean, honestly, before now, I feel like
What are you talking? Don't you remember
Diablo
BlizzCon
Immortal?
last year?
I guess that's
Yeah,
true.
I
Or even porting to PC
I guess I
to
feel like
console, people lost their minds.
it's just like they were. I guess maybe I'm not. Sort of acknowledging the tail enough, but let's say before that BlizzCon, Diablo Mobile, I feel like no one could ever say anything negative about Blizzard. And
I
then,
disagree, but yes, obviously this is a
Yeah.
huge twist.
And I mean, you mentioned the console thing, but I feel like they have turned that around to the point where people are excited that their games are also on
For sure,
console.
but then if you include the auction house, there's always the real player ID. I don't know if you remember that saga from years ago. There's always something to be mad at Blizzard about, but it has never quite hit the levels to the point that Congress people across the aisle are sending a letter to Blizzard saying, "Hey, we don't appreciate you squashing democracy."
For them to reveal two pretty major things at BlizzCon, and for those to not they did take over eventually, but for them to have any competition in terms of negativity on the other
with
side.
Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. But
Right.
I think what hurts this a little bit in my mind, but maybe I'm zooming out too much, is that idea that I feel like it was a kind of a flash in the pan. As much as people were outraged once Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 were announced, at least looking at all the comments that I was reading, people were not still fully losing their
I
minds.
think that has to do a lot with the way anger works on the internet in general. To be fair,
that's also getting back to the impact argument versus
Okay.
a news, a major news event that
This was an
every,
boy for sure.
Every
Oh,
a
boy.
lot of non-video game outlets were also covering that
And
because
maybe,
it was
maybe there's a little bit of acknowledged bias for me, but I also don't want us to I don't want us to move on from it.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? I want it to be remembered as a major part of this year.
And
as
it was
should be.
it was so weird that it's so connected in my mind to right when I left the magazine too, and that the Blizzard cover, and so there's so many emotions tied in with that for me. But I would go Blizzard China as number 1.
Oh, did we want to add Game Informer layoffs half its staff to the biggest news of the year?
40%, depending on who you talk to. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really more like a
subjective.
third, right? if you factor in ads, and it's not just
Oh,
editorial.
it's my number 1. I don't know.
Okay, if we had to choose which one to cut between Randy Pitchford's flash drive and Epic Store exclusive, which, by the way, is there a better way to frame that other than Epic Store exclusives in your mind, Surreal?
I think that's the proper way to frame Epic buys exclusives or something like that. you know? I think there's also
Epic
some
Courts exclusives or something. Man, I love Randy Pitchford's flash drive and all its content.
You've seen it?
I've seen it. A lot of good research on there. But I think Serial has kind of convinced me a little bit of it being more just fun gossip than sort of it was
a brilliant train wreck, and I think it kind of acted again as an animus for people. I've been finally looking for a great reason to dunk on Randy Pitchford, and this is totally it.
I mean, that to me though is this is the category for that. That doesn't fit in other places.
We don't have a hottest mess, Surreal.
Whereas I still feel like the Epic Store thing is certainly, it has been a topic of conversation the entire year.
Yeah.
But if we're saying it's Metro Exodus, that to me wasn't as big of a headline. It's kind of standing
It was
in
the
for
starting line.
a starting
was.
point
It was
of
a
a
big
lot
deal.
of things.
I think it was a big deal.
I'm
at the
not
time.
saying that
though.
it wasn't a big deal, but in terms of the last ones that we have.
And
that-
if the soul of this category, which I'll proclaim right now, is that oh boy moment, I don't think, Metro Exodus is now exclusive to the Epic Game Store made me blink twice.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess to me this was like the Epic Store thing. This was like the biggest recurring story of the year for me. Like it was the biggest news going out through this entire like year basically. But I guess it's down to a matter of like, is the category a single incident or like what is the biggest event that happened this year?
It's named very clearly biggest news, but not recurring news.
Good. Yeah. Well, then if I'd known that ahead of time, then
Can you live, Surreal, with the winner being the Blizzard
I guess in
debacle?
terms of like acute versus chronic, like the moment in time when that happened to Randy Pitchford, I think got more people talking at the time.
Yes.
But I think in the long view, I think the Epic Store exclusive is a much more important thing that happened.
In 2 years, when we look back on this list, I think we'll be like, oh yeah, that flash drive, like that was insane.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh yeah, that Epic Store stuff. People are still getting unreasonably mad about that, aren't they?
Right. Am I safe in declaring our winner, Blizzard China debacle, and runner-up, Randy Pitchford flash drive?
Do it. I feel like it goes without saying that you kind of make these, if it comes down to it, right?
No, I don't want
You're the one with the computer.
I think that's sucks.
I like that. I'm sorry, Cyril, but I like Blizzard one.
Wait, why did you also delete Randy Pitchford's thing?
Little copy paste.
Okay.
Okay. We can live with this?
I love it.
There it is. So the biggest news story of 2019 in the gaming space was the Blizzard China Blitzchung debacle over Hearthstone, and the runner-up is Randy Pitchford losing.
Congratulations to Randy Pitchford.
Yeah, really. Great job.
Good job, Capcom, to Randy Pitchford.
Oh, boy. All right, the next category is the most confusing category. This is recently renamed the That Came Out This Year award, which I see it as the Honorary Blank Check Award, which is one of my favorite things on the Blank Check podcast, is when they talk about a movie that's not that old and they say, this movie does not exist. Like, this just is not existing in culture in any way. So
I got to make sure mine
but the
came
official
out.
name is That Came Out This Year award. So I think the way you should look at this world is that idea of the game that had the biggest drop-off, most anticipation, came out, boosh, just zero, and people would be like, oh yeah. Basically, the first was the oh boy. This is the oh yeah.
Not just that it didn't sell or that people stopped playing it, but like people just legitimately forgot about that game coming out.
Yes,
absolutely. I had one and I realized it came out very late 2018, so now I'm bummed.
That's fine. Does anybody have a nominee for the That Came Out This Year award?
I mean, we were just talking about Jump Force.
You can't do that. Do you want to put Jump
people
Force
went
on
into
the
that
list?
with kind of like appropriate expectations. So I don't think
to be
super
fair,
excited about it.
they're like, this game looks...
So Jump Force on the list? Let's just put it on the list.
No, I don't think so, because the fact that we were talking about it earlier says that we're still talking about it.
I would nominate Crackdown 3.
Crackdown 3 is
that's
a great
good one. Yeah,
option.
That is a good one.
I would nominate Sky Children of the Light, the follow-up game to Journey
I really
from
like that
Genova
one.
Chen.
People may disagree with this now because I didn't realize it was as big of a deal, but Metro Exodus was the one where I wouldn't have even known it was out.
I think that's a contender for sure, and like a lot of people love it, and I think it's a solid game, right?
Which is kind of makes it more frustrating too, as well, because it came out, the reviews seemed good, and then it's just like
people kind of quietly moved on.
If you grabbed a random gaming enthusiast off the street and said, "Is this game out?" They may not be able to
"Sir,
answer
unhand
that.
me."
Yeah.
Yes.
How about Golem, the VR game?
Okay, but was anybody on the edge of their seat about Golem? The fact that we were confused when it was coming out, I think hurts that. But I hear your point.
I mean, the reason I bring it up is because of the people behind it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Marty O'Donnell from Bungie. And
a lot of Halo talent.
But we can leave it up because it's not even that. It's like, oh yeah, that came out. It was like, what is that?
Right.
Yeah.
I would nominate Trials Rising.
Okay.
What do you guys think about that? Certainly
Not
does
a lot.
not exist.
I think there are stronger contenders because Trials is kind of a niche game to begin with.
I don't think there was like a lot of anticipation for that.
It is both niche and they come out so often that I feel like people are
Okay.
Yeah, I have a pair of
leave it off the
nominees: World War Z, which came out, and also Warhammer Vermintide 2.
Interesting.
Both of which fill a void that I think a lot of people want filled, which is like a Left 4 Dead style game.
Yeah.
And both of those came out, and both of those, from what I've heard, are good. But no one ever talks about them or mentions them at all.
But at the same time, it definitely has the silence after the fact, but I don't think it had the roller coaster ramp
was an
up.
anticipation.
I never heard somebody say, I can't wait to play World War Z.
Okay.
You know?
Except for me after E3 when I played it. And I said, hey, this is actually ridiculous.
I feel like Vermintide 2 maybe sticks a little bit more because people...
Sure.
There was a first one.
Yep. Okay. Here's an odd one. Labo VR.
Just, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think because Labo was 2018, but Labo VR.
Right.
Okay. Specifically
Also,
VR.
It's weird because like that's not a game. That's an accessory.
There's a game on there. Yeah.
There's the
there's a game
Jumpy
you can
Frog
only-
game.
It's the same as like if you like a Wii Fit U or something.
Yeah.
Like we still consider that a game even though it included an accessory, right? Like
Sure.
Labo VR has like games in there that you're playing. It's
Sure.
like it was like Nintendo Land or
But
something.
was there
like that.
in the spirit of the category, was there a lot of anticipation for it?
I mean, it's Nintendo doing VR. Like that's kind of an oddball thing, you know? and
Yeah,
it
but
didn't
I don't
really-
know. Like I don't know that people were excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll cut it. But
but-
I do think it is shocking how.
It is. It's surprising. Like the fact that they made it is surprising. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Yeah.
Well, tell you what, let's just keep adding for now, and then we'll cut
Sure.
later. I would nominate Rage 2.
Sure.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
What about? I was gonna say Gears 5, but I think that made a splash. I think people ended up ultimately liking Gears 5. And
It's
we're talking
kind of
about
a
it.
contender.
Is it enough,
I think
though?
it's above. It is above this award, but kind of below really
Yes,
any
I agree.
other radar.
I have one I'm feeling
don't know.
very confident about. Yoshi's Crafted World.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like even when
job.
you said that, I immediately thought, wait, is that the 3D? Is that the one from the 3DS that they
No
brought out?
one's
Is that
sure.
a port or is that a new game?
Here's a weird one: Overwatch Switch.
No way.
Really? I feel like no one is talking about that at all.
Yeah, I
don't
think it's
know.
people specifically saying like, "Hey, I would love to play Overwatch on Switch." I remember that. I remember people
Yeah.
saying that, and
Okay,
for it
I'll
to
put it on the
finally
list.
come true.
It's a weird one for sure because it's like
It's
it's
true?
not a 2019 game, but I thought it would be a bigger splash. I
Yeah.
thought like. Because I think everyone did what I did, which was like, oh yeah, that would be cool to play on Switch. I'll add that to my wish list.
Yeah.
And when it's like $5, maybe I'll pick it up. And then no one's really
No,
playing
yeah.
it. You know?
Okay,
Well-
this is for you.
I don't want to say no one, but
This is a game
Yeah.
that is the direct follow-up to literally one of the biggest games on planet Earth,
Okay.
and no one has mentioned it a day after its release. Harry Potter Wizards Unite,
Yeah, that's
the
good.
Niantic Pokemon Go one.
That's good to put on the list. Yeah.
And I would say there was
was-
not a crazy amount of expectations, but everyone, I think, saw that headline and was like, oh, that'll do well. And then as far as I
Yeah.
can tell, it has not.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Hey,
That's a good one.
you guys can tell me if I'm stupid for this because I don't know. In terms of people wanting it for years and years and years, I don't know if the reaction to it finally coming out, but does Shenmue 3 fall on this? Has there been enough talk? Has it fallen off to the
there's
point where it's
there's
like,
fascinating.
recency bias there for sure
Yeah.
because like we are in the part of the process where people are still talking about it, and I feel like it would have to be by next year that.
Yeah.
If people forget about it by next year, that would
It's
be
also
when we
it's
would say
tough
like.
it's tough for me especially because I played it, so it was sort of
And
at
it
the
is
forefront
recent,
of my
like
mind.
you
Yeah.
just played it versus like
But I
something
think-
like World War Z. If we had done this category back then,
Yeah. I
And
think
if
it's
it came out
it's a
in
good
March,
option,
I think it's a
though.
good option, but I think it is just like we have to be subjective about this, and nobody's surprised that Shenmue 3 came out this year, right?
right? Yeah, maybe not that. I'm just wondering, like, is the rest of the internet talking about it? You know?
No, certainly not.
I think they're talking about it more than some of the other ones on this list.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Ancestors: Humankind Odyssey?
Oh yeah.
Do you think? But again, I would say there wasn't that much hype. It was just like
yeah,
this
there was
funky
a lot
game.
of vague ambivalence.
I guess I
where
looked
it's
at
like,
it
I
as
don't
like
know, it's,
I see it as like the game from the guy that created Assassin's Creed, which should
but I
be
feel
like a
like-
big thing, but it's like they didn't market it that way really, and it's like
yeah,
it
it's
just
not at
kinda-
all like it does not
Yeah.
like borrow from that lineage at all in a way that makes you think like, oh, if I haven't been liking recent Assassin's Creed, I can play this game. Like
Yeah.
that's not what that.
Right.
That's not what this is.
Okay. What about Far Cry New Dawn?
I was thinking that one too. That kind of lands in like the Rage 2 area
Yeah,
for
They
me.
kind of went.
But I think Rage 2 is a better candidate in that slot.
Yeah.
In that,
They
in
sort
that
of like
milieu. milieu?
those two sort of like made neither of them sort of be talked about.
Right.
If they had released like months apart, I think each would have gotten its time in the spotlight because they
yeah.
kind of came out around the same time. Like everyone was like, oh yeah, there's Rage 2 and Far Cry. Like they kind of got spoken in the
And
same
also,
sentence.
I think the thing that makes Rage 2 stronger is that a new Far Cry game usually comes out every year. And so I
Well,
think
yeah.
it's easier to kind of
Okay.
just look over that one and forget about it.
Yeah.
What about? Sorry, I'm sorry. Travis Strikes Again: No More Heroes. Is that a contender
mean-
on this list?
Yeah, I think you can put it on there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big Switch exclusive.
Yeah,
that
it was
was
kind of
like
his
a lot of shoulder
return to
shrugs.
directing. I obviously I'm a little biased because I reviewed it and played it and liked it, but like it does not seem like that game has made a splash at all.
What about Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story remake?
I don't know.
That's a remake.
Yeah,
I think it's a
All
remake.
right. What
Yeah.
about Minecraft Earth? Technically released.
It's a little bit of a
Very
Shenmue
recently.
argument too,
Yep,
right? But
yep.
yeah, not making a splash really.
But I feel like Harry Potter is a better
Example of that,
candidate
yeah.
in that category.
How about? I was gonna say Apple Arcade, just because like everyone was like
Oh my
super
God.
hot on it, and then now I feel like.
But people kept playing Grindstone for a while, and so they were accidentally
I think
thinking
people are
about
still
Apple
talking
Arcade.
about Apple Arcade. Just kind of like it's hard to be excited. Like you can maybe mention a game on Apple Arcade, but in terms of like I'm really excited about the concept of Apple Arcade. I still want to talk about it.
Everyone got their free month and was like, "This is an amazing launch lineup. This is the future."
Yeah.
And I just feel like even then I was kind of like, I like Grindstone, but like. I think we're overblowing this a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
but well, like again, it's hard to maintain excitement for like,
Yes.
oh, you can
Yeah.
download games digitally now. Like,
Yes,
we just kind of
exactly.
come to expect it,
Right. Any other nominations?
This is a good list.
It's a good list right now. Right now we have Crackdown 3, Sky, Children of the Light, Metro Exodus, Labo VR, Vermintide 2, Rage 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, Overwatch on Switch, Harry Potter Wizards Unite, Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes for the that came out this year award.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can cover Vermintide.
Yeah, that was gonna be
Okay,
my
cut
first
Vermintide.
cut.
I guess we also could have said Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
It's telling you got the name wrong. It's Breakpoint. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
People also weren't talking about Wildlands.
But do
so.
you feel like Rage 2 is
Yeah,
also
I
in the-
think.
Yeah.
I think
not that,
that's
see,
probably
that's not fair, right? To think like, there's already one
Yeah.
that fills that slot, but
Because the R2 could be Rage 2 and Breakpoint.
right.
I on that point, like I almost Division 2 feels a little that way to me. Like it was good and people
Yeah.
really liked it, but it was like really flash in the pan, disappeared quickly.
It does seem that way, but I bet if you look at that player count, it's still probably
I
pretty
think there's
decent.
more of
Yeah.
a tail on that one.
Yeah.
Compared to the current player count for some of these games, like come on.
So I like. I think Metro can go. I think Labo
Hang on,
can go.
I can cut Metro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jeff. You didn't
All right.
fight for it. Labo, I will also cut
yeah.
Labo VR. I will cut Overwatch on Switch.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's also like a re-release, so it's like people
Yeah,
are
that's
still
true.
talking about Overwatch. It's hard to know like how much of that conversation is overlapping with
Yes,
the Switch version.
I would cut Travis Strikes Again.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
I think
Probably because like it's the table and Serial loves that game, So
Also, I think the people like Serial who were excited about that game were
I feel like I got what I
appropriately
wanted,
excited
right?
for
Like-
it and like talked about it enough. And it's also
I was also
kinda-
not. I wasn't expecting it to be like this is like a revelation and everything.
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like I got what I wanted, and it's not like I was expecting to talk about this for the rest of the year. Like not really, because it is a prelude to No More Heroes 3 in
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Okay. Harry Potter, Wizards Unite, Yoshi's Crafted World, Rage 2, Sky, and Crackdown 3.
I feel like-
these are 5 very big swingers in my mind.
I feel like Yoshi can go. That would be the one that I would cut from that list because I don't think people were like chomping at the bit for another Yoshi game. I feel like those games are always kind of like, oh yeah, we're making one of those, and people are like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, we'll see. Like there wasn't a lot of anticipation for it. I don't think anyone.
Okay.
I think very few people were like over the moon about the idea of a new Yoshi
to be fair,
game.
I considered myself excited, but the fact that I have not picked that up and thought about it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's something
Okay,
you would prefer to cut first,
I think it can go.
I'll cut it. I'll cut it.
There's
Can I say Harry Potter? Like I understand.
cut?
Yes, I understand that it's important. It seems huge in terms of its Niantic's next follow-up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and maybe this is my own bias, just thought like I don't want to play a Harry Potter game on
Yep.
my phone. you
But
know?
in terms of ingredients that should have worked, but
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. I mean, even like a big Harry Potter guy, big Pokemon Go guy, when they announced it, I was like, oh yeah, I bet that'll do well. I'm not interested in adding another GPS game
Yep.
to my
Done.
thing.
So now we're down to Crackdown 3, Sky, and Rage 2. Should we do around the table and choose our number ones? Is that how you want to do this?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Serial, where are you at?
I think Sky Children of the Light is probably my number one, just
Okay.
because it is the next game from the people who made Journey.
Yep.
And I think, they wanted to do it, but the fact that that game released on mobile kind of just completely sucked the life out of that game's
yeah.
excitement.
And they
Yeah.
said it was coming to console in
Yeah,
2019.
and
That has not happened.
But it's like that game is built around the mobile platform because there are free to play aspects to it. So unless they completely rework it for consoles, I don't know that I'm interested in playing it now, even if it came out on
But
consoles.
yeah.
yes, Jeffem?
Yeah, mine is Crackdown 3.
As your number one?
Yes, as in terms of a game that people wanted for years and years and had very high hopes for, I feel. Just that series coming back. Well,
high hopes is...
But your point, I think, is well stated.
I think there was, everyone loved Crackdown 1. Crackdown 2 was a disappointment. And then we have been seeing snippets of Crackdown 3 for a long time. People are like, oh, man, it's got all this environmental destruction. It's going to be amazing.
It's like, was Microsoft's like only legitimate exclusive for like what feels like a decade?
Yeah, it was announced at the beginning of the Xbox One's life cycle.
Yeah. But,
okay, Kyle, where you at?
Sky, for sure. As someone who beat that game, it blows my mind, like that journey, which is like just the game that people point to as being games as art, as being important to the medium. Like the fact that came out and like it was free, and like in the Game Informer office, like Miller reviewed it, and I'm the only other person who beat it because I was like, surely there has to be something else here.
And I played it for maybe 2 hours or so, and we did it's tough to factor this in, but like, I did interviews with Genova Chen, we pulled out news stories, I remember at Game Informer, and like 0 people cared.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah. It's
which
a bummer.
Is impossible to think of.
Yeah.
I guess to me that's why I question it a little in terms of and maybe it's just me, I wasn't super anticipating it to begin with. Like, again, I understand the legacy of it's the next game after Journey, but as soon as I heard it's this thing on mobile, like, I was checked out and I didn't really care to begin with before it came out.
But I think that's part of it, though. Like, it's like the fact, I think them kind of pivoting in this direction that I think kind of nobody wanted them to, I think is part of, like, that game's having been forgotten, right? Because if you told me even now, like, hey, Genova Chen's announced another game, and you can just kind of forget about Sky Children of the Light, I'd be like, okay, I want to play that because that leftover excitement about Journey, I think, would still prompt me to want another game.
Yeah.
The fact that this kind of was their next thing and it just completely got skipped over after people found out that it was a mobile game with like the structure that it was, I think is like kind of it does lend itself to being in the spirit of this category.
And I think it's been 7 years of people saying, oh, I can't wait to see what that game company does next. They do it, and it is a flat line. Like, I think that's so notable.
No one's talking about it. Yeah.
I guess I can understand that. To me, it's a little award confusion of like what the category is, because to me, when I think of it, it's something that people were anticipated for the actual game that it was supposed to be, and then when it came out, people were disappointed.
I mean, I was definitely looking forward to it every time it would pop up, which was every couple of years I would get excited about it. Even when it's on mobile, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was just excited for a new That Game Company game. Yeah. Like, sort of the platform was sort of irrelevant. I was like, well, if anyone can make it great, it'll probably be them. And then I mean, I will even say it's a good game. Like, I liked it. The ending is really cool. But it just no one cared. And no one's playing it,
So is this list Sky, Children of Light, number 1, runner-up, Crackdown 3?
I like that. I liked the Crackdown
so.
3 suggestion quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other question I have is in terms of what's important to us versus what we think the larger community was looking at.
Yeah. I know you like Crackdown a lot, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I like Crackdown. That was fun. I didn't beat it.
You're the one person.
And so Rage 2, does anybody have a lot of hype personally for Rage 2 is the question?
I was curious about what another Rage would be like, but I don't know that I was like, I can't wait to play another Rage.
Rage 2 was my, this is coming out award.
Right.
Like, they're making a sequel to that? Like that's,
to me, that one was exciting because they were, I mean, I guess the first Rage was kind of open world, but it seemed like the gunplay was really exciting. They had more, it was kind of a more parkour kind of action-y thing. People seemed more psyched about it as it was coming up to release, I think. And then just no one talked about it after it came out.
I think it's on Game Pass now, right? And people aren't playing it really.
It's always weird, like, how you perceive these things. Like, I haven't seen somebody tweet about Rage 2 in 4 months. Therefore, but, like, I don't know what else we go off of, right?
Mm-hmm. I think, honestly...
But, to me, like, obviously, Sky is going to be on there. To me, I guess Crackdown is the better example to me than Rage. So.
Okay, there we go. Let's do it. Sky, Children of Light, locked in. The That Came Out This Year award, or the Honorary Blank Check Game That Does Not Exist, with Crackdown 3 as the runner-up. Wow.
Good job, I guess.
You did it. Now we're going to have the I Need to Go to the Bathroom award.
Oh,
And I'm going to be the runner-up, and then I'm going to run upstairs and go.
I mean, Jeffem's the winner for that one.
Yeah. It's always me.
I guess we'll find out.
All right, we'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. Next category.
You really could have started the segment before you popped the can.
I have a lot going on in my brain. So
He
Okay,
wanted
alright.
that sound effect.
Yeah.
For the ASMR fans.
All right, here we go. Next category is a game we all agree is probably good, but we didn't play it. And we know this. These categories are starting off a little more negative. This is a positive category, just a backhanded positive category, right? Okay, a game we all agree is good.
It's not even backhanded,
I think
really.
it's a category that acknowledges that one day we're all going to die, and we have to choose how we figure out what to do with our time.
That's
Hell
positive.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Right?
Yeah, honestly, I think
everybody loves death.
I think it's a
People can't
positive.
stop.
I don't think it's a negative thing at all.
Okay, a game we all agree is probably good, but we didn't play it. Does anybody have a nomination?
Disco Elysium,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Well, okay, so
But you played it.
I
tricky
played
thing.
about
Problem.
7 hours of it.
7
And
hours.
Yeah, and
I
I
do
really
think
liked
it's a
it.
contender. I've played maybe 40 minutes of it.
Okay.
I will leave it on this list for now, but I think the fact that one of us has played it does hurt it in this category.
Maybe.
yeah.
Should I not have played it for the sake of
Yeah.
winning
Dang it,
an
Cereal.
award?
What are you doing?
I mean,
dude?
there's also like, yeah, this one's tough. I started Darksiders Genesis, but it's just like it's one that
does not count.
doesn't count.
I don't know. I don't think so.
know.
man.
I haven't played it.
I feel like
I also would be more reserved to say like, okay, we can probably like safely say that game is good. I don't know that I'd be willing to make that jump.
Oh, for
Yep.
Genesis.
Yep.
For Darksiders
sure.
Genesis. Whereas like I'm very confident that if I had played through it at this point or like by next week, that Disco Elysium would be in my top 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. What
That's a
about
good argument.
as a nomination for a game we all agree is probably good, but we didn't play? Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played like half of the first episode.
Okay.
But that's not enough to really weigh in.
Again, I don't know that hurts a
Okay.
thing. If
All
you
right.
if you've only played a little bit of it and it's something that you can see yourself playing, or maybe not, or it's just not your cup of tea, but it's something that you don't feel like you have gotten the full experience.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think the spirit of this category, like even playing it a little bit, it might actually help. Of like, I can confidently say this is good, but I can't confidently say for sure that it's good.
Sure.
Another one for me is Outer Wilds.
Yeah, that would be the number one that I would nominate.
which I started, but like did not get a sense of at all. I want to give it more time.
Here's
Yeah.
the tricky thing: is like, by next week when we actually rank the games, we probably will have played more Outer Wilds by then, don't you think?
I'm kind of in a weird position where I played like 40 minutes of it, and I'm like, I think I might be good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't think it has to be.
But
It doesn't have to be accurate. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be games that
doesn't
we.
have to be.
But no,
Well, I mean,
what
like, not
Hansen is
fully-
saying is
It
that
can
like
be a sham category.
what
can mean
Hansen is
nothing.
saying is if like let's say for example that after this podcast you play Outer Wilds and it's like your number one or something, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect this category?
I think it boots
That's
it
a
right
good
off
point.
there.
I'm with you, Jeff. Kick it to the curb.
All right.
Like if
'Cause here, I
you're
think-
confident
So,
you're not.
so you think we're gonna play enough of it next?
I think this category is ideal for games that we all agree is probably good, but there's no chance we're gonna have played
Okay,
it for
okay,
the game of the
so
year.
if you're
stuff.
confident that you
Okay,
can,
okay,
you,
yeah, yeah.
you
In that
can
case, you can
finish
cut
Outer
Outer
Wilds by
Wilds.
next week.
Yeah,
then-
because that is the one on my personal
Yep.
list that I'm going to try to spend time with
There it is.
before we
and-
chat. So
well,
okay.
to be fair, Disco Elysium is mine, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think about Judgment?
I've played half of it, and I can kind of confidently say that it's fine. Like I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
mean,
all
I
right.
think it's a good option. I don't. Yeah.
All right, not on the list. What about?
I just had one.
were there like a Dragon Quest game that came out this year or something?
Dragon
like
Quest
that?
Builders.
No, I've.
Well, there's the
I've
Switch
played a whole lot
port
of that
of
one.
Yeah.
11,
Okay.
which is great.
Yeah.
but
But
Didn't
no.
that come out on PS4 last year and came out on Switch this year?
correct.
That's the kind of thing that this category speaks to me of, like a JRPG that I'm just never gonna. People say it's good.
Yeah.
I take their word for it.
Yeah.
I'm not playing.
I mean,
it.
that's what Disco Elysium is for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being honest. Like, it
And for
just
me
doesn't
too,
seem like my
that's-
genre. I don't think I'd really enjoy it. But everyone is really positive on it, and I admire the excitement surrounding it. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, let's keep throwing stuff on that seems like we all agree is probably good, which is the name of the category. Telling Lies.
that's a good one
Yeah.
to add to the list. Yeah.
Okay, that is the follow-up to Her Story, a game that I loved.
Yeah,
made my top 10.
People were positive on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you at least give it a 9.
Yeah. She really liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We should play that game.
Yeah. There's a lot of the games, and I notice there's a theme here. I'm going to keep volleying them out. After Party.
I played and beat it.
I played a lot of After Party.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I liked
it.
All right.
Yeah.
What about Knights and Bikes?
That's a
from
good
the
one.
creative director from Tearaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not like super like, oh, I should play that. But I haven't played it, and I don't really have that much of a desire to. Which, like, I get it could totally be a fine
No,
game.
that's fine.
But
What about the aforementioned Hades from Supergiant?
Well, that one's in a weird spot. Like, I haven't played it. I'm confident it's good, so it fills those two categories. But it's also like
Early access.
It's in early access, so I'm waiting to play. I specifically am waiting to play it until
when
it's
you
done.
are going to play it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When it comes out for real, quote unquote, I will 100% play that.
And to be clear, like if we want to establish this, at least for me, and maybe you guys will disagree, I feel like if something is in early access, like we can totally consider it for this
Yes.
list. If you can buy the game and play it, even if it's incomplete, like I think we should consider it for this list.
So maybe in that sense,
Well,
I don't think that's a reason to knock that game off the list.
I think we could consider it, but it's kind of a difference. Like, oh, if Minecraft is still technically in alpha or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I also
we're just it would be something that you're just ignoring at this point, or that you don't think you're going to play.
Yes.
I also think that this is like a nice dumping ground for games that aren't going to get a chance to get talked about next year. Whereas
sure.
I imagine to talk about Hades next year.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to hold you to that. A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Yeah,
good one.
I would
Yeah.
100% put that on that list.
That's maybe the one that I'm least interested in playing, but I definitely have it somewhere on my. Oh, it'd be cool to check that out.
It's kind of high on my list based period on like at some point I asked people like, hey, what should I play this year? And like that was the number one answer over Outer Worlds or like Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium. People were like, you need to play Plague Tale Innocence.
Yeah. What about Yoshi's Crafted World?
Well, we don't want. I don't want.
I don't think
Okay.
that fits here.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I don't know what the reviews were for it, but did anyone play Concrete Genie? That was one that I was.
The reviews were
are
fine.
positive,
It's 7.5s. You know, like I can live without playing that.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions right now? The
I
list
like
is
this
Disco
list.
Elysium, Life is Strange 2, Telling Lies, and A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Astral Chain, which I still have not gotten around to.
I've played like half of it. So
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm planning on finishing it by next
Okay.
week. So
Okay, was there a standout sports game this year? Like, was there one that
I thought
reviewed
about
super
it.
well?
There's like NBA 2K20 stuff like that, but none that I've been meaning to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Some Black Friday bundles with Xbox One X available right now. You know? $150
expression.
off, dude.
can't say no to that. Okay, so should we start whittling this little list down?
So wait, but are you saying that this category then is stuff that we are meaning to play?
Yes, that we most want to play, that we acknowledge is good, but just have not.
That if
gotten
you
around
had
to.
like let's say 4 Sundays in a row where you had nothing going on,
Yep.
would you play these games? That you would be very excited to play these. I'm looking through my list right now to see if there's anything else.
Okay, I am. The fact that Disco Elysium is so high for you guys, I think, is interesting. Suriel, I want you to help make the final call on this one about whether you think it applies for this category. The fact that I've played a little bit and you've played more, I feel like that cuts it from this category.
I don't know, because I think part of it is like. It is a way to acknowledge games that we should have played by now, and we can say, like, without making a full determination, can we say like, yes, this is a very good game that you should play? That it's like a kind of like a recommendation without recommending
A blind
it.
recommendation.
Kind of, yeah. And I feel like I'm still at the point in that game because that game is supposed to be like 40 hours long or something.
Yeah.
Where I feel confident about it, but I don't necessarily can for sure say like Disco Elysium is fantastic and I love it, right? I don't know. Like
I feel like there's a chance, even though you guys haven't finished it, that we could be talking about it next week. You know?
Okay.
I feel like a Plague Tale, like none of us are going to make an effort to play that in
No.
the next couple of weeks. But everyone's very positive on it, and like I want to know more about it.
That was my question. I don't know if people were as positive. The reason Disco Elysium sticks out for me is everyone was like, "Oh, this is the best game of the year. This is amazing."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I believe you. I'm realistically just not going to play it.
At this point, yes.
A Plague Tale, I
There's
haven't
defenders
seen
out
enough
there,
of the-
but yes, I'm willing to cut a Plague Tale.
Oh, you want to cut it? I was saying to keep it.
I know, but I was going against you.
You son of a
But in terms
gun.
of like, do you think you're ever going to play a Plague Tale, or is it just?
I was looking for. I made a cursory search when all those Black Friday deals were going on to see if there's anything that might have it was like $25 off, and that was just high enough for me to be like.
I think the fact that I realistically probably will never play it almost makes it fit the category more. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
we didn't play,
Like,
probably aren't going to play, but hey, it's
there's
supposed
an
to be
element
good.
of like, yes, shut up. I know that you guys like this. I want to acknowledge that sentiment, but look, guys,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Should we just do number one choice and see how it shakes down right now? Or can we agree to cut something?
I know the Disco Elysium is the tough one because that's be my number one. Because realistically, I'm not going to play it, but everyone's head over heels for it. But like, it gets sort of weird.
Let's see where it stands. I mean, is it in that Outer Wilds batch where you're gonna try and play more Disco Elysium by next week, Surreal?
Yes.
Then doesn't that?
Okay, and then sure.
As long as we trust you that like you will be able to talk about this game in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk. Yeah. Okay. I think we can cut it. Sure. I will have played more Disco Elysium by next week.
It feels like the game that this category was made for, but unfortunately we've stuck our finger in that.
Sorry,
pie.
guys. I was trying to be thorough, so I messed up this category.
How could you?
Yeah.
Okay. My number one would be Life is Strange 2.
Mine would be Life is Strange 2 as well, though.
Okay.
With Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium gone, I think Life is Strange is the one that I most want to play.
Mine's Plague Tale, just because I had multiple people always recommending it to me.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
How do you guys feel about...
beaten down Brian made a lot of effort to try to get me to play
he
it.
told me about that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you guys stand on Telling Lies? How much do you want to play that?
I've told lies.
It's okay. A little white lies.
Look,
okay.
You haven't played Disco Elysium at all, have you?
Look, you know what?
You know what my problem is what was the original game?
Her Story?
Game? I still haven't played Her Story. Which is yeah, I know.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
So.
Which is like affects that sort of.
I do think that I'll cut it for that reason. Like if either of you don't know what's cool about this type of game, like
and it's like one of those things where it's like if I'm going to play it, I'm going to play Her Story first.
At the same time, I feel like that one could have won this award the year that it came out too. You know, as a thing that everyone was saying, hey, you should play this. I understand. I'm sure it is good. It's just not my bag, and I'm not gonna seek it out to play it.
Mm-hmm. If it helps at all, I think you can beat that game in like 3 hours.
Yeah,
like tops.
Yeah, it doesn't help. I'm sorry.
It's not that interesting.
Like I said, I'm sure it is good. It's just something that hasn't spoken to me.
Is that the one that you are?
No. Okay. I would say Life is Strange number 1 and A Plague Tale: Innocence I'm fine with being number 2.
Hang on, let me.
Okay, now the new Oxford American Dictionary.
Messed up this. Okay, I can live with that. All right, Telling Lies, you're gone.
Yeah.
Life is Strange 2 as the official winner for 2019's game we all agree is probably good, but we didn't play, and A Plague Tale: Innocence for le runner-up.
Right, and so now we do the ceremonious slashing of ourselves for not having played these games.
That's
because we're not real gamers.
Shame, and we're sorry for all the listeners and viewers that are screaming right now. How have you not played that?
That's what it's for. It's for the yelling portion of the discussion.
All of our Ray Romanos out there.
This one goes out to you. This next category is something I'm very excited about.
It's pretty broad.
But I'm also very excited about next year, because when we're planning for this category next year, we can keep track of it all year.
Keep track all year.
Because this is just kind of scrambling in retrospect. Yeah. The category is dumbest thing, ladies and gentlemen. Dumbest thing.
So is like leaving just an example is like leaving a flash drive at a medieval times. Is that a dumbest thing? I don't know.
It's pretty dumb. I feel like
we want to keep it in-game
stuff here.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be, but maybe leaning in that direction. Okay. But hey, something can blast through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nominees for dumbest thing.
Okay, dumbest thing.
Here's what I have it. I don't know if you're there yet in Resident Evil 2, but I'll say Ada and Leon's kiss in Resident Evil 2 struck me as one of the dumbest things I saw this year. Because wait, what? How? No.
No, they can't kiss?
No, they can't kiss. All right, look, I'll just write it down.
Can I? Okay.
I don't remember
Kyle
that.
was really into it.
Well,
is the thing.
I really liked it a lot. It gave me an oh boy moment. So I have one from Death Stranding that's not a story spoiler. Really. How do we? But it is like something I didn't know that you could do going into the game. How do we want to?
It's a mechanic dumb. Spoiler.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic.
Okay, you've been warned, listeners and viewers.
Yeah, you can skip ahead. So if you've played early in the game, you can deliver a dead body, right? There are multiple occasions where you're delivering people who are fully capable of walking, who talk to you while you're walking around.
Wow, that is very dumb.
Which is like in a game of like weird, like potentially dumb stuff. I was like in my room, like looking around, like, are we seeing this? Like and there's this like really dramatic cutscene of you like zipping the person up and then placing them on your back.
Oh, and they're in the bags?
They're in the and they talk to you.
They're in body bags that have like meshes on them.
Yeah,
so
like their faces open.
Kyle.
And it's just like
home run, baby.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I'm glad we agreed to show it, because it really is like one of the craziest things in that game. In a game that is full of crazy dumb things.
Yeah.
I I thought I had a good one for this one until I heard that. I'm going to have to acquiesce.
Okay.
Delivering people in bags.
Mine was
living people. Living people.
Yes, living is very important. Mine is the loading issues in Anthem. Specifically, if you die in Anthem, it takes like 30 seconds to load you, but they load you outside the mission zone. So as soon as you start, it starts a countdown clock that you cannot get back to your party fast enough.
Right.
So then you have to load again to where your party is.
Yes.
It's double back-to-back load times for no reason.
Now, quick question. I don't think it precludes it from being on the list.
I don't know if they fixed it. I never went
that's
back.
my question.
Yep.
It was more
it was more
informational.
Right? Yeah.
It was more. I'm just curious if they.
I forgot about playing Anthem this year.
That came out this year?
Just in terms of dumbest thing, I'd also throw in there that like fetch quest BS gameplay gate in Anthem at launch, where it was just like, okay, making good progress. I'm actually kind of into this world, and then just here's a checklist of the most banal crap that never ends.
Death Stranding.
I'll put Anthem.
And then at the end of the game, they do it again, except it's like a way longer carrot. That's just like, if you want to see the thing, you're gonna have to do more work. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Okay. What about very specific? The pacing in Kingdom Hearts 3's cutscenes.
Kingdom Hearts dialogue, basically.
But I'm not a big lore guy with Kingdom Hearts, so like I can't criticize that. What I can criticize is how uncomfortable those scenes are on a basic human level.
I'll back you up on that. As someone who has on occasion defended Kingdom Hearts, who fell off of 3, like those cutscenes are sometimes unbearable and laughable.
Unbear necessities.
Okay. I feel like my biggest one is maybe irrational, somewhat like very personal, and you guys can tell me if it fits the category or not. But GT Goku in Dragon Ball FighterZ is like the thing that I am most upset about.
Good.
I think it's incredibly
funny.
Stupid that they had this layup. Like, they had a character poll that's like, who do you want in Dragon Ball FighterZ?
Power poll.
Like, they had a power poll. And Kid Goku from Dragon Ball was like, maybe, I want to say it was either the or among the highest, most requested characters.
Yeah.
And they added him to that game as GT Goku for a reason I cannot fathom. Because, like...
I was going to say, can we explain to Jeff?
Explain, please.
No, you can't.
So,
I mean, I think we
you
can.
know who Goku is, right?
Right.
Yeah, Kid Goku is very cool in Dragon Ball. The original first iteration of Goku
And
sounds
that is
very
Goku.
cool.
And it's just a kid version of Goku?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And like, to me, he is the essence of Dragon Ball in a lot of
he's
ways.
great.
Like, Goku's character makes more sense when he's a kid than when he's an adult.
Yes.
But like, GT Goku was this weird thing where in Dragon Ball GT,
the show.
The show,
That was another
which is
show?
not canon.
Yeah.
Like,
So it was the successor to Dragon Ball Z. It's just
The
it's
creator
known
was
for-
not involved.
and it's
It's
just
not
like the
canon,
cash-in BS.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Weird offshoot that's technically
offshoot.
continuing the
and
storyline.
part of that offshoot was like having Goku become a kid again.
Someone wished him to be a child.
Pilaf
again.
made him a child again.
Yeah.
That's the theme song, Jeff.
And so it's like part
Wow.
of this thing that everyone like is the closest to being a universally hated thing about Dragon Ball is GT.
GT.
Like there are some people will defend it, some people like it, but it is like the thing that everyone's like, GT, come on. The fact that they forewent making the most classic, best iteration of Goku in my mind. And just said, like, yeah, no, he's going to be the GT version, which means he turns into Super Saiyan 4, which means there's, like, Kid Goku using a spirit bomb, which, again, I know this is all very nerdy things. It
But
is
for
things,
the look, it just means he's wearing like the blue shirt instead of the orange, right?
Yeah, but he also has, like, he is using abilities that don't fit with GT. And, like, even
and
the
he
fact
raps
that he
about
is,
the plot of the show.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, the fact that you can have colors that make him look similar to the, like, actual,
All right,
Dragon Ball Goku.
It's a good-
Casemate.
It's
Great
a good-
casemate.
yeah, it's good.
Great. I had written down, I don't think it hangs here, but frame rate in Link's Awakening. As a thing
It's a dumb thing. I do not think it is dumbest.
It is not the dumbest thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting.
Now, here's something very specific. Not a spoiler, I don't believe, but Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think the sound design in Pokemon Sword and Shield is one of the dumbest things this year. Specifically, in like the end game, or like when you first meet the legendary dogs in a big, meaningful way, I guess you'd say, in that game. It is one of the most embarrassing scenes I've ever seen in a video game because
Should play more Kingdom Hearts.
Maybe. But like they don't have the dogs obviously say their name like the show. I understand it's always confusing. The show differentiates from the game. So in the game, they still do like somewhat digitized cries. But for like these legendary amazing beasts, these dogs, like their cries are just like that's seriously what it sounds like. It sounds like dog S, no pun intended here.
Dog stuff?
Yes, and then like there's these climactic cutscenes with these dogs, and they loop this. Like there's a scene where it's like 7 times in a row
right now. I don't know.
It is so
I
dumb.
think the fact that they haven't updated I know people have mentioned language issues with like they can't say their own names, but
Yes.
you can make an animalistic cry
Yes.
that is higher quality than what they're going with.
100%. Okay, thank you, Serial, for backing me up. I'll say and also the fact that people don't talk. I know that's more debatable, but like there's literally a gym leader where all he does is sing. He's like a performer, and they have this big musical sequence, and then it's just like, basically, it's him just like quietly, uncomfortably mouthing into a microphone while the text on the bottom says like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock, or whatever the hell.
That's Nintendo games, I guess, right?
And Zacia in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Okay, any other contenders for dumbest thing in 2019? And again, we're about to get nice. I swear to God.
It's coming up.
Stay tuned.
I think we're good. I think we can start cutting, right?
I think so too.
got some
sound
really good
design in
ones.
Pokemon Sword.
No.
I'm less offended by that.
I'm not letting
I
that
think.
go okay, so for the list,
gosh.
for audio listeners, we have Resident Evil 2, Leon and Ada kissing hard, delivering living people in bags in Death Stranding, loading outside Mission Zone in Anthem, Countdown Clock, Anthem's Checklist Gate, pacing in Kingdom Hearts 3, GT Goku in Fighters, sound design, and ending stuff specifically with legendary dogs in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
So I think Resident Evil can go.
Yep.
I think that's. I mean, I think they're all good, but to cut down.
One Kiss has got to go.
I also think Anthem's. I like the loading one.
Yep.
That Checklist Gate. I think can
Yep,
go.
I'll let it go.
Yeah.
Death Stranding, I know there's stuff at the end that people are also...
There's some really dumb stuff at the end.
Yeah.
But there's also some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Without spoiling anything, is there anything that tops people living in bags? But I guess we're just going off the table, right? And
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I'm very partial to that because like I was like I
I'm
want to
already
tweet
very
about
partial
this.
to it
like,
as well.
The thing at the end is it's so hard to classify because it is legitimately a dumb thing, but for me it was also like a dumb thing. Like this is so silly, but I also am really into it. But there is also this aspect of like this is legitimately stupid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
will,
the cutscene where
But, like-
the first time you put a woman in a bag
Yes.
here, like she walks out. It's like a Kojima cutscene.
Yes.
She walks out slowly and like Sam like gently zips. She just lays down on the ground and is just like
Zip
looking
me
up
up,
into the sky.
Sam.
And
Yeah.
she's like, I mean, honestly, that might have been a
fact-
line. I think she says, "Zip." I'm not even. I think she says something along those lines like, "Can you please zip me up so we can go?"
The
And then
fact
you,
that both characters acknowledge that this is the best way to do this instead of like, look, I have a suit for you that would make you more mobile, and it's like a very
and they
clear.
they walk up to you to get on your
Yes.
back.
It is a very clear concession to the fact that it's like, okay, we can't actually have a second character running around in this
Yeah.
world.
Right,
we
right.
need to make this an object, and we have to justify
I love
it through
it. I
gameplay.
love it.
and you
I
can
love it.
fall over and like
no.
and
See,
like they can get injured.
Yeah,
and
the
it's-
thing I did, I have a clip of this, which maybe we can show now, but like, I have a clip of me riding into the base in a motorcycle with her on my back, and then I jump off and roll onto the floor, so that it's like you just see the body going boom, 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 boom.
Okay, it's exciting for me to talk about it because it was I didn't know if it was like going into spoiler territory, and I wanted so badly to talk about it with somebody. It's just it blew my mind.
It is not like a thing where you're like, oh, this is a revelatory story moment. It is a thing that that is quietly underspoken, but is also like ridiculously stupid. Yes.
I do like that. It's not going to beat that by any chance, but we should just mention the Monster Energy and AMC ride ad
Right,
while you're pooping.
Has anyone watched that show or anything related to the AMC Red show?
Yeah.
No.
The other I tweeted about it. The other dumb thing about the Monster Energy drink is there's 5 cans every time. But if you drink more than 3, it doesn't serve. You can drink 3 to get a boost.
Yeah.
But the 4th and 5th do nothing.
Oh,
so why do they always have 5?
The other two cans only do things if you're a real gamer.
Right.
So if the game is telling you that, yeah.
And also, while we're complaining about it, even though it doesn't matter, you fill it back up in the river, but they're still calling it Monster Energy.
Yes, the
It's
fact that your canteen
Do you
has
know
a
how they
filter-
fill Monster Energy drink in the real world?
apparently
That's a
it's
good point.
radiated poison river
Yeah.
Right,
water.
so
that
the-
they
like,
just-
I think it's an idiocracy
Timefall-
situation. I think
either-
it's Brondo.
Either
you know?
Timefall has like high fructose corn syrup in it, or your canteen has a filter that just like supplies high fructose
Infuses
corn
it.
syrup
Yeah.
and like whatever the like the.
well, then
the-
that makes complete sense. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
There's probably an email
and
that
taurine
explains
in it. Like
honestly.
taurine is involved at some point.
The fact that Kyle said you were not annoyed by the sound design in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I'm the only one that's seen like those cutscenes that are very embarrassing.
It is a very competitive category.
It is.
Yeah. So
I will sacrifice.
Yeah.
I will sacrifice the sound design.
The thing about Pokemon, it's kind of a tradition thing, like
to suck.
I mean, honestly, it's not a great argument, but it doesn't surprise me that they're still weird.
Some might call it a dumb argument. But
now, where do we stand
I
on...
would say the pacing with Kingdom Hearts
is dumb?
Yeah.
To keep or to go?
To go. Just in terms of what is left. I can totally understand that is very dumb, but... We got big sluggers here.
So so at this point, I don't think GT Goku is like the number one, but I think the one thing I will say against Anthem is that that is a thing that happens. That is a kind of glitch that happens in a lot of other video games. I don't think
Interesting take.
There's a specific
it doesn't happen like that though.
That's
where it's
fair.
A long load time to put you in a place that is going to mandatory demand another load time to just move you up. Sometimes it's like they are right there, but I can't get to them.
Yeah,
and it's going to do a full load just to move me up another 100 feet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like stuff like in Destiny, things happen like that where they have a very similar hey, you're about to load. If you run out of time here, you're going to load into the boss area. But there will be times where that puts you in a pit where you die.
Okay,
and then you're cycling.
The other thing is that sometimes when it happens, you are in a skirmish with your party. In the area that they're in, you die. They load you back out at the starting point of the mission, and then you have to load back to where you just died. With the rest of your group.
I would describe that as dumb.
Yeah.
It's profoundly dumb.
And I like giving it to Anthem in this category in some way.
Somebody's got to give it to Anthem.
Right?
Because it's a whole game full of dumb things that screw-ups in there.
Yeah.
But do we think this is the dumbest thing in Anthem?
I mean, no. Well, yes.
I mean, to me, it is the thing out of all the dumb things. As I was playing that game, it's how did you let this happen? Why have you not fixed this on day one?
Also, it's just everyone will encounter it too. Yeah. It's one of the first dumb things you'll run into in Anthem. I do like GT Goku. I think it's a good...
I love GT Goku
because it's a very specific decision. Or Anthem, maybe there is some programming reason why they had to do it this way.
Maybe there's some legal reasons why they couldn't do it.
It's the biggest unforced error.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know that it's unforced.
But I like the idea of a boardroom. People being like, oh, people really want Kid Goku. Oh, let's get the version of Kid Goku that nobody likes, and let's put a lot of effort into that.
I do. Yeah, and the fact that there are 3 Dragon Ball fans at this table who all agree this is one of the dumbest things.
Well, Jeffem's caught up now, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a real contender. If I had to choose, I think I'd maybe say number 1 Death Stranding, runner-up GT Goku.
I would agree. I think it's very close for me. I don't want to completely discount the Anthem thing because it's a very stupid video game thing, but I feel like the thing that tips it over is that these feel more like intentional decisions versus just a thing that we could not who knows, right? But
there's probably dev reasons for all of these, so.
But
What was the dev reason for GT Goku?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it could be some weird rights things with the original Dragon Ball, right?
Maybe. That's true.
I feel like that all falls under the same license. But yeah, it's hard to speculate. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I like Goku but I'm also a Dragon Ball kid.
But again, we have nothing to go off of except for the mood in this room.
I am at a table with a bunch of Dragon Ball nerds. I understand.
And how's it feel?
Do you feel like the coolest kid?
Well, it's feeling less cool now. But
normally it's sweet.
But living people in Death Stranding, number 1.
I think so. I like it. Yeah.
Delivering living people in bags in Death Stranding, that is a lock
that
for
is
the
a
dumbest
killer.
thing in 2019.
I think I took footage of that cutscene just because I was. I'll have to see if I have it. But
are we? So is it locked? Getting rid of Anthem? I'm sorry, GT Goku and Fighters.
Do it.
And that for sure is 2019.
Understand it.
Red Cereal?
Huh?
That was 2019.
Yeah, he was in the second season pass.
Okay. Yeah. There it is.
Watch original Dragon Ball. It's a good show.
There we go. Dumbest thing. Delivering living people in bags in Death Stranding. Runner-up, GT Goku in Fighters. Next category. Oh, we can skip this one. It's too nice. Favorite thing. Probably Goku in Fighters.
Kind of. Yeah, I love that little guy. Such a scamp.
He just wants to look at Bulma's private parts. He's a cool character.
And again, trying to keep it in games, right? Or is this
because it's more broad than that, but again, you can make an argument for anything, right?
Because this is where we're kind of thinking of maybe like the Fortnite 2 stuff could go, right?
No, that's for best moments.
That's a moment. Okay, so favorite thing and moments, we're drawing a line between those two.
Very clear.
Okay.
Obviously.
Favorite thing.
Well, annoy people timestamps. Okay, I will start volleying things for favorite things. Hey, the very simple, the ping in Apex Legends. In terms of a thing.
I mean Left 4 Dead.
I've never played that.
And Dota 2.
It's very good. It's very good. I think it's worth considering. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But that's just my joke is that was an element of Left 4 Dead that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about Luigi being scared? His scared animations
That's
about
good.
everything.
Yeah. Luigi being scared is pretty
The
good.
classic, just nostalgic roars in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
This is a
Who could forget?
again. Look, this is a safe space, right? With the Age of Empires 2 re-release definitive
write it
edition.
down.
Shut up. Hear me out. There's always been in the Age series taunts where you can type in a number and it has this very specific taunt like "Start the game already" or like "I need gold," or it can get more specific like "I'm just scouting. I'm just scouting." Welcome to the one-man show. I'm going on Broadway where I do the taunts from the Age series.
Good.
But,
And Pokemon noises.
correct. Just to shake it up. But in the original Age of Empires 2, there were 40 you could type in. And like when you got up to like 38, it was like, some Star Trek quote or something, right? For the definitive edition, they went in and now there's 105. I just love that in this remaster, they went in and just added a stupid amount of taunts. Now have 105. So it's like specifically like they're attacking with archers from the right. Like they get so specific. Like, of course, that's number 78. It made me happy. I'm putting it on the list.
Okay.
What about
Well, a quick similar thing that is equally nerdy, but like the fact that they gave units spells in Wargroove, I think is like one of my favorite things. Because
Interesting.
So in Advanced Wars, there were like units that were so situational that you almost felt forced to use them. Like fighter jets specifically were like they could only destroy other aerial units. So if there was no aerial units, you basically never had a chance to use fighter jets. And once you had air superiority, fighter jets were basically useless. So in Wargroove, they gave the equivalent units, which are witches, because they're on a broom. They gave them spells that can heal your allies and can like help you after you've cleared out basically all the enemy air units. And so like it is part of that game's like brilliant design for me that they made every unit useful in a way that like the people who made Advanced Wars could not figure out, which is like a super cool thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that
That's fine. Put it on the list. We're just stacking things on right now.
it's something that I think you had to pay for ultimately, but live action cutscenes in Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, what a great
That's
one.
a very good one.
Yeah. Oh my God, Kyle. Yes.
Which I
yes, Kyle. Yes.
yeah, I think it was like you had to get the collector's edition or something. Like it was like an extra $10.
Yeah, it was like a bonus.
Yeah, but still, love.
Can you explain what it was?
So they basically choreographed and did cinematography for all the crazy over the top cutscenes in Devil May Cry, like in a little motion cap studio.
Essentially for like storyboarding. Right?
Yeah, storyboarding. Yeah, and they like integrated like action figures, and there's really dumb and fun, and they're all like live action, just to give like the animators something to work off of.
Right.
If you're not sure what I'm talking about, like Google it. It should be pretty easy to find, and you can watch a couple, and they're really goofy and fun.
Yeah.
And you can integrate them into the game. Mm-hmm. So like what you can choose to do it like so what the game will a new cutscene starts, it will play the live action cutscene, and it's really weird.
In a very similar vein, I'm going to nominate
Resident Evil
Code
2.
Vein?
the Raising Kratos documentary, the God of War documentary that was released this year, which came out.
Was it this year?
Yep, it was months and months after the game came out, but. I understand, because some people were like, oh, it's still going through PlayStation PR filters, and I'm sure there were some things that were too hot for TV, but like that documentary is amazing to have something so raw come out of a corporation as big as Sony, like especially, filming things with Sony over the years, like it can be really challenging to get some humanity out of that company at times.
Yeah.
And this documentary, I think, is just incredible on that front, to the point that like, there are some really intense moments, and one with Shannon Studstill, who's the head of the studio. And I was listening to an interview with her on Game Maker's Notebook, where Ted Price asked her about the documentary. And Ted Price is like, do you regret releasing that documentary? And she really gave it a long thought. I was like, well, it was definitely raw. And like, it was just amazing to see this head of the studio, the woman who should be in charge of this, being like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, that was maybe too revealing, because there's some brutal stuff in there, and it's awesome that they had cameras rolling during all this stuff. But again, I like documentaries, so what are you gonna do?
I was guessing that you were gonna say the classic soundtrack in Resident Evil 2 as an option.
Oh, that is fun.
That was another one that like.
Yeah, let's put it in there.
Because
it's also the sound effects too.
Yeah, and I don't honestly, I don't remember a lot about Resident Evil 2, especially since so many things are different playing through it. But when I turn that on and I walk into certain rooms and the theme song for that room kicks in, it's like, oh man, I do remember that. Yeah. The Mr. X tips his cap and
this is another very specific one, but
the
lightning counter in Sekiro, which is maybe part spoiler, but it's basically, so there are bosses in that game that can summon lightning, and it's like a key part of their boss, design. But like there are multiple bosses that do it, and then the way you're supposed to fight them is you basically absorb the lightning with your sword and then reflect it back at them. But it takes like very crucial timing, and it's like that, and then like the Mikiri counter are like super good like you moments against bosses that are like, oh, like here's your ultimate attack, I'm gonna deflect it right back at you, and it's like, to me, it's like that, and the Mikiri counter are like the two moments where you can just like give the boss the middle finger and just say like, no, I read that, I know what you were going to do, I'm gonna and that is that game in a lot of ways, is learning the boss's patterns, and if you can, it's like the biggest reward for having learned how to defeat a boss.
Yeah, a solid. Any other contenders?
It probably won't make the list at this point, but the overworld in Dragon Builders 2, which is an interesting way that they solved the problem with the first game, which is that so much of that game is the fun of unlocking things and building up, a town, which in the first game, it was like you did that in a level and then you would go to a completely different level. So it felt like you were losing, it basically erasing what you had done. And in this game, you have a main level that is kind of like your overworld place that you are, and then you go off to specific smaller levels. So you're still building up a town from the beginning, but then when you're done with that, you take all of the technology and knowledge and resources and stuff that you got from there and bring it back into your main base camp. And that's the place where you're kind of building your endgame stuff there, correct, Kyle?
Yeah, you have like a core central area that like everything is sort of funneling into.
Yes, and so it is super satisfying to kind of get kicked back out, have to start from scratch again, but also once you're done, you take back this giant boatload of new kind of stuff that you can add to where you're building your permanents.
And the big thing is just a big improvement over the first game.
Yes,
it's like it made it much more satisfying through line.
Okay, start whittling down.
Yeah, so you can cut off Overworld and Dragon Quest Builders 2.
The list right now is Ping in Apex Legends, Luigi being scared in Luigi's Mansion 3, The Taunt, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Units of Spells and Wargroove, live action cutscenes DMC 5, Raising Kratos God of War documentary released by PlayStation, original sound option in Resident Evil 2, Lightning Counter in Sekiro. I'm willing to sacrifice Age of Empires 2. Glad to give it's a little bit of a due.
Yeah, I don't know if I love the sort of like hyper specific mechanics, but I guess.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I can cut my Wargroove one. I like it.
Okay,
but
Wargroove units. There we go. I assume that'll be part of your argument for maybe something next week. I'll cut the Ping in Apex Legends.
I don't know. I'd be. I mean, okay. So part of me feels like it's not. Like, it is an influential thing in that other people took notice of it, but part of me having played Dota like that, I feel like I know where that comes from. Is that because you can ping basically any part of the Dota interface and it'll send a message similar to.
Well, it's like any RTS, right?
I guess that's kind of why I'd be okay with cutting it. It's because it's like it was really well integrated, but it wasn't like this revelation in game design to me.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen that in a lot of games.
Okay, but Apex did it really well. For sure.
Cut it. Yeah. Luigi being scared. I love it. It is called Luigi's Mansion 3. He has been S&. Bricks for 3 entries.
I get it.
He's adorable though.
There's no doubt. It makes me endlessly happy.
That is the joy of which I didn't. my only interaction with that game was from the stream that we did. But it's just
Same here,
fun
actually.
that everything that you interact with, he does a stupid animation that makes me happy.
Kyle, you played the most of this game. Do you think this hangs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the impressive thing about that game is how many animations they have for Luigi all the way through the course of the game.
Pooping his pants, peeing his pants.
Doing both at the same time.
Right.
Putting on brown pants.
I would fight to kill Resident Evil 2. I feel like other remasters have done that, right? Of just being able to switch back to the original sound.
Not so specifically. I mean, but it was kind of a small thing. Like, I'd be okay with cutting it. It's cool, though.
The live-action cutscenes one kills it for me.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of, like, the weird thing you can manipulate in the game. Yeah.
Yep. Lightning counter in Sekiro. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I really like it, but I think
it kind of speaks to like why the bosses are fun in Sekiro specifically, I guess, right? Yeah. I mean,
okay, I'm feeling a cut.
Yeah.
Okay, we're down to Luigi being scared. This is a good category. The live-action cutscenes of DMC 5 and the Raising Kratos God of War documentary. To be fair, did you guys watch that?
I didn't.
I did watch it. Yeah, I liked it.
Are you leaning towards one of your favorite things, or your favorite thing? Period.
Well, like,
in 2019?
I haven't played Luigi's Mansion 3, so I don't have like that.
Right. You saw as much as Jeff did.
You were at the stream, right?
Yeah, that's true. I do like it, but I also do fall back on Hans's point of like, why is he still scared? They haven't made like the ghosts are no scarier than they were before, but it's like a
Which
dumb
is part
reason.
of the charm.
Right?
It
I
doesn't
guess.
make any sense whatsoever.
It's a point for and against it, I guess, in a weird way.
And I guess the thing about Raising Kratos is like we want to see more stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like even removed from God of War, I think it is a good documentary.
Yep.
Like my hesitation is like, okay, going forward, is this a thing like? This expands the scope in a category. Like I think if we're okay with keeping that scope where it is, in terms of like it could be a non-game thing. Like
I like that.
I think it's.
I think so.
It's a game industry thing.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
I actually now just totally remember that maybe my non-game related thing would be Ikumi Nakamura.
Oh, her like E3
Narakumi?
presence.
Oh,
Like her entire presence on E3 is maybe like my favorite thing
Gosh,
now.
I didn't even think of like E3 things.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Like Keanu
Well, like,
Reeves'
even separate
from that
appearance
trailer, yeah.
and stuff like that.
That's a good one. I'll write it down just for the sake of writing it down.
Should we look up her
Ghostwire
name?
Tokyo lady.
Yeah, I think it's Nakamura, but I'll look it up while we're.
Okay. And now I'm offering to cut Ghostwire Tokyo lady.
No, I don't know. I feel like she's presenting at the Game Awards. I think almost based entirely based off
Look,
that. She has like 150,000 followers.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
Ikumi Nakamura.
Nakamura. Okay.
I'm saying we're going off the table, not the fact that Jeff Keighley thought she was going to be good for social media.
Well, but like I genuinely enjoyed her presence.
Jeff said he actually spat at his TV when he saw her.
I genuinely enjoyed her presence as well, but I don't think
I like it more than the documentary, just because it was such a positive, fun. Like we were all so happy about
killing
her, and
Hansen
like we all
right
fell in love with her immediately. You know.
Hansen, I haven't seen the documentary, but you did sell me on watching the documentary.
Oh, okay.
Because it does. I do also like the idea of a company drawing back the curtain in the kind of way that
Mike is being silly.
my mic, yes, is breaking in a way that they don't usually do that. So that to me, it's kind of a mix of a very good documentary, a very good behind the scenes look, but also something that most companies would not do.
Right.
I don't know. I'm almost kind of saying like my top two would be Raising Kratos and Ghostwire Lady. Like I kind of like it more than Luigi being scared personally. Ikumi
Nakamura.
Miss Nakamura.
There we go. We did it.
Because I think those two things are fun, but like I don't know. I feel like I got more joy out of Raising Kratos and Nakamura than
yeah. I think my two would be live action cutscenes number 1, Raising Kratos number 2.
I like cutscenes in general. I also like the live action ones in Devil May Cry 5. I think I lean. Man, I like Luigi, honestly, because it's such like
Number
a consistently.
one?
No. Live action cutscenes number 1, Luigi being scared number 2 for me.
I am good with live action cutscenes number 1 as well.
I can live with
Okay,
that.
let's lock that in.
Okay.
Now, what's the runner up?
I think you're very passionate about Raising Kratos, and I don't have anything to sort of say because I haven't watched it. You know,
And I think that's telling that if half the table hasn't watched it,
yeah.
it's the group, right? And so I'm willing to cut it for that reason, but you guys are insane.
That was an argument to keep it. I was impressed by your passion. I'm saying I think you have more passion for that than I do the other two.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut Luigi being scared. Okay.
I would be okay with that personally, but you know.
Me and Kyle are roiling on the inside, but
okay. Hang on though.
Yeah,
category's
hang on, Hanson.
Yeah, now you step up, Chief. The category's favorite thing. I probably did say thousands of times during that stream. That is my favorite thing.
Yes, I love that. It is so goofy and charming and makes me happy when I see it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to unbold live action cutscenes at this point.
And doesn't Raising Kratos, like, I mean, don't you feel bad for the studio that they work so hard and sacrifice so much of their life?
Yeah, but the fact that I'm celebrating the fact that they were somewhat transparent just about how brutal that dev was. And ending it with the thought of, are games even worth making?
Okay, so
at
wait,
this point?
if I'm the only one arguing for Nakamura, like, I think the passion you guys are showing for the other stuff, I think is fine. But
okay.
We love a gangly, tall Italian man shaking in their boots.
Hopefully that was cool.
Also, I don't really.
Yeah, hopefully that was.
I don't really.
I say that about everything I do.
I don't really agree with calling Ikumi Nakamura a thing.
I'm saying.
Can you believe Sturriel ventured that out there? Favorite thing for 19 women.
To be clear, we know that's not what you meant, Cyril.
Okay, so
I hope so.
I don't.
where are you at right now, Jeff? What would you choose?
God.
Let's pull up a GIF of Luigi.
No.
That's cheating.
In terms of just the purest fun kind of thing,
Yeah.
Luigi really stands out
As
to
number
me
one?
more than. Like, I love the idea of the live action cutscenes, and when I first saw them, I was like, oh, that's, really fun.
That's my
I guess.
favorite thing.
Yeah. But I don't know if.
What about this? What if I cut you off? What if the list is Luigi being scared as our favorite thing in 2019 and live action cutscenes for DMC5 as the runner-up?
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Are you willing to kill?
I am.
You willing to stop Raising Kratos?
There it is. Congratulations to the concept of Luigi being scared for being our favorite thing in 2019.
Oh, so you have the bold backwards, I guess.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Don't ever get the bold backwards. All right, and bold from front to back. Great. Okay. Next category. This was suggested from CT Bishop, MinnMax community member.
That's a very good one, too.
Which is a category I was kicking myself for not thinking of. The best podcast game in 2019. Thank you, CT Bishop.
Is Dragon Quest Builders 2.
I would like to nominate Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Oh my god, this is going to be hard. Okay.
So I think my...
Can you explain the category?
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
It's just a good game that you can play mindlessly, right?
Yeah.
Like that. It's almost like maybe there's a lot of farming in it or something like that.
A game that feels made for partnering with listening to podcasts.
And
I was half distracted and doing something else.
I was prepared to argue for Death Stranding because there is a lot of downtime in that game, but I don't ultimately I tried listening to a lot of podcasts while playing it, but there is a lot of cutscene and sort of story that I feel like I have to pause often. I like, for a podcast game, I like a game that like I don't really have to interact with my phone at all, and I can just totally focus.
I hear you.
And that's for me, that was Dragon Quest, because Dragon Quest is, the story doesn't really matter that much, and it's also not spoken. You can read it, if you want.
Yeah.
So that's my choice.
Yeah. Can we throw on Trials Rising and Lonely Downhill Mountain as two?
Lonely Mountains Downhill.
There we go. Lonely Mountains Downhill.
Nope, Lonely Downhill Mountain.
And to be fair,
game.
Jeff, I was going to nominate Lonely Mountains Downhill. So at that point, can we skip Trials Rising?
Yeah. Sure.
Again, that gets to that murky thing of we're not filling a slot, but come on, we're filling a slot.
So why Destiny 2? I mean, is it just because Destiny is a very grindy game in general?
Like there's enough to do there constantly, but like once you beat the campaign, you're basically like you are doing daily things. It became part of my routine to like, okay, I need to build up my battle rank, and I want to find this new exotic quest, and it's very grindy. So like I'm gonna put on a podcast and play Destiny 2 for 2 hours, and that's basically what I've been doing for since that game came out. Is basically just listening to podcasts and playing that game.
I would also throw What the Golf in here.
Really?
I would. It's a fun soundtrack, but I mean, yeah, that seems tailor-made to. Yeah.
I almost feel like that would be like that would detract from like a lot of what that game is trying to do. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm just saying.
What about? I mean, I don't think any of us played it, but should we at least mention World of Warcraft Classic? Is that like
no? If none of us played it, then no.
Yeah, I think the same thing with like Final Fantasy 14, I guess, which is.
I would say Slay the Spire.
You hesitated as you said it.
Well, just because I know that no one else has played it.
Yep.
But it is a.
Is that this year?
It is a rogue-like collectible,
CCG,
deck building,
card game.
Card game kind of thing.
Okay.
Which I put many hours into. It's a thing you totally don't have to focus that much, and the audio is not a seller thing.
Yeah.
So
I would also throw Pokemon Sword and Shield on this list. I cannot imagine
the sound effects.
I cannot imagine playing that game without listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
But for all story stuff, I did pause it, so that is a factor.
Do you regret that?
No.
No. I'm saying, like, do you regret listening to the actual story? Because,
no,
I
wanted to give it its
I
due.
saw it on sale and I bought it specifically thinking, oh, this will be fun to play while I'm just zoning out during Christmas break
100%.
and just like have Fast and the Furious on in the background, which I bought the entire box set of.
Congratulations.
But like, just watching those movies and playing Pokemon and not listening to a thing in this, like, I 100%
you're
bought
fine.
that game for that.
Yep. I think you'll be fine.
Okay. But what if the cries are really good though?
The only cries
I've
you'll
heard
hear
about
are
these
coming from
cries.
you. Oh, you should turn the audio on
Just to hear those?
during like the musical gym leader and then the end game legendary dog stuff. It
Okay.
is-
Another good one, Crackdown 3, because you're just causing chaos. There's not really any story. Or even when you like encounter what would be story with bosses, they just walk out and are ready for the fight. They don't
Or
really
you
get
could
like.
just press the start button and then just listen to a podcast and not play the game anymore.
You know?
Because the game was bad,
That is
Kyle.
like a legitimate thing, though, is that like. I think there has to be a certain amount of quality of like you want to do this, not like, well, I'm putting up with Crackdown 3 while I listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
I think the game has to be enjoyable while you're doing that. But
Yeah, I like Crackdown 3.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that it's not like
No, it's just-
you could any game where you can tune out the story is a good podcast.
Yeah,
game,
no,
right?
it's you're running around. It's like there's like 5 different, specific things you can do all spread out around the city. So
Okay.
you just like go point to point to point, driving and blowing things up, and it's just dumb fun.
Is this our list to whittle down right now?
I think
we
so.
have Dragon Quest Builders 2, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Lonely Mountains Downhill, What the Golf, Slay the Spire, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Crackdown 3, Who Sees a Cut. I will, since you questioned it and I think I played the most of it, I'll cut What the Golf.
Okay. If you feel good about it,
I feel
sure.
better about other things.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I don't. Yeah, What the Golf I don't really think of as like kind of like a mindless thing.
Really?
Yeah, not really. I don't know, because it's like every level's different.
Yeah, every level's
unique
supposed to be a
and-
Well,
joke,
yeah,
and I
but-
feel like the music would help augment.
You can hear the music. I'm not playing on mute. You just have some talking in the corner.
I feel like
crap.
that's a key component of the podcast game. Is just like being able to mute the game completely.
You mute games?
Yeah, I mute Destiny when I play because it's like you're just running around killing waves of stuff, and like the soundtrack is good when you're in the campaign, but it's like after a certain amount, you just want to tune out the game. Like
I totally forgot the games that I like absolutely played the most while listening to podcast, which were Grindstone and Dr. Mario. Like like and Dr. Mario, I think they updated to add an option to let you mute the music and keep
there's
sound
a whole
effects going.
kerfuffle about Grindstone.
Grindstone was the one that they added that
Yeah.
update specifically.
Well, does that factor in here? Because you played so much of it without being able to do that?
No, it was a quick update. It was just
It took a while.
it was like a few weeks or 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
That's
Anyway,
years in gamer
I mean,
time.
that's
Kyle.
Grindstone's a very long game, and I listen to a lot of podcasts while playing it.
Okay.
So I don't know if it'll make the cut
That's the-
ultimately, but like that.
I mean, Apple Arcade Match 3-ish game, if you don't recall.
Yeah, it is probably
Puzzle and Dragons.
the game on those lists in terms of like podcast time versus gameplay time. For me, it was Grindstone.
I love Lonely Mountains Downhill. I think I'm at about 3 to 4 hours on Steam, though. And so I feel like no one has poured the time in while listening to podcasts, right?
To me, yeah, I don't know how long I would play that game to begin with.
Yeah.
And so for me, the examples like Destiny 2 and Dragon Quest Builders, those are games that you're going to play for a very long time, so you have that time to fill more. Which if I felt that devoted to Lonely Mountains Downhill, then for sure, I would be on board with that. Okay. But I just don't think I'm going to put the amount of time.
It's not a game that you play like 3 hours at a time.
I
right?
will cut it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Spire.
Do you feel strongly about Builders? I think Builders can go.
That might be my number one person.
Okay, there we go.
Right, that's fine.
He feels
I also
strongly.
like
He's
this
muttering.
category. It's just like going forward next year, we're just gonna be like, I need to start thinking about podcast games.
Hell yeah. I want to cut Slay the Spire.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so.
Okay.
It's a very strategic, thoughtful
This is also
game,
like a
right?
weird quantity because so much of it is personal. It's like, what did I go to when I played podcasts?
Did you play Crackdown 3, Serial?
No, I didn't.
Kyle, you're the only one here, and you
that's
seem
fine.
like Grindstone you like more.
Yeah, I'd rather fight
Okay,
for
it's
Grindstone.
gone. Dr. Mario World, I feel like you would fight for Grindstone over that, and you're the only person that really played a lot of Dr. Mario World.
Yep, still playing it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest Builders 2, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Grindstone
I feel like
right
these
now.
are all our individual number ones.
I know.
Hey, yeah, you're right. That is exactly what's happening.
But Kyle also thinks Dragon Quest Builders 2 is good.
Yeah, I do.
Did you listen to a lot of podcasts while playing it?
Yeah, I did. Damn it. But
Why did you do that?
I'm sorry.
You effed us.
I don't. It's weird. I don't.
Didn't you know that we were going to have a category about just this thing when you did that?
And I would say that unlike the other games, there aren't times where you're gonna feel compelled to pause it a bunch.
Yeah.
Yes.
As like other things are coming in.
I would, but as my hammer in the pocket for Pokemon Sword and Shield, I don't think I would be able to finish that game if I didn't listen to podcast. I think that was a necessary motivation because those battles can take forever. You can turn the animations off, but it's still so much slamming through text.
I'm trying to decide if that makes it a good.
If that makes it a
podcast
better
game.
or worse recommendation.
Yeah.
It's the podcast combo. Absolutely. It was some of my favorite times gaming, strangely enough, this year was like listening to Blank Check's commentaries for the Marvel movies and playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it's a weird compliment for Pokemon to be like, man, that thing was really missing info in my ears while I was slamming through those battles.
And is Destiny 2 like because I don't even know what argument I'm trying to formulate, but it's like, is it sort of just like grandfathered in because like that's just the game and that just happens to be this year's Destiny update?
I mean, they
you know?
specifically added a new mode that is like you spawn. It's like a weird activity where it's like you just spawn with 5 other people, and the entire objective is just go around and just kill stuff for like 15 minutes. And they added another activity in this latest update because there's a new season that is very similar. So they are more focusing towards like before this they had a menagerie thing, which is just like here's a 6-player match-made activity where you're all kind of working together, and by the time you do it once, you figured it out. You don't need to like really pay attention to it. So it is just involved enough that you are paying attention and wanted to keep doing it, but it is because of the reward system in that game, which like rewards you with good stuff. You are kind of incentivized to keep doing this stuff, and so it acts as a perfect revenue of like, okay, if I'm going to listen to a podcast, if I need something to do with my hands, I can just go and play Destiny. But that is like very much my specific. That is how I use it at that outlet. So
Right.
This is tough.
This really is tough. I want to cut Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
So I would
kinda
even
do.
though like I would say like let's try to maybe meet each other halfway here and say like I feel like the 2 strongest ones on this list are Dragon Quest Builders and Pokemon Sword and Shield because multiple people have said I'm planning to play Pokemon Sword and Shield that exact same way.
Yep.
And if you guys both got quite a bit out of playing Dragon Quest Builders with podcasts, I think that speaks more than
There
like
it is.
we all have
There's
our
the
individual.
group. There's the group.
That's
Sorry,
good.
Grindstone, you got your due. Okay, now
Who's number 1?
what takes it? Jeff, how much time, and this is not a race, how much time did you put in Dragon Quest Builders 2?
I think I put around 40 hours.
Oh, exactly how long I put into Pokemon. Kyle, did you also, which do you think? Because you've played both, technically.
Yeah.
This is your call at this point, right?
I think Dragon Quest is winner because Pokemon does have a fair bit of story stuff in it.
Also Dragon Quest. Like I started that and like on the ship and stuff. Like there are still a lot of people
It has
talking.
story stuff, but it's not stuff that you're going to feel compelled to pause another thing.
Pokemon has cutscenes. Dragon Quest has dialogue that you can flip through very quickly.
There it is.
Unspoken dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Podcast Game of the Year, Dragon Quest Builders 2, official runner-up, Pokemon Sword and or Shield.
Love
So
it.
yeah, that's a weird thing where it's like, did the Square Enix be like, hey, nominated for best podcast game of the year?
Hey, maybe.
Don't pay attention to the story.
Kyle, this next category.
Yeah, which I don't know if I fully understand, but I like it.
Great. You want to say what it's called?
The Honorary Good Job Capcom Award.
This is in honor of when Capcom the last couple of years has started releasing.
Yeah, Monster
doing a
Hunter,
good job
Mega
of
Man
turning
11,
around.
Devil May Cry, Resident Evil 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we started saying, hey, good job, Capcom. This is just a tip of the cap to an entity in the industry for like, hey, you're thinking of the gamers. What a good move, right? Good job.
Thinking of
Thank
the
you for
gamers.
this. Jeff, you look at me like you're horrified.
I think
that's not how I.
It's
understood
weird because
it.
like anything Capcom does has like this immediate bias, but I feel like
Capcom cannot be nominated.
Wait, they can.
No, I know.
But they're not a lot.
But like
for the Good Job Capcom Award.
I think my number one would probably be like Microsoft for Game Pass. I think that is like, even though there's a lot of business motivations behind it, and I'm guessing this is like, hey, we have to do this because, this will make us a ton of money. I think that they have offered people like a legitimate, like the thing that people wanted from Stadia is what Game Pass is right now.
And my suggestion was going to be Obsidian and Outer Worlds, but in a way, is that almost also tip of the cap from Microsoft as well?
Yeah.
For
Man, I really like the Game Pass sort of nomination.
It is a good one. I would also absolutely put Outer Worlds on there in terms of this is what gamers wanted.
You did it.
And you did it. You gave it to them.
It's also a thing where only Obsidian could have done that. Like, because Bethesda and BioWare, I think, could not have made the Outer Worlds because they could not just have made another one of those.
Yep.
They had to iterate. And so Obsidian was uniquely qualified to fill that void.
I mean, that is true. Bethesda could have made the game that people wanted to play.
Well, but like I feel like even after Fallout 4, they felt compelled to like...
The fact that they feel compelled to do something dumb that's going to alienate the fan base.
Because they couldn't just like...
Is their own problem.
Well, right. But like, I feel like as a studio, you can't just say like, yeah, we'll like move the stuff around and make another Fallout 4. Like, I don't think like... If the Outer Worlds had released from Bethesda, like, and was a Fallout game, I think it would have gotten flack for like, well, they didn't really iterate on the Fallout formula. I think the fact that, like, the Obsidian, the fact that they made, a game in such a different context, I think helped it, resonate with people.
Yeah. Do you think there's any place on here for Drodo and Dota Auto Chess, or is that just a success in the year, but not really?
It was just like a genre that got really popular.
I mean,
right?
but they were the masterminds behind it. Like the fact that they created like.
I think that would have been a news story, honestly, if it was just.
That's true. Maybe we should give it. But no, I think like. It's a weird position because it's like, good job, Drodo, for inventing a genre. Is sort of like the crux
You're
of
not
it here.
It's about servicing fans, right? And they weren't doing that by inventing a new genre. It grew fans, but
would we sort of connect No Man's Sky sort of recovery to last year?
I think
2018.
So.
I mean, they did
like
VR this year and another big update. But
what do you think about Capcom for Resident Evil 2?
Yes, obviously. And
I would even lump in DMC5, right?
Yeah.
Pretty close to what people wanted.
Street Fighter had some pretty they've been very slowly turning that game around, and I'm a little mad about the Champion Edition stuff because I've already spent like $30 on costumes, and now they're like, you can get all of them now for $25.
What do you think?
I want so badly for Capcom to be the runner-up in the Capcom Award.
What about? It's odd.
I like that you're like distancing yourself from the Street Fighter opinion of like, we have word on the streets. So it's like, if you're mad about Street Fighter still, blame me.
DM cereal.
What about?
No, it's DMC5.
Oh, excuse me.
What up? You'll want a DMC5. Any questions you might have? What do you think about Oculus Quest? That's just like a good piece of tech, but it's not like servicing fans.
Okay. I brought mine today, actually.
I was like,
so we can play Pistol Whip at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't think it's I mean, it's cool. It's a cool piece of tech, but not a good job.
I also feel like, I don't know, the Quest, I don't want to immediately dismiss the Quest because it's like, that was them reacting like, no, we don't want any cables. We just, like, VR is best when, like, you are not, like, confined by this thing.
I caution the word reaction because I think that's just been the goal, and then they finally hit it,
That's what I was going to say.
But it's just,
everyone who has made a VR headset wants that as their end product and vision for what VR
but
should be.
I think in the spirit of I would say like, good job, Oculus, for making that, for having a wireless headset that
I don't think it hangs, though.
Yeah?
I like the other ones.
What about Nintendo for allowing Cadence of Hyrule to exist? Giving an indie studio The Legend of Zelda to make something cool.
A mediocre game with a great soundtrack.
Okay, there we go. Doesn't happen then. Just
I was thinking maybe the Super Nintendo game library was pretty good, but like it's not good enough.
And the fact that it took this long, like, no way.
And they're not they are not adding new games every month. Okay, never mind.
What about EA for the monetization of Apex Legends?
What about
pretty generous?
I was gonna say Apex Legends in general.
Yeah, for
but
like
that was back when I didn't really understand what the category was, but of kind of them making a battle royale game that is kind of different gives people, what they wanted, I guess.
And also, like, they mentioned, like, they were upfront about, like, look, the reason we're not iterating on this game the way we are with Fortnite, which is maybe a different thing, but, like, it's because we don't want to overwork our employees. We are trying to make this a sustainable thing, and, like, this is why the cadence of our updates is slower. Like, I think the fact that they have decided to make a living game that is not, kind of like plagued by overwork and crunch, I think is like legitimately laudable.
Yeah. So what about, instead of good job EA, what about good job Respawn, and then you rope in the fact that Jedi Fallen Order has no microtransactions of any kind.
Pretty strong battle royale
and probably had
to
fight for it.
Yeah. So, like, good job Respawn for going against, typical microtransaction structures.
Yeah, I mean, both those games are great examples of different things that Respawn, you can give the credit to Respawn for figuring that out.
Yeah, great point. These are 4. We have Microsoft Game Pass, Obsidian / Outer Worlds. Let's just put Outer Worlds. Capcom's Resident Evil 2 and DMC5.
And I heard something about Street Fighter.
So something Street Pass. I don't know what's going to be talking about. Good job, Respawn.
They added a game. They gave everyone a second V skill.
Yeah. I really liked your Microsoft Game Pass suggestion. I think
is it weird that like Microsoft Game Pass and Respawn are like me too?
What about though, like the spirit of the award, the Honorary Good Job Capcom award, is giving gamers something they've been screaming about, and like a developer or somebody busting their ass to make it happen. Like Game Pass
I don't
is
think Game
awesome,
Pass is that.
But I don't think anybody has been screaming for 10 years now, please give me a subscription service for games.
That's fair.
I think people have wanted a Netflix for games, and this is as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah,
well, as close as we currently are. I guess.
Yeah,
and it's a crazy generous deal. There's no doubt.
But it's like, this is what, like, you subscribe to a thing and you have access to like a wider array of games that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Sure.
That you would otherwise have to purchase individually.
But comparing to the remake quality of Resident Evil 2 alone, like.
But like, I think the fact I think the fact Resident Evil 2, that remake is great, but like, I think even like, they gave gamers what they wanted, but it's also like, this was final. This was like, I think that should have happened a while ago. Like they had like, people knew that they wanted Resident Evil 2. Right, but like, I don't know. It just feels like making a sequel to a thing that people wanted. Like, it feels a little less like, oh, you went above and beyond than like you kind of did the thing that people kind of expected you to do, which is like, I know that it's in the spirit of the category, but like, if someone is able to say like, hey, here's the thing we managed to pull off that hasn't been done before,
and how about them bundling Game Pass with Xbox Live as kind of one thing now? Which they certainly didn't have to do. I don't know if that, how long that's going to go on.
All right, it hangs. Outer Worlds seems insane not to have on this list.
I don't know. I don't like that it's just a single. Obsidian made a great game. Like, that makes it less exciting to me. Like, I like the other ones that are like big, like, a studio doing well over the course of a year, where it's like Obsidian released a good game. Like, we'll cover that in our discussion of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
Like
you're right. Okay, I'll cut it. Okay, Outer Worlds is gone. We're down to Capcom, Resident Evil 2, and Respawn. Is Capcom not making the Capcom? Good job, Capcom.
I like Respawn.
If it wasn't, I feel like if it wasn't called the Capcom Award, we would not be having this discussion. But that's just me personally.
But
like,
DMC5
as the person who has played all 3 of those games in that suggestion, but I'm totally like, I get the sentiment that they are they finally gave us another Devil May Cry. They finally gave us like the Resident Evil.
Not only gave you another Devil May Cry, went back in time and basically erased their attempted reboot. Yeah, the good one.
Which I
continued a story
which is
that
to me a net negative to me personally, but because I love that remake. But like,
interesting.
I don't know. It just feels like they are doing. I don't know. I feel like the Respawn one and Game Pass ones are them going above and beyond what people expected of them.
Capcom is gone. The list right now,
which isn't to say like I don't want to knock them for it. Like, I feel like Capcom has squarely fulfilled their obligations with people.
Okay, so the Honorary Good Job Capcom Award. Yes, it's down to Respawn for pushing for decency and no microtransactions within EA with Apex Legends and Jedi Fallen Order, and Microsoft's Game Pass.
Respawn number 1.
Sure.
Okay.
Because to me, like, the Game Pass thing I think is great, and I think it's a great deal for people, but that is still so much of a business decision. It's a smart business decision for Microsoft.
You're right.
It's kind of getting their talons into people, getting them on board with paying for a Game Pass to begin with, which, again, still great deal. But in a lot of ways, Respawn is working against economic incentives to kind of figure out a way to give people.
Great point.
Perfect.
Respawn, congratulations on getting the Good Job Capcom Award for 2019. Microsoft
I
Game
filibustered
Pass.
that one through.
Yeah, you got it as the runner-up.
Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Oh boy.
And now I have to pee.
Oh my God. All right, we'll take a break, everybody. All right, Jeff, you're back.
Yep.
Bladder empty, mind full.
Already filling up again.
The next category is the greatest work of art of all time for 2019.
For 2019.
This is an old inside joke from the previous era. This is also a tough one to come into late in the year of like, what is the greatest work of art in 2019?
You know what it is? I think it was me singing Hamilton at karaoke to a bunch of people who didn't know what Hamilton was.
That sounds horrific.
Is that in any way related to this to games?
No, but it's related to that's what kicked off the greatest work of all time question to begin
It was
with.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's the greatest work of art of all time of all time in 2019. Do you have a suggestion out there?
I have
one in
Wow
my
on
mind.
Netflix.
Come on. No jokes, Kyle.
It's a good movie.
Does it have to be related to games?
Does not.
No.
What?
This is the greatest work of art.
I thought this was video game related.
Are
Doesn't
you
have to be.
nuts? It can be.
Did you ever
So it's just anything that happened in
played a little too much
2019.
Pokemon Sword and
the
Shield.
greatest work? What is the greatest work of art
Okay,
of all
fine.
time?
Banksy shredding that painting.
That was
Did that
good.
happen this year?
I think so. I don't know.
We should look that up.
What about that guy that ate the banana that was duct taped to the wall?
That's pretty
Because
good.
that
That's
was
pretty
good.
good.
I mean, these are just straight up. These are just art things. It doesn't have to be art.
That was 2018
Get out
for
of here.
Banksy.
Can you Google?
I can't believe you said
Okay,
that.
in my mind,
Google guy eats expensive banana
No.
and see if that was this
no
year.
one is interested in that.
I followed along. That's amusing.
I would argue, sincerely, and maybe they'll blow it, and I'll regret this, but I don't care. In my mind, it's Watchmen. It is Watchmen on
Ooh,
HBO.
I like that a lot. Watchmen is very good. Just trust us on this.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to.
Yeah.
We're just gonna. This is like the dumping ground for like recommendations.
It's like an amazing show in a sea of just tons of superhero media. It's like a fantastic show, and it also does the impossible task of doing justice to the original.
Hooded justice to the original graphic novel.
So
Not
I think it's-
crapping on
It
it.
does Night Owl to the original Watchmen.
He's in jail.
What? No.
I think that's a genuinely good answer. I think that, I mean, honestly, long term, I think we will talk about Watchmen on HBO as just being like
think so
stellar
as well.
television.
I think
for
my
years to come.
choice would then be like, it is criminally under talked about, but Undone from Amazon Prime, I think, is like my favorite thing that I've watched this year.
Oh, Bob Odenkirk
Yeah.
and Alita Battle Angel.
Yep.
Okay.
She's like, that show is it's fantastic. Like the
Okay.
way it's structured, the way it uses it is originally it's a little bit Scanner Darkly where they kind of draw over all the
rotoscoping
scenes,
animation.
but they use that to fantastic effect to sort of meld a lot of their special effects with the actual reality.
Yeah.
The storyline I think is really good. Like the way that trippy stuff plays into the actual storyline and the plot, and the way a lot of those episodes are structured in a very specific way to lend credence to the storytelling, I think is fantastically done.
Hey, is this our list, folks?
I was going to say Dreams.
I was also going to say Dreams back when this category was about video games, damn
Yes,
it.
for giving people the ability to actually make stuff from their imagination
Yeah.
To make
and having
The greatest
competent
work of art.
tools that make that possible.
Damn it. You're
What,
right.
What about the Spirited Away episode of Blank Check?
I kind of like
is
the Wind
very
Rises
good.
episode better, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The
just
which
'cause
one?
The
Wind Rises.
Wind Rises.
Oh,
I like
good.
Spirited Away better as a movie, but I think I like that episode of the podcast better.
Yeah. I like Dreams in this category.
yeah.
Boy.
He says solemnly.
There's no universe where I'm leaving this room without Watchmen as number one.
That's fine with me. I like watching this number one. You guys should watch it if you haven't yet. Please do. It's
I guess
finishing
so.
up
Yeah,
this
I just
weekend.
have not watched it.
So
I don't know what discussions we have at this point, because it's like, what am I gonna say? No, that show sucks, having not seen it.
Okay. I would say runner-up Dreams.
Sure.
yeah.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest
Watch
work of
Undone
art
on
for all
Amazon Prime. It's
time.
very good. You should watch
Sure
it.
it is.
It's probably better than
On Amazon Prime, the runner-up is Dreams.
The thing that lets people make their dreams come to life.
Yeah,
Watchmen
but they're
is a dream
kind of
come
like
true.
underwhelming what everyone's made so far.
Okay.
We'll talk about that
negativity
more
out
next
the
week.
door.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about next week.
Next category. This is taken from the Twilight Highlight Zone, my Twilight Zone podcast with Jeff Cork. I adapted a little bit, obviously, and it is my favorite thing.
So you do want to put this
why didn't you
category
put
as
that
your
as
favorite?
your favorite thing?
Oh, wait, yeah.
for the
Let's
same
go
joke.
back. All right, let's open that can of worms. This category is the most aggressively mediocre game of 2019.
We all know what
Rage
it is,
2.
right?
That's
exactly what
I have one that I love more than that. Okay, hang on. So Rage 2,
Yeah.
the most aggressively mediocre game of all time.
Uh,
This is tough because like you can go off like the Game Informer review scale, and then like what is that, like somewhere around a 7-ish?
What about Frogger for Apple Arcade?
Okay. All right.
He said like
Also give it its due. It's
him.
Frogger in Toy Town.
Excuse me, sorry.
Okay.
I just feel like, yeah, Rage 2 is like my number one with the bullet here, just because like,
Yeah.
I don't hate that game at all, but it's just like at some point I just completely forgot that I was playing it.
Serial, what
and I
about
just stopped playing. I just like I didn't have a moment where I was like, man, screw this game, or like, man, I can't wait to finish this game.
Yeah.
I just like ended up not playing it one day and completely forgot about it.
it was just body temperature bath.
I had this came out this year as I was playing it.
Where do you think Little Town Hero deserves a spot in most aggressively mediocre game?
I don't know, because there are
Okay.
like frustrating moments in it.
Okay.
Because it's like I know I gave it a 5, which is mediocre, but it's like
It
I
dips
know.
kind of below.
yeah, it's like
right?
ups and downs versus like a complete flatline, which is what Rage 2 was for me.
Yeah. I would I have a contender, and I feel very good about this.
All right.
All right.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order.
The
for
game
the most aggressively mediocre game.
that weirdly has this sort of like group of people who defend it with the argument that it's like not good.
Yes.
Like they are passionate that it's
But it's not that it sucks. It's
yeah.
just so blah.
It's like exactly what I wanted in that it's not very good. It's like what? Okay.
People are tortured souls.
Talking about podcast games.
I think
Yeah.
I think that's a really good one, honestly.
Thank you, Kyle, for
Yeah.
getting my back on that. I felt amazing when I thought of that one.
The thing that blows my mind is just how constant, like podcasts, people are like, look, wasn't that good? But it's what I wanted. It's like,
lot
why
of
didn't you
Marvel
want
fans out there.
Why didn't you want something better?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Higher.
play Spider-Man again. You know.
Any other suggestions for the most aggressively mediocre game of
Let's see. I'm
2019?
gonna look through what I've played here.
I mean, Far Cry New Dawn was another one, but it doesn't beat Rage 2 for
Yeah.
me. So.
Okay.
Anthem was arguably actively bad.
Yeah, it's just you can't have too many ups and downs. It's
Yeah.
part of it, right?
Yeah, just kind of dull.
Yeah.
That's a good list, man. I like.
Right now it's Rage 2, Frogger in Toy Town, and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
I don't.
Okay.
I have no further questions, John.
I like Marvel a lot, mostly because of
Yeah.
the people who rally behind it, which is so confusing to me.
Yeah, I think.
So it's an FU move.
I think you can cut Frogger.
Kinda.
Honestly.
cut
Yeah, you
Frogger.
can cut Frogger. Yeah.
Is this category Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, and Rage 2 as the runner-up for most aggressively mediocre game?
I would swap those. I think
I would
like
swap them too.
Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Rage 2 is
Finish.
More
I defy you to finish that sentence.
is more
about Rage 2.
competently made than Black Order. Like
But-
Black Order
But
is
does that
just
competent-
dip Black Order down into the maybe bad zone?
And
Yeah, I think Marvel Ultimate Alliance often dips into like boredom, whereas like I was never like, I don't want to keep playing Rage. I just stopped. Like it's just like this natural inclination to like I should go do something else. It wasn't like a
wait.
thing where I'm done.
We're forgetting Days Gone.
I thought about it, but Jeff likes Days Gone.
Yeah.
Do you?
yeah,
okay.
I think it's interesting in what it does.
Yeah, I mean,
in
I
a
just
way
had
that-
what you're describing with Rage 2. That was me with Days Gone.
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it. I had a decent time, but it was just like one day I was like, I haven't played Days Gone in like a week. I think I'm good.
The thing
you
is
know?
that like it is more competently made, but just coming out like playing it and feeling nothing is kind of like and
Have you played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'd be shocked you could have forgotten that you did because it is just zero. It is eating vanilla wafers.
I guess to me, part of it also is that I actually was looking forward to Rage 2, and it is from id and Avalanche, which you think
Right.
they're going to make a kick-ass action game.
Yeah.
And then as I was playing
Like,
it's
for all that attitude about like, hey, we're gonna give you like these interesting skills and things. Like the fact that like you just end up resorting to the same like 2 moves, and it's just like it is aggressively mediocre insofar as
Okay.
like it wants to have all this style and things, but it just everything just about that game just kind of blends
And
into
it's weird
itself.
that it's like it's somehow less than the sum of its parts. It's
Yes.
like, okay, it's got progression, it's got action, it's got good weapons, the shotgun's great, and then it still just feels mediocre.
I would even like one point in Marvel Ultimate Alliance's favor out of this category is that like you can at least have like a time where you play it with your friends and like kind of all mess around, and this just happens to be the thing that you're doing.
Isn't there co-op in Rage 2?
I don't think so. I think there might be, but
I want to say no.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rage 2 #1, Marvel #2, just because Marvel does dip into the actively a little bit bad.
There are
than
more
being
ups and downs.
inoffensive. Yeah.
Okay, the most aggressively mediocre
Rage
game of
2 was
2019.
single player.
There we go. Is Rage 2. The runner-up is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. Thank you so much. Feel free to put that on your box.
You don't even have to email us.
Aggressive and meaty, they say. Best character of 2019.
We all know this one.
Do we?
Right? Yeah,
Oh,
we know.
interesting.
Randy Pitchford.
What's your? We all know it. Jeff.
Parvati.
Parvati.
Oh, sure.
I thought you were going to say
that's
Luigi.
good.
Luigi being scared.
I mean, you can.
Luigi's good.
I'll put Luigi on the list again.
Yeah, I don't.
I honestly now I feel terrible. I did not even think of Parvati.
Yeah, when you think of best character, you kind of automatically go like, "Oh, what are the protagonists I like this year?" But like, it's always the side characters who are the more exciting ones. You know.
Yeah, you're
I
spelling
think it's
that
two
right.
T's, right?
No, there it is. Okay, Parvati, Luigi. Here's I thought of Captain Price. I really enjoyed him in Modern Warfare. But it's a little bit just. Here's just a standard guy who's so confident that he's kind of fun.
He's a superhero kind of.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think any of us are into it, but this would be a place to honor the goose. I do believe.
Oh, sure.
Are you into that, Jeffem?
Yeah.
Did you play it?
I haven't. No, I haven't played it. I've seen it.
Okay.
I understand but as a best character, I can totally understand that. I've seen enough of that game to understand.
Goose from Untitled Goose
I
Game?
love that goose.
Have you beaten it?
No, I just started.
Okay,
it.
because I think the ending only sort of makes the argument stronger.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
You spoil anything else, Rika?
I'm doing my
Just
best.
messing with
Man.
you.
I'm doing my best.
I have a suggestion, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen of the podcast table,
I'm
that's
looking
us.
for
I
suggestions.
would suggest Mr. X deserves a spot on this list.
I like that.
He's a real
You can
character.
throw him on there.
I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah.
In terms of a character that, like, yeah, you don't know what he's thinking, you don't know what makes him tick, but in terms of just one character this year that captured imaginations, Mr. X.
I totally get it. I'm at the point in that game where he is tormenting me in a bad way, but he is certainly he's
a real
definitely the
stinker.
standout character in that game for me.
I don't know, I'm a huge Ada Wong fan.
Remember that kiss?
Who's the pilot in Fallen Order? Grease? Is that his name? Grease is fun, right?
I feel like I like.
Cal Kestis?
I was going to say BD1.
I was gonna say the second
BD1
sister.
I actually
BD1's
like.
a great suggestion.
Yeah, BD1's good.
Serial, what'd you have
I had the second sister from Fallen Order.
over BD1?
I
She's
mean, I don't know.
cool.
Like, I
When you
guess that
you learn-
like BD1 kind of strikes me as just like generic, very adorable, like kind of cute thing that's going on.
Yeah,
It doesn't,
good.
It doesn't strike me as someone who's like, I don't know. I guess I like BD1, but he just seems like he's another one of those kind of like pixie-like characters that is just kind of
Adorable
like,
droids,
yes, just doing things that are cool. Also, yeah, there's a long line of like good partner character sidekicks like that in Star Wars.
But they subtitle his beeps and bloops, which is very fun.
Okay.
Does anybody else have additions for this list? Right now it's Parvati, Luigi, Goose, Mr. X, BD1, Second Sister.
I don't
There
know.
are
I
three
very.
characters with basically that are unconventional here, but I like that.
I know there's a lot of characters in Disco Elysium whose arcs I would love to see. Kim Kitsuragi I think is like probably my standout so far in terms of like a character.
You willing to fight for her on this list, having only played 7 hours?
That's the problem. Is that like I just want to make sure that everyone yelling at their whatever device they're listening to. Look, Kim Kitsuragi would probably be my pick if I had finished Disco Elysium, and I apologize.
I like Trover from Trover Saves the Universe too.
I aggressively
I know you
hate
don't
putting
you don't
Trover
like
on
him.
this list.
You didn't finish the game, right?
No, I made it halfway through and I was
That's
tortured.
just I don't. You're just. There's nothing that could ever convince you to like give that game a
That was
shot.
the most
Like,
obnoxious.
Did you ever watch? Did you watch Rick and Morty?
I saw the first episode and I thought this is obnoxious.
Yeah,
but I understand. I'm
it's-
saying that there's a lot of good stuff in there.
No,
but,
not at all. It's
I
just
think
like
people are angry.
I think
You
there's a
made
lot of
everyone angry, Kyle.
there's a lot of reasons to be turned off by like Rick and Morty at the start for sure, and it's
Yeah.
like that. It is that sort of very talking to Justin Roiland about Trover Saves the Universe. Like that's his style that he likes. He likes it to be improvisational and weird and
I
incomplete.
I
and
like
it's-
the spirit of it.
Yeah, but it
when
just
it's all
doesn't
just
work for you.
screaming
Yeah.
for a 7-hour game, it's like Jesus, Martha. Should I put down Jesus Martha as one of the characters from 2019? Okay. I can live with this list. Start whittling down from here. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. I'm trying to decide what the best Fire Emblem character is.
There we go.
There's a lot of good ones in there. I guess the one that I'll have to go with is Claude because I played, that faction.
Claude.
So,
which faction is this?
The Golden Deer.
There it is.
So the way he's kind of like this casual,
You made him say it.
He plays the very kind of knowing trickster role where he's kind of like, I'm gonna be this affable guy who's kind of like always being mischievous, and everyone's kind of like, Claude, you need to apply yourself, but very secretly behind the scenes he's like the smartest person in the room in a lot of instances, but he is not a bad guy in that sense. He's someone who's trying to help people, and he's the one in that world pushing for the closest thing they have to a democracy there, and that is very much in opposition to the more authoritarian regimes that the other people in the empire are trying to push.
Yeah.
But he's also his voice acting is one of the best that I've seen in kind of those games where where a lot of that game is just character portraits popping in and out. His voiceover is really well delivered, and he works so well with that group of people as just the Golden Deer are kind of a bunch of outcasts and kind of people who aren't taking the conflict super seriously, and Claude is sort of the one who's yeah guys, I'm gonna let you be yourselves, but let's try to corral this ragtag group into something that can actually start winning fights. And so he is that leader in a very strong sense, and he's pushing for things that are almost unequivocally good for the empire, and he's kind of the one as these two other factions are fighting, he's kind of slowly listen, I have my eyes on the prize for this.
Serial, would you fight for him for character of the year?
I think my two would be Claude and Parvati.
I think Parvati, with the group and the fact that we all played that so much and all talked about Parvati so much, I think she's on this list. I think
I think Luigi's gone. I think Second Sister is gone, although I
think Second
I
Sister's
learned more
gone.
about her recently. I got to the point where you kind of learn more about her, and she is interesting, but I like BD1 more.
I mean, is it weird that BD1 is a standout character from that game? Because I feel
I don't know. I don't think
he's
either
not
of them make
Okay,
it.
BD1's
I think
cut.
it's Parvati and Mr. X.
Yeah,
I also think it's Parvati and Mr. X.
Yeah, I like the goose. I honestly you talk about sort of cultural impact of that sucker.
Are we talking about
but is
that?
it for this table though?
Yeah,
you personally.
And the fact that you're the only one that's finished the Goose Game?
Yeah, the end does sort of give
Justify
him
the
an
means?
interesting twist to his character. But I mean,
I know.
it's
I
hard to
know
fire.
that ending. I had it spoiled for me, but
Okay.
I do like that twist that he actually.
That
he's not.
Hey, I want to learn about this. off air.
But yeah, I like Parvati too. Mr. X is a lock, whether that's one or two. I want to see Mr. X on there for sure.
Okay, I'm cutting Goose.
Okay, bye Goose.
Claude, Mr. X,
If I'm the
and
only one
Parvati.
who's going to defend Claude, I know you guys are. There's no universe where you guys are going to play in a Fire Emblem to understand. And even if you did, you might be like any of the faction leaders that you chose.
And when it comes to the MinnMax Awards, there is permadeath. You are
Talk about
deleted.
Been slain by Mr.
hard
X.
classic.
Please add a sound effect or something to
Also,
that.
I will say though that if Claude dies, you fail the mission. He's like a character who can't die.
well, look, hey, if Claude died to fail the mission, leave that comment on this YouTube
so
video.
start this mission and start this whole award ceremony over then.
So I guess Parvati won
I
because
like
she's
Parvati
a
over
real
Mr. X, I don't
person
know.
with a personality, and Mr.
I don't
X.
think that necessarily means Parvati has to win this.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mr. X just because he's the second you see him, you're like, what is this guy? He throws
A
the
character
helicopter out of the
having
way.
an impact on
He's
you.
wearing a freaking fedora.
He's stupid
He's
looking.
terrifying.
Yes.
I really like
was,
Mr. X a
was
lot.
he in the original game?
He was.
Yeah,
yes.
they look different.
Wasn't he
he was-
also only in like the rework
B
or
scenario.
the B scenario?
Yeah, playing as Leon or something like that. But yeah, the hat was part of his original design before they scrapped a lot of Resident Evil 2, so it was added back as a fun Easter egg. But
I don't know. I don't want to discount Parvati completely though. I like that she has a really interesting arc that is both new for representation in games, her being an asexual character, but also her specific arc of you trying to having a relationship with a character that exists outside of they're an asset to my team, or I'm going to try to gift this person into a romance.
Yeah.
The fact that you are helping her have another relationship, I think is something genuinely novel in these kinds of games.
Okay, sure. I'll give it to Parvati. Number one.
sure.
Mr. X runner-up?
She didn't have a X gonna give it to you YouTube video, but that's fine.
Final category is. Oh, that's not true. Wait, no. Yes, it is. Best moment.
Okay.
Category is best moment for 2019. Again, we will try and give Warner's. We'll give some David Warners for
some Warner
spoilers,
Brothers.
but you're welcome to skip this category if you're very scared.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a spoiler.
Yeah, I
right?
think mine will too.
I think mine will too. Okay, best moment. Who wants to volley out something? Maybe let's start with the non-spoilers.
Well, you can do the Fortnite one, right?
Oh,
yeah,
suggestion. So Fortnite Chapter 2, or just Fortnite Black Hole,
Yeah.
right? I think that's an excellent one. It's powerful. It's surround, Josh.
Let me see.
Yeah, my one that I had been preparing to argue, assuming that we would have been doing this at Game Informer, like I had one in mind but it is spoilery.
Okay.
So if you guys have
This is the
non-spoilery
spoiler
ones-
category.
Yeah.
But if we have
If
non-spoilers,
there's a way to talk around it, that'd be great.
I don't think I think if it's the moment that we both have.
Well, mine's from Trover Saves the Universe, which
okay.
is like kind of like I don't
F
think
that.
You were talking. You were just talking about the category
Because
where it's like
I know the thing you're talking about, and I played it, and because you said like, oh, there's this moment, and I played it, and I was like, yeah, it's like, oh, something like unexpected happens. That entire game is people screaming unexpected things at you. It does not.
It's
pop
frustrating
in any
that you're
way.
just
Okay,
like
but
no.
like, okay,
you know,
even
like give me a
from
chance
your-
to explain it.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think
Go
let
ahead.
Kyle talk about his thing.
Sure.
All right. And
Before
which
we
you
cut
don't,
it.
and you just don't like the sort of tone of the game in general. So there was like,
Correct.
so, and to me, okay. So there's this moment where you get sent on this mission. Where you're like, I need you to kill all these people to free them from this this burden that they've been that they're struggling with, and you need to kill them in order to complete this mission. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go there, and it's like this planet with like green sky and these circular houses, and you can kind of walk around, and there all these little creatures are walking up to you, and they're very nice and they're like cute. And Trover's like, are we sure we want to do this? Like, I guess this is what we have to do. And then you can slaughter everybody. And then when you come back to the guy, he's like, thank you so much for doing that. It was so important that happened. That planet with its red sky and its square houses, like, I'm so glad you took care of that. And then you sort of continue the discussion, and he's like, wait, oh crap, I sent you to the wrong planet. You just slaughtered like an entire planet just based on my mistake. And I thought it was hilarious, and I also love it because it was like, to me, it was like commentary on like the idea of player agency and just doing what you're told in a video game and like what that means. And like it cracked me up. I thought it was the funniest moment in the game, and like, and you can't actually avoid it. If you don't kill anyone, you get sort of a different trajectory, but like I totally like gave into the sort of the setup for it and like accidentally slaughtered an entire planet. And I thought it was hilarious and weird and dark, and I really enjoyed it.
It is. I understand it being the best part of that game. I think why I resist it is like
because you
that
don't
would have
like that style of comedy.
Well, that's true, but like if that popped in any way compared to the rest of the game, right? If like this was like a Mass Effect and you did that, it would be like, oh my god, that's one of the craziest moments of the year. And I'm not exaggerating when the 4 hours leading up to that moment are literally like, hey, what the f***'s going on? It's just nonstop screaming insanity, like, oh, unexpected things are happening. It's random for the sake of random. Look at all this random stuff. Oh, something else happened that's random. Let's move on, right? It's like, and then that happens in the middle of that.
I don't think it's fully random. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think random's the right term because there is a trajectory to that story and a legitimate plot, and there is like world building and different things.
Oh, there is something in there, but I'm just saying it doesn't. There's not enough contrast for that moment to pop compared to the rest of that game.
Yeah, I disagree. It stood out to me in a big way. So I really liked that moment, and I thought it was really funny. And it's hard to nail like a comedy in a video game like that. And the way that it like
keep trying.
It took me the way it like put me in a position to enact the sort of the thing that happened, and I was the punchline. The thing that I did as the player became the punchline for this big joke. Really stood out to me, and I really enjoyed it.
I'm not saying it's not
the end.
Okay, that's fine. And to be fair, I did laugh while playing the game a couple times. Like it is, I like the tone of having like natural delivery in a game, and there is obviously funny stuff in there. It's just, you know.
I get that it's like it's just not gonna click with you, and that's fine.
Stop trying to make me play Trover Saves the Universe.
No, you don't
I know
have
it's
to.
a juggernaut of 2019.
Biggest game
not do it.
I'm just trying to acknowledge
Outer
that
Wilds
like
level juggernaut.
yeah. Anyway, so I'm sure that'll be deleted before we finish this.
It's on the
Conversation's
list.
over now.
It's on the list.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
In the realm of games that we maybe haven't played enough of, but I played 2 hours, and I understand it's not enough. Actually, probably less than that, but maybe an hour of Outer Wilds. And I do think just from that hour, I think leaving the planet for the first time in Outer Wilds is a very good moment this year.
Really? I don't know. I feel like if I had done anything of note in my 40 minutes that I played of it, because I did manage to leave the planet.
Okay. Just that moment of realizing, like, wandering around that opening little village and then getting in the ship, taking off, and realizing like, oh, this is all physics-based. That actually was a real village on this tiny planet. The fact that I can do this seamlessly in a video game was one of the coolest moments.
I guess I didn't have that
No
huge...
Man's Sky.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think it's different because it's like small and like there are characters and it's like basically, people call it like, oh, it's a Zelda or like a Majora's Mask style thing. But imagine like that type of thing and then leaving Hyrule Field and then just like, oh, it's actually just sitting down there.
So one
still.
thing I do want to like, I think maybe the reason that it did pop for you was that like there's no like cutscene or transition that leads into that.
Exactly.
It is taking place in the same like kind of view where you in first person you're walking around, you get up into your ship, and then it's like, okay, now you can start viewing it through the landing viewfinder, which is like a different view of your ship that helps you land. And so as you're moving around, you just kind of realize that, oh, this is just going to keep going. There's not going to be like a thing where it's like, it's time to start exploring the world now. Here's the menu. It's like you are exploring the world in the same interface that you were just exploring the little village. And that like the fact that this is going to be one seamless thing.
I guess I just felt the same seamlessness from No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it is at the same
and
ballpark.
it's funny because even though I didn't like No Man's Sky like the year it came out, and I argued against it on our top 50. I did try to fight for that being a moment of just leaving the planet.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I think one of the things that holds me back for Outer Wilds is spoiled by No Man's Sky a little bit. But I also, my knowledge of the game hurt that because like I knew that that's how the game was structured, which is like, do you factor that at all? I don't know. It just didn't have the same impact.
It's the collective group's level of impact. So
but it is cool. Like I was more fascinated by going to the first planet. I just like landed on a planet that had this like storm raging on it, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
I think
like,
that's
that
the same
was more
planet that I
impactful
landed
to me
on too,
than leaving. But
one that I don't think is going to hang, but in Modern Warfare, there's a moment where seems like Price goes too far. I won't spoil it because I don't need to. Involving, do you remember this? Involving some torture, trying to get info, and it's just one of those like, wow, like this is really crazy that they're doing
kind
this.
of like no Russian thing. Is this the moment you can opt out of?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I ended up opting out by accident, so I didn't get to see that.
Did you opt in? I guess
I opted out.
I also opted out. I guess I don't understand.
It still happened though. Like you went in the room and it's like, oh, look at that.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Anyways, I don't think it's even worth putting on the list here. But all right, Surreal.
So Kyle, I think also had this one as like a contender. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in Sekiro.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Killing the
Great
ape.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Great Ape?
Grape ape.
The Grape
Ape. That was the twist. Is Grape Ape comes out.
It's like this beloved classic character of animation, and suddenly the guy. So you're fighting this ape, and he's kind of like this wild ape with a sword. I believe in the first.
I think I could talk around it maybe.
Okay, go ahead.
But just real quick, the thing that it does that is interesting is it uses what you've learned up to that point in the game on how you complete boss fights and what you like when you know that you've finished a boss fight, and changes it in a radical way.
And like uses it against you.
Yes.
Which
maybe that's too vague, or maybe we should expand more.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
But it is
I
like
love it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It is like the one time in games this year that like my jaw was literally like I was like what like I was literally agape. I was ape agape at the
Grape agape.
Yeah, I was agape at that ape.
The Grape Ape agape.
Just like, oh, okay, so there's this, okay. And like the way they deliver that moment and the context that works around this moment is both like super surprising at the time of like, this is ridiculous, but then they go and actually explain it in a way that is feasible within the context of that world.
Yeah, I think which is the coolest moment from that game, for sure.
All right, I think that's a real contender. Surreal, I would recommend Mortal Kombat 11's ending. I think what I would call Raiden's realization.
Yes. I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, because there's like two moments in my mind that are kind of in that same part of the game.
The flashbacks and then realizing, like, this can only go one way and it takes a certain combo to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And certain powering up. That's just awesome.
So the other thing that was, like, the way that plotline escalates right at the end is kind of like this weird, like, the last 20 minutes of that storyline are just, like, bonkers in a way that is like super fun, in line with what that series has been building up to, but also like it is a Bayonetta level of like, okay, now there's this like you thought the scale was large before and kind of like out there, like it does that manyfold like right at the end. But I do think that moment is part of that. I think is realizing that like okay, so we're gonna have to do this then.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. And it's weird for me because I never really cared much about Mortal Kombat before this year. Like going on the cover story, seeing the story for like 9 and 10, and then having a great time playing through the story mode for Mortal Kombat 11, and then like understanding and getting into the Mortal Kombat lore enough to the point that like the end of that game, like this is awesome. They did such a good job with that finale.
It was interesting for me as someone who similarly doesn't care about Mortal Kombat, like to watch you be like, oh, I actually like this. Like it was
It's
like
fun.
weird to watch you sort of like really embrace it in a big way by the end.
It's just a super fun comic book story. Like it's great. For me, Jeff, did you play Baba Is You?
No.
Damn it! Did you play Baba Is
No,
You?
I didn't.
Oh. And Kyle's not the biggest
Get it
fan.
out of here! There's just people yelling. It's all random.
It's a bunch of random things. We have to figure things out.
Yelling
No,
Baba Is You. I feel bad.
I wonder-
spoiling this,
Baba
but
is yell.
Is it like like my thing for Baba Is You, which maybe is what you're going for, is like understanding how the puzzles work.
100%. And this is the thing. Do you know how the puzzles work in Baba Is You, Jeff?
Yeah, you like touch things and then
it's
you turn
programming.
It's like
into-
coder
basically.
logic, right?
Yeah.
It's code. Okay, so yes, I guess that's a spoiler, which other people talked about when the game came out, so I'm okay talking about this basic concept a little bit, but I was trying to dodge it when we talked about it on the old podcast. But it is that realization of just, and I did this with multiple different groups of friends, of sitting them down with Baba Is You and then playing through the first level. It's like, okay, I slide this block over here, it's a little puzzle game, got it. Then you get stuck, and it's like, wait, so I can push the words around, and depending on the order these words are in, it's changing the actual logic. And like the first moment, I believe, in that game where it really clicks, and it was so fun to watch several groups of people just be like, wait, what is Baba Is Wall? Like when you become the wall for the first time, and then you're just moving the entire perimeter of the level to get the flag. Like that is one of my favorite moments of the year. Favorite moments of the last 5 years in gaming for me.
I'm with you. I
know you're frustrated with the later half.
Yeah,
but.
and because I think part of that frustration is because I like the beginning so much. When you're just sort of figuring out the basics, it's really fun and exciting. Like, so I'm with you. I think that is a really great moment in games this year.
You're so much nicer than I am.
I know. Imagine that.
Is this our list? Is anybody else?
There's another one, but it's spoilery.
I think there's a moment in Travis Strikes Again that I really like, that I think is maybe my personal favorite for the year. And I feel like I do have to spoil it because of what the revelation actually is. So you're playing through these games, and it's like, they're death marks, and the idea is that these are like left behind prototypes of games that never came out. And then you realize that one of the games is named something, I don't remember what it is, but then when you dive into it, you realize that it's Shadows of the Damned. So it's like in Travis Strikes Again.
Wait, should I play Travis Strikes Again?
I mean, like that. The thing is that like you weren't gonna play it otherwise, but like I had to tell you that. Like, if I had just said like, "Hey, Kyle, you should play," you'd be like, "No, I'm not gonna do that."
So wait, what is it? Is it an Easter egg or what is it?
No, it is one of the main levels in that game of like 6 is like you play in that same top-down world. You play through Shadows of the Damned backwards. So you start at the end of Shadows of the Damned.
Oh, weird.
And you play through basically. I would have to figure out if there's like a direct one-to-one comparison, but you play through every level of Shadows of the Damned backwards, and then at the end, the boss is Johnson, which is
Big Johnson, please.
No, they just call him Johnson because he's like evolved into this. He's become from a gun. He's like one of the characters in the promo art.
Yeah, is it a third-person shooter?
No, it's like you play through like a top-down beat 'em up, basically the same way the rest of the game is, but it's like it is literally the levels from Shadows of the Damned.
Oh, that's great.
And so like at the end, you fight Johnson, who's like, "No, I'm doing this because I love Garcia and I'm going to defend Garcia's honor." And then like as you're fighting him, you kind of like Travis kind of starts befriending like, "Oh, this Garcia guy, I bet he was really cool."
Okay, so you put
Is this it? We're looking at gameplay footage.
So
Yes.
you put the cartridge in, and it's not called Shadows of the Damned, but then when it starts, you're like, oh,
yeah,
this is
it's like it is like a fake out where it's like, here's this game, and it's like, oh, you land, and it's like, wait, this is not what I expected. This is like straight up Shadows of the Damned. This is like
really
where you
cool.
fight the last boss in
that a
Shadows
lot.
of the Damned, and then like there are some very minor kind of nods to the fact that like he like pseudo working with EA didn't go super well. So like there's some like fourth wall breaking moments in that game.
Yeah, he didn't like how that game came out ultimately, right?
Yeah, he was like, I would do. There were a lot of things that I would rather do differently.
Yeah.
That it. So like. That was like as
really
being
cool.
specifically a Suda fan, I think it's like one of those things where it's like, dude, they made this was. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Inland Empire.
No,
David
don't
Lynch.
think
So before I talked about rabbits in an earlier podcast.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that? So it takes place in this one apartment building, right?
Yeah.
In this one room, and it's like a very short, like kind of like a short film. I think it's like an hour long, and so it's like this very surreal thing. But like in Inland Empire, which released years after that, there's a part where like the main character is having like this weird dream or breakdown. It's kind of ambiguous because it's David Lynch, and at one point she's just like wandering through all these halls, and she opens a door, and there is the apartment from Rabbids, and like and she's like taking it on from a different perspective because it's like Rabbids is a fixed perspective thing where you're always watching it from one camera. So then she starts like running around the apartment from Rabbids. It was kind of like that in a video game form where it's like, oh, they're revisiting this idea in a way that feels like nostalgic without feeling like, oh, we're just gonna do this thing. Like it felt like a weird like kind of introspective moment from Suda, which is like the thing that I want to see from Suda games is like him being really weird, which he hadn't done in like a lot of his previous games.
Right.
And so this was the moment where I was like, oh, this is like structurally like super interesting and cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great case for sure. Is this the list now?
Well, Jeff, you had one more, didn't you?
Yeah, it's from Jedi Fallen Order, and it's impossible to not spoil.
I mean,
I could step away.
I feel like Microsoft spoiled it, didn't they?
Well, I've specifically been avoiding that trailer for that reason.
Okay.
Do you want to step away for this, Kyle? It'll be very tough to come to the final verdict on that without you.
Well, yeah, I really.
Can you just cryptically just say like?
Is
there's
it just
got to be
like
a way to talk around
the
it.
crazy ending or something?
There isn't because
It's part of the crazy ending.
yes, it's part of the crazy ending we can say. But anything else, like even if I try to keep it very vague, you're going to figure out what.
What
it
about
is.
just cameo? Is that what it is? There's a cameo
Even that I
on
feel
Jedi
is a
Fallen
little
Order?
bit like.
You're already treading a fine line there, Hanson.
Have you finished it?
No, but
You know what it
Jack
is.
told
Do you
me.
think you? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it beyond a cameo? Let's at least say a cameo in Jedi Fallen Order just for like getting it
Yeah,
on a
you
list.
can-
But it's like
That's
it's not
fine.
even that. It's like a little bit of how that ties into the narrative. It
Okay.
is not. It is not just
it
like
is narrative and it is gameplay. And
Okay, well let's
it is
before
a
we get
crescendo.
to this. Do you feel like compared to this competition, you would fight for this in the top slot?
It is my probably favorite thing.
Damn it. Serial, are you with
but
them?
we can go on, and the thing is, I know that Cyril doesn't like Star Wars as much, so
Oh.
it
yeah, so it's
doesn't
like,
have as much
see,
of an
like
impact
I
with
almost
him.
kind of expected it to say like when I saw the thing, I was like, oh, okay, so it is kind of going for this thing. Then.
Yeah.
But again, like I'm not like that moment would not have hit me like
Right.
there wasn't.
Sure.
Thank you for dancing around spoilers, even though I did a really bad job of that yesterday.
You're fine.
I really appreciate it.
I did spoil the Travis Strikes Again thing.
No,
but, like,
that,
I feel
that's
like I-
worth
cool.
spoiling.
That's
Yeah, I love that.
because
That's
like
really fun.
I am more likely to check that game out now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The level after that is also I'm not going to spoil that one, but it's also very cool.
You said the Majora's Mask once to me, which
With Travis
That's a
Strikes
very
Again?
that's a very small thing. It's not.
Oh, okay, okay.
It is
Yeah,
not this level.
Keep in
of,
mind, people been screaming at you to play Outer Wilds all year, also saying Majora's Mask.
Well, I know, but I know
2019, the year
I-
of Majora's Mask.
I understand why that reference for Outer
Sure.
Wilds, where I don't know what you're getting at.
Oh,
Travis Strikes
interesting.
Again.
I am willing, since it was my suggestion, to cut Outer Wilds because I thought it was cool, but if everyone else was kind of meh on it.
I mean, yeah.
Also, I understand as an outlet that we're blowing it by not giving Outer Wilds its
That's
due
what that
in
other,
this episode.
I mean,
but
assuming Kyle plays Outer Worlds, that Outer Worlds may have its moment.
It's all
right?
on me.
it is all on you, baby.
Okay.
All right. Oh boy, this list right now is Fortnite Black Hole, Trover Saves the Universe, Planet Slaughter, Sekiro, Great Ape, Agape Assassination, Mortal Kombat 11 is an ending. Baba Is You, Travis Strikes Again, Jedi Fallen Order. Here's my again self-sacrifice. I expect you guys to do the same. Baba Is You, absolutely
Your personal one.
personal, yeah, by a mile. But it is that argument of that's just why I love the game, is for the logic. And I
Oh,
know it was a
sure.
moment of realizing what the logic was.
It's like realizing, oh, you can rotate the pieces in Tetris.
No. In fact, I'm going back on it. No, I'm sticking with that. It's just a moment.
Good going, Cyril. Even if it is a moment, with the competition it's up against, you still feel that.
I personally, I'm not trying to tip this in any way. I think Sekiro takes it based on the conversation.
Sekiro is mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, my two would be Sekiro and Travis, but I know that people feel differently. But yeah, I think I'm with Kyle on that.
Okay. I think, yeah.
Ape
Let's
thing.
just lock Sekiro right now.
I
As
mean,
the
we don't have
winner.
to bold it, like, but okay.
This will make it
it's a
easier.
top.
And now
Yeah.
trying to figure out the runner-up.
Kyle, I don't think the Trover
took
moment.
Fortnite out, huh?
I don't think the Trover moment stacks up because, like, I don't know. Like, I don't have a
Screw
horse.
you, Cyril.
I don't
Don't
have
be
that
a
horse
dick, Cyril.
in that fight. Like, I watched the season of Rick and Morty and liked it fine. But like, I think
Is
part
that a
of
moment?
it is that like there are the
thought
moment
Rick
that
and Morty was okay.
Yeah. I think the thing about the Trover versus the Universe moment is that like I feel like games have tried to do kind of like commentary on player agency before, so it didn't strike me as a particularly novel. I think the fact that they're doing it for comedic effect is maybe the novelty there.
And it also just worked for me. Like I played into exactly what they were going for. You know what I mean? So it clicked with me really well. Like it was one of those things where like taking notes on that game and I had an opportunity to talk to Justin Roiland afterward. That was my beeline question. I was like, let's talk about this moment for like 15, 20 minutes, which you can find that video if you want to find it. But I made my argument. I know Hanson's not on board, so like wherever it goes now,
Let's slaughter
it's free.
it.
I got to talk about it. That's mostly what I wanted. Okay.
Wait, I think it was actually the wrong moment, Kyle. I think you actually deleted the wrong.
Oh no.
That's fun. Thanks. Cyril was so proud of himself with that joke. How do we feel about the Fortnite black hole? I think it was awesome.
I appreciate it a lot.
But
Yeah,
the fact
that's
that
the
none
tough
of us
thing.
are Fortnite players is
It was just like watching it from the outside and being like, oh, that's awesome. That's cool they did that. But
Yeah.
like,
That has been me in Fortnite for like the last year.
Yeah.
Is like, oh, that's cool that they did that. I wish I liked that game more. You know,
But this
like,
is a moment that like it expands beyond just we
yes,
don't play
it was like
because
a cultural moment because of how big Fortnite is.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm finding it hard to like argue passionately for it because it's like not a thing that I'm personally super like like excited about. But I can totally appreciate the fact that they are able to do this kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
want to leave it on for now.
for
Is that
now, I think
crazy?
it's okay. Yeah.
Curiel, if you don't fully have my back with Mortal Kombat 11,
I
it's
like
not,
that moment a lot. It's just like I think for me, like I like the Sekiro and I like the Travis Strikes moment more.
What about the
but-
fact that we both like the Mortal Kombat moment, the ending, but
Yeah,
you're the
but
only
I'm-
one that's played Travis Strikes
Yeah,
Again?
but like I don't
Well,
know.
can I ask something about Mortal Kombat? Is it
Yeah.
a story moment or is it
Yes.
like a gameplay moment?
It's a story moment.
But then it ties into gameplay.
Does it? Okay. Because I'm always
Ye-
like,
A character
yeah.
changes in a really interesting way, and that affects
Yeah.
gameplay.
But I don't think the
interesting.
part
All right.
where it affects gameplay is like, you know, the major component of like they could have not changed that character and I think it would have worked.
Yes.
Well, not as well.
It's overall
but, like,
story and a cutscene, but then it has ramifications.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing I would say, as much as I think that Shadows of the Damned thing sounds awesome, like if you're not a sort of a Suda person,
Sure,
like
yeah.
I don't know if that would really impact you. And
Yeah.
the reason it would impact me is because I think Shadows of the Damned is like far and away his best game, and I like that
Yeah.
game a lot. But like, would it resonate outside of that, or would it?
I
Most
think if
people
you
probably
like
don't even know
if
that
you,
game.
if you're
you
like
know?
if you like Shadows of the Damned or like No More Heroes, I think it would resonate.
Yeah, but outside of
I
that.
understand that is like an admittedly small like overlapping
Yeah.
of interests. So yeah, I guess you can cut it.
I'm sorry. Right now it is Jedi Fallen Order cameo, Baba is You, Fortnite Black Hole, Mortal Kombat 11, and Sekiro Grade 8.
Grape Ape Agape.
I'm sorry, yes, the
Assassination.
Grape Ape.
Which I said on the stream, I think. If you have no interest in playing Sekiro, but you want to see why that moment is so cool,
Yeah.
check out Donkey's Sekiro video.
Oh, right.
Because he
Okay.
he actually like perfectly sort of shows why it's cool. You know.
Sweet. Jeff, if he had to cut one.
I would cut Baba Is You. I apologize, but it seems like in terms of puzzle games, there are a lot of puzzle games where you get that oh my god moment.
But it's
of
not
realize-
just, oh my god, I know how to solve this puzzle.
I know,
it is,
but-
oh my god, the rules of this are something that I've never experienced in a video game before.
Yes, but that I am still saying that kind of experience of like, hey, we are breaking rules, we are doing something that is so outside the box that I wasn't expecting it.
That is part of the
still
pitch of the
something-
game as a whole to me. But
Yeah, but I think it was just so awesome because I had no idea going in. I went completely blind. Did you too? Like that was...
I think I did. Yeah, it was just given to me as a review. I'd heard it was good. That's all I knew about
Yeah.
going into it. So,
Kyle, where do you stand? If Jeff is nay, where do you stand on
I
Baba
think-
Is You?
man, this one's tough because like I can't speak to Jedi Fallen Order. I still really like Fallout or Fortnite. Sorry, I don't like.
Yeah.
And I do think, man, I don't love like the ending sort of moments, you know, which Mortal Kombat and Star Wars both kind of feel like.
I agree with that.
So
I mean,
Yeah.
that feels weird to me that we would not count a moment because they knew that they built this best crazy moment and put it at the end of a story.
Sure, yeah.
But you're saying it's just too broad, and maybe it's because we're trying to dance around Mortal Kombat 11 a little bit?
Super isn't broad for Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
It is a very specific moment and then sequence following that moment, but it is a very compact kind of thing that...
Yeah.
Serial, is he nuts?
I think, I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I think you guys will get a kick out of it when it happens. If you finish it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll finish it.
But
I'm willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm also willing to sacrifice.
Okay, Mortal Kombat 11,
which is a bummer, but
We love you, buddy.
You guys, I want to know what that is off air.
Okay. It's also one of those things where it's like, if you don't give a crap Mortal Kombat, it'd be
It's
like,
not gonna make
okay,
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
Never
like, the music is amazing, like everything in that moment. Anyways.
Okay.
But we'll tell you.
I'll be like, oh, all right. And which one has the get over here?
And who is the one who gets over there?
Yeah, this moment is someone gets over there.
Do you guys remember that episode of like the very serious AMC drama Mortal Kombat where it says, I am the one who gets over here?
It's wearing a fedora. That's Mr. X. Oh, yeah, so Fortnite, I guess.
Goes.
That one's so tough because it's like...
It's just none of us are personally attached. We all just think it's a really cool moment from the year.
Like if I had been playing a bunch of Fortnite, like if you had been playing a bunch of Fortnite and you saw that, it'd be really exciting. I was excited about it outside of Fortnite. I thought it was really cool.
But the fact that we can all agree that this is a cool is what has me kind of
The
really
thing
which is
like,
also
even,
where I am too.
Even having not played Fortnite, like the amount of like fun enjoyment that I got out of that moment, having like being totally removed from it and like seeing like, oh, Fortnite's still down, like and my role is kind of weird because it happened on a weekend and I was reporting on it, but like the fact, like even that was, I think, a super fun moment for me outside of whatever it was in the actual game as a player.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, is this list Sekiro's Great Ape as number 1?
Great Ape Gabe.
Sorry, yes. And then number 2, Fortnite's Black Hole, the runner-up?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow!
It was
Sorry, Baba and Jeff. Oh, that is rough.
epic.
Jeffem looks genuinely pissed.
No, well, the only thing that I'm questioning is Fortnite the number 1.
I
don't think so.
No, that I really like that ape moment. Like
that is like that is such a good moment.
If you guys like the ape moment, then turning off the biggest game, which was another one that was reported everywhere.
Well, here's the thing,
that is a really important
it.
cultural moment. It is like, to me personally, it is nothing compared to that like Sekiro moment in terms of how like surprising they've managed to pull out, which is a thing because like it almost set you up to like, oh, I should have expected this.
Yeah, and it's not like what everyone else's reaction to it isn't necessarily like a major factor in our decisions here, but like you can, if you look up like ape moment in Sekiro,
there are
whatever,
reaction videos.
Or just Google ape moment.
Yeah, you will find like
into it
compilation videos of of groups of people like playing
that
through
was
it and stuff.
I was posing it as a question, guys,
and it's
you
like
answered the question.
It also ties into the game, into that actual world and story in a way that makes you super curious about why that happened.
I am curious now, and I do want to play it. So
I feel so proud of our list, you guys.
I feel so proud of our process for making it.
Yeah.
Like it does feel like it wasn't contentious, Like sometimes
Well, there was that one.
Like sometimes it can be really frustrating.
Have right opinions.
And even though there were certainly categories where we all did have like very different opinions about things, I feel aside from Hanson telling Kyle to F off about and not even listening to what he had to say.
Because I knew it, because I played it. And it made me angry. Anyways.
Yes.
I built it up too much. I should have told you.
But otherwise, I think we really did this list.
For a full recap, biggest news of 2019 was the Blitzchung Blizzard China saga. The runner-up, Randy Pitchford's flash drive. God, it feels like 3 days ago we talked about that. The That Came Out This Year award, or the blank check honorary game that does not exist, is Sky Children of the Light. And the runner-up is Crackdown 3. I feel like that's such a good choice for the number 1. Even someone who likes Sky, like say Matt Miller or something, if I asked him what is the subtitle, he would not be able to get Children of the Light. Okay, next one. A game we all agree is probably good, but we didn't play. The winner is Life is Strange 2. Runner-up is A Plague Tale: Innocence.
You better play Outer Wilds, because
oh boy, I like that. There's like this sort of element to it now. Of like,
I plan to play more Disco Elysium because I really like that game.
Tonight, I'm not going to play Death Stranding. I'm going to play Outer Wilds.
Great. Good call.
Do it.
Speaking of which, the dumbest thing in 2019 is delivering living people in face in Death Stranding.
I think the GT Goku runner-up is the thing that I'm most proud of in terms of getting things.
You
on
made
the
a good
list.
argument for it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Favorite thing, Luigi being scared.
Which makes no sense unless you actually heard the actual discussion.
And runner-up is live-action cutscenes.
People are going to see the text
DMC5.
version of that and just be like, what are they talking about?
They get it. Best podcast game for 2019, Dragon Quest Builders 2, the runner-up, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Which, an award you can actually participate in if you're playing Dragon Quest Builders right now.
Oh.
Interesting. The Honorary Good Job Capcom Award, as in tip of the cap, good job pleasing fans.
Capcom got snubbed on.
Number 1 is Respawn and the Apex Legends and Jedi Fallen Order not being microtransaction filled.
Hey,
And
go ahead. Sorry.
the runner-up is Microsoft Game Pass.
Capcom has another shot next year. Like they're releasing another game.
better luck next time.
Another
Yeah,
Street
yeah.
Fighter update. If they release another Devil May Cry game, maybe.
It's true.
Finally get that award that their titular award.
The greatest work of art of all time for 2019
Apparently, Watchmen.
I
is
guess.
Watchmen on HBO.
You guys will agree
I'm
with
done
this
on
when you go
Amazon
watch it.
And the runner-up is Dreams from Media Molecule. The most aggressively mediocre game of 2019tain is Rage 2.
I guess, yeah,
The
sure.
runner-up is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order.
everyone remembers.
Shoulder shrugs all around.
The best character for 2019 is Parvati from The Outer Worlds. The runner-up is Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. The best moment from 2019, the Great Ape fight in Sekiro. The runner-up, Fortnite shutting down and getting sucked into a black hole for several
Hours.
days, day and a half, whatever it is.
Couple days.
Hey, good job, Capcom.
Good job, Capcom. Hey, my favorite moment was this list that we made together,
Yeah, that was
and the
super
friends
fun.
we made along the way.
Absolutely. Hey, should we take a little break and then answer some quick community emails?
Let's do
Here
it.
we go. Hey, this show's not over yet. Boys, we got a lot to cover, including saying thanks to everybody that supports us on Patreon, because
Thank you.
This whole thing is possible because of patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. Everybody getting in there and chipping in $2, $5. Some people chip in with $100, and they're very generous. And so if you're just listening and watching this for free, you enjoyed those, big awards. If you were floored by those awards, consider contributing to our Patreon.
Yeah.
If you contribute to the $2 tier, you get access to the wonderful Discord, which is private and Shangri-La. And also you then get to submit questions and stuff, which we're going to be going over in a little bit here. Something we changed last week was the Wall of Heroes. So if you support us at the $100 level, you can be on the TV behind us, the Wall of Heroes TV. So every time we do community questions, we will have those names rotating through. And also, if you are a supporter, Michael Moray, by the way, is he's killing it.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Very impressive.
but you can choose what goes up on there. If you want to put a picture of your pet on the MinnMax set, even just for 1 month, that's
Cool
$100 of support. We'd appreciate it. Beaten Down Brian did exactly that. Jawar Hello, we could put his picture in there. The people that have supported us at the $100 level, if your name is on there, I reached out to you on Patreon. Be sure to get back to me and let me know what picture you want on there. And we could also throw in your Twitter handle, YouTube name, Twitch, whatever you want. There's 1,000 things to promote.
Just no D pics.
No D pics, please. That's all we
What about
ask.
D-pad picks?
That's possible. Okay. Also, I was thinking about, we have been so close to hitting our goal of 11,000 a month on Patreon, which would allow us to hire a graphic designer to kind of revamp the logo, create great looking thumbnails and stuff for YouTube. And I think it would really help us grow and get out there in a big bad way. And we've been hovering at this 10,000 number for so long. And it's great. The community is unbelievably generous and supportive. And it's made us more than sustainable. But it's just like this frustrating thing of God, I just wish we could get over this goal. And I think the only way we can do it, I think it feels like our community is pretty saturated, right? I think we need to expand beyond our community in some ways. And I was thinking about this. What if we call it the Great Expansion? So how this would work in my mind, if you refer a friend, or better yet, a small business, or somebody that you know is looking to promote something, if you refer a friend to our Patreon, that person registers on the Patreon, or signs up for the Patreon, I should say, and then that person sends us a message on Patreon saying who referred them, we will give the person that referred them a shout out at the end of the MinnMax show. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
I love it.
And especially we'll rank it too, right? Like if you refer somebody that you think could use the cheapest advertising in the world by being on the TV in the background of the back half of every week of the MinnMax show for $100, then we'll put you at the top of the heap, right? And so again, refer MinnMax to a friend. Once your friend signs up for the Patreon, then just have them send me a DM. I read every message on Patreon and let me know who referred them, and we'll happily give them a plug. Let's expand this sucker to hit that graphic design goal, please.
Let's do it.
Also, we should congratulate Richard Mady. He's a big supporter here at MinnMax, and he wants us to say, hey, happy holidays, MinnMaxers. Are you getting cozy in your brand new VR headset? If so, check out To the Top. It's a first-person platformer that gives you superhuman abilities and the chance to escape from your family with hours of gameplay. Official PlayStation Magazine gave it a 9 out of 10. It's available on PSVR, Steam VR, and Oculus Home. It's 2020, y'all. Take the leap into the future with
To the Top!
Again, if you want us to read your little plug for whatever you'd like, even if it's just, hey, I love my wife, I love my dog, whatever it is, that's $400 of support on the Patreon, patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns. Thanks, everybody. Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Now it's big old community questions. And obviously this is a long episode, but we can't just ignore these wonderful questions.
No, it's what makes the show better.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we have to have email of the year. We're going to look through all of the email suggestions.
Categories.
These aren't emails.
So what are the email categories?
That's right. Chris Bartlett writes in. He says, hey, now that we know Project Resistance is part of the Resident Evil 3 remake, do you think it might actually have a sustainable community? I doubt it would have sold as well if it's as its own offshoot, and even if it had been a standalone free-to-play game, I think it would have been harder to convince people to download it than it is to get them to click the menu option within the Resident Evil 3 remake, which is probably going to sell like hotcakes. Do you think you are personally more likely to check out Project Resistance / Resident Evil Resistance now?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Even
it's a super smart thing for them to bundle those two things together.
Yeah.
Yep, because there's like, it's like, okay, maybe there's not enough meat on Resident Evil 3 compared to Resident Evil 2 with all the different scenarios and stuff. And so just a very smart way of making up that gap then is Capcom saying, hey, all right, we'll put this 4v1 freaky thing in there. Even if you don't like it, it's optional.
Yeah, Resident Evil 3.
Yeah. Are you guys excited about that?
The multiplayer Resident Evil 3? Yeah, I don't think I would have played that multiplayer game outside of it being on Resident Evil 3, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I mean, it's like a continuation of what was so great about the Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm on board, 100%.
I'm curious to see what the scope of that game is, since it is smaller compared to Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
I imagine they'll probably have a little bit more of like, hey, here's new content that further expounds the story, something like the
There's more wiggle
store
room in Resident Evil 3, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Bartlett says, bonus question, do you think Resistance could bring down the review scores compared to the more pure Resident Evil 2 remake? I 100% think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If people think this, 4v1 mode is okay, but on its own it would have scored like a 7, I do think that's going to drag it down, which, you can argue whether or not that's right. Since it's optional, what do you do?
I think the factor that may change that is that people now know that it was kind of, okay, we're adding this thing as a bonus. Whereas I think when a game comes out where it feels more like one cohesive package, but then people are like, hey, the multiplayer of this sucks, I think that has more of a chance to influence ratings. But I think with this, it would be easier for people to say, I'm buying this for Resident Evil 3. This part's really good. They added this extra thing, but you can ignore it if you want.
Yeah.
Which reviewers do sometimes do.
We think of like the classic example of Doom 2016, right? Like, the multiplayer was kind of disappointing there. So that's the opposite example.
But I think people... And also, people wanted good multiplayer from that experience.
Yeah, there was an expectation that Doom would have good multiplayer. But I think in hindsight now, if Doom Eternal has that same issue, like I guess I would be more okay with just saying like, yeah, you can just ignore that multiplayer. I still think, whatever, if assuming Doom Eternal is good, then I can say like, yeah, you can have a totally great time and just completely ignore this part of the game. It doesn't affect the part that you like and want at this point.
Yeah. Cade Marks says, hey, we're all used to games being forced out too early by publishers with lackluster content and a myriad of technical issues. Many of these games have felt like a letdown from the promise that they showed pre-release. So here's my question. If you could go back in time and delay one game by 6 months to give the developer more time to iron out the bugs or add more content to improve the gameplay loop, which game would you choose? Personally, I'd choose Destiny 1. Good choice.
Mine's a small one, but we talked about it in the music episode. That game, Vane.
I just needed 6 months, you think?
Well, maybe not even 6 months, but it needed more time. Like, there was a really interesting sort of abstract, cool game there, but like, I just ran into so many bugs that, and I'm not like a reviewer, I guess you could say, who is too bugs don't bug me too much as long as they don't like like radically screw me over. You know what I mean? Like a bug here and there's not a big deal, but that one it really affected sort of the pace of that game. So I would have liked to see that game get a little more time.
And then you'd be vouching for Vane for a game of the year?
Potentially.
Wow, what a world! What a world!
I don't know if 6 months would have been enough, but both State of Decay games were my go-to ones.
And like they had a lot of time for State of Decay too. That was so frustrating. That's a great suggestion.
This is a simple one, but like I think maybe with 6 months they could have ironed out the frame rate issues in Link's Awakening.
Maybe.
And it wouldn't be like
surprising.
it wouldn't marginally affect my experience, but I know a lot of people have that issue with that game. So that game, that remake is also really good. So I think not having that issue would be a huge.
Just make it that much better.
Yeah. People can vote on it, by the way, for the final Great Goaty Hunt stream, which is going to be next week. If you're $10 support on Patreon, you get to choose what we stream. And I remember, I forget what the other 3 games are personally, but I remember Link's Awakening is in that batch. Zach Brown says, howdy y'all. What Poke profession would you choose if you lived in the Pokemon world? Would you continue their utopian society or just freeload like all those lazy trainers?
That is true that like the trainers don't really contribute much other than like as a potential like part of a spectator sport, I imagine. Yeah, like I guess as a sort of
people give them money, so if you lose as a trainer, you have to
how does
empty
that
your
whole economy?
wallet.
Like who is funding the people
Pokemon
who give
economy?
you like, oh yeah, you beat me in a Pokemon fight. Here's like 500 yen or whatever they use in their Pokemon world.
It is very confusing, but they just pull the coins off Meowth's skull, I think, and so it kind of works out that way. I would be a badge forger. I'd be like a blacksmith, but for gym badges, because apparently they give those away like candy. Because if you have a level 8 Squirtle right this way,
I would be like the first gym trainer because you don't have to like get too fancy with the gym.
Right.
You kind of keep it simple and like everyone has a good time. You're not a hurdle for anybody.
Yeah, no hurdle for that Squirtle.
I'd be one of the nurses. Don't they just like put them in an incubator or whatever, and then they're fine?
Throw them on the
That's a good
thing,
point.
the thing makes a sound.
And you get that healthcare bank.
Yeah, but then what if someone wanders into the Pokemon Center and is like, please, I'm bleeding out. Help me.
But the human?
Are you a Pokemon? Get out of here.
Yeah.
We don't go to a human hospital.
They
you
don't
freak.
exist. What's he supposed to do?
Go die somewhere else.
Did you guys
Get on
think,
your bike and go die somewhere.
did you guys also think it was weird in the Pokemon anime when Brock wanted to be a Pokemon breeder and his defining characteristic is that he was horny as hell? It was weird to me that he was always like, women, ooh, boy,
wanted to be a
nosebleed.
breeder.
And then he was just like, my job is I want to be a breeder.
It was weird. I just like it when things breed.
Really?
I haven't watched enough of the original Pokemon.
You got to start thinking about it, man.
Yeah,
Think
I'd
about
be
it.
there all
Quit
the time.
squinting.
I would be the guy who lets people into the Savari zone. Seems like a pretty chill job.
Here's a rock.
Yeah.
Don't blow it. Hans Kleinenberg says, I realize that the goal is a while away on Patreon, but do you guys have any idea what you want to do with the new studio space? Ben, I know you're a big Easy Allies fan, but I hope you're doing something a bit more less gamer guys.
A bit more or less gamer guys.
It'd probably be a little bit gamer guys, but maybe not as gamer guys as you.
Would it be a bit more less?
I think it would be a little bit more or less gamer guys. I don't know. That's if we hit 15K, I would love to get out of this cold basement. We'd bring a lot
heater.
of this stuff. Yeah, one heater,
good
please.
enough.
But
2 heaters.
I'm so focused on hitting that graphic design goal if we hit 11K. Like, we're so close to that. I just want to clear that
But
before
the
the new
studio,
year.
we need a green screen so that we can reenact ourselves in all these different games that we're talking about.
That'd
Right?
be pretty silly.
Yeah, then we can make ourselves CGI in the podcast, and we won't even have to be here.
Oh, smart. Mark Charette says, what is your biggest dream or hope for gaming right now? Doesn't have to be too large scale or industry wide or anything like that, but just something you think or hope about often. For me personally, the quality of the Resident Evil 2 remake and the absolute love and care put into it made me think about other games I would want remade from the ground up, like the Mass Effect trilogy. Biggest dream or hope for gaming?
You go first, Cyril, please.
I just want cross save to be standard across all games. I'm so tired of like I've bought Overwatch on every platform, and the fact that I have to make separate progress and have different cosmetics, and like the fact that it took this long for Destiny to do that. I want even Monster Hunter is a game I would love to play with people on PS4, or just like even cross save, crossplay. That like the fact that those ecosystems still don't talk to each other is still like this huge. Like, I have to consult with people of like, okay, what version of Anthem am I going to get? Ultimately, it didn't matter. But
No version.
But like, even if I want to play The Division, I can't like jump in with a group who's been playing on PS4 because that's their platform of choice. Like, that's something that I think is feasibly doable within the next console generation.
Yeah. Smart
Great
choice.
answer.
So, Kyle.
I want everyone to look at the Switch's success and make their own sort of portable hybrid.
You want the PlayStation hybrid thing?
Yeah, I want just a PlayStation 4 portable. Like, just sign into my account, all the games that are on. That's what I want.
Well, don't you kind of get that? Isn't there some PC thing you can run your thing off of Wi-Fi?
That doesn't work well at all. Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, even that's one of the reasons I'm excited about Stadia. Is like the future of like being able to play those games on a mobile platform of some
You got a
kind.
pass for Stadia. Has anybody checked it out?
I didn't get one.
I got one. But
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
raised
the most
my
appealing
hand and
part.
you picked cereal.
Oh, that's right.
That's like the most appealing thing about Stadia for me is like going home and not having to bring my PS4 and potentially playing Destiny while on my laptop. Like,
Yeah.
that is all I could expect out of Stadia, considering like Destiny is a free to play game, so I don't have to pay for it separately, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the most I could get out of Stadia, and I'm kind of happy to be able to do that.
It is bizarre. I just toyed around with it a little bit and just like, okay,
So
Samurai
it's like only
Showdown.
on you have to use a Chrome browser, or is it like
Yeah, I ran it through this MacBook right here, actually.
Okay.
But it's so weird because you have to like unlock the games or buy the games on your phone. It's just, it's a weird
But you
system
can't
right
play it
now.
on your phone yet, right? But that's in the future.
Not iPhone, at least.
Okay,
No.
but Google phones. Or
I believe so, the Pixel thing.
But did you guys? Does it work okay? Did you guys run into big
It
problems?
seemed fine. I mean,
Fine,
honestly,
fine.
it was like I booted up Samurai Showdown and said, okay, this technically runs on a laptop. That's weird.
That's
weird. Henrik Jacobson says, hey, minis, if you guys had to live in one of the levels from Super Mario 64, which level would you choose?
Oh man, that's a good question.
I feel like we are living in the snow one.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is like
I'm gonna walk outside and go through like an elaborate slide, but I'm always too scared to do the huge jump that could skip me half the course.
100%. 100%.
What was? Gosh,
You can't choose the castle either. That's not a level.
What was the one that was like the most engaging and interesting to me was? It was like half. You could like raise and lower the water.
Dry Docks.
Yeah.
Dire
Docks. Something about
more sense
that
than Dry
world was always so interesting to me
Those
because
bugs.
it's the bugs, and then you could also launch yourself to like the other side of it, and there was like a town that seemed like abandoned, kind of.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that where we could live? How's the
think
real
that's where we
estate
could
at
live.
Dire Docks?
But I don't know that level and like there's a lot
Do
of
you
magic.
want to live in a place called Dire Docks?
It's lovely.
With like
it's got
bugs?
a good soundtrack.
Oh, wait a minute.
This is
So
Capcom
I'm
from
thinking
the
of a different one.
Triple D.
I'm thinking of the one.
Jolly Roger Bay.
Is that what it is? So
That one's like an indoor cave kind of with, and there's the big eels down there.
I mean, the
No,
eels
I think
are
that's
terrifying. so I
Dire
wouldn't-
Docks. I think Dire Docks is the eel level.
So I'm definitely thinking of a different one. or
Uh,
rather, we're thinking
I
the same
think
one, but
I
it's
The
think
water bug one.
yeah, but we
I
don't know
think
the
the
name.
eels are in Jolly Roger Bay.
Oh boy.
No, I don't think so. I think that's Dire Docks.
Yeah, we're
Wet
trying to
Dry World?
Maybe that doesn't sound right, but that explains the level though, right? Because you can rate. But I don't know. Like there was something about the soundtrack for that place. Like I don't know why it stood out. There's a lot of magic to Mario 64 that's kind of like hard to sort of
It's a
pinpoint
weird world.
exactly. But like that level in particular was always really fascinating and fun to explore for me. I
Yeah.
don't
So
know
here
why.
are the levels. Bob on Battlefield. That'd be great.
That would
Mom's
be okay.
Fortress. Jolly Roger Bay. I don't think that exists. Cool Mountain. Big Boo's Haunt.
That's a
Hazy.
mansion. That might be okay.
Hazy Maze Cave, Lethal Lava Land. That sounds nice. This time of year. Shifting Sands Land,
Didn't like that
Dire
one.
Docks, Snowman's Land, Wet Dry World, Tall Mountain, Tiny Huge Island, Tick-Tock Clock. Tiny Huge Island would be fun.
Yeah.
Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride.
And so you pulled up Wet Dry. Oh, these pictures are.
I feel like
They're
Rainbow
very
Ride.
small and bad.
That's it.
That sounds cool.
Jolly Roger Bay is the underwater one, which was I was trying to
The
tell you,
eel
Jeff.
one, yes.
I'm trying to explain
No,
to you.
the eel is not in there.
It is.
It's not.
Look.
The one that's fully underwater.
Yeah,
And you
that's
have
what
to
this
co-
is.
and you have
Yes.
to collect the coins.
This is it.
Dire
Jolly Roger
Docks
Bay
has
the
to
eel.
make this list.
Dire Docks is
Look at
the
all
eel.
the eels in Jolly Roger Bay.
Oh, sorry, Jolly Roger Bay.
This was the most contentious moment of this podcast, bar none.
Yes, we got through that entire category awards
All right.
list, and now we're all yelling at each other.
What is it called? The one that's just
Kyle, look at this.
Where's
Open
the
your
volume
eyes.
on this?
Wet Dry World is the one with the bugs, and you're changing the water level, and it's the one we're talking about.
Okay,
Yes.
Wet Dry World. I love. I want to live there.
Great, and I'm
there's
going to
a
live with
lot of-
Kyle, and no one can come into our
I'm
little
going
house.
to-
Rainbow Ride.
Big tiny world.
Just
That's a good
find
one.
my cloud and sleep on
make
it
a
all
life for
day.
yourselves there.
There's a boat at some point.
Great. Fine. Ed from
TikTok
Chicago writes in and says, "Hello, MinnMax crew. I love the quizzes people send in.
We do too.
Here's one for you. Match the following 10 fictional ship names from some of my favorite games or franchises.
Oh gosh.
Ship name trivia. Number 1, Normandy.
Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he says that's a freebie and it doesn't count.
Okay,
Also,
good.
you're dumb.
Jeez, all right.
Ready?
So these are spaceships too, then.
Yes. Any type of ship.
Ship's a
And
ship, man.
relationships.
The moldy... the moldy crow.
Oh, man.
Does that sound
Is that like a
familiar to anybody?
Banjo-Kazooie thing?
Assassin's Creed, Black Flag.
Interesting. No. Think about,
I have
okay,
no idea.
what universe has the naming convention of the second part of
Bloodborne.
the ship's name being a bird?
That's a very specific question.
The Ebon Hawk, for example?
Chrono?
Dragon Age?
What's the ship called in
I was
Chrono
going to say
Trigger?
Dragon Age 2, but that's just because there's a
Then they
character
make
named
Hawk,
Hawk,
right?
right?
Okay,
yeah,
that's
that's
right.
throwing
Okay.
us all.
The answer is Dark Forces.
Dark Forces.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a Star Wars thing. The ships are always
I'm
birds.
quietly relieved that I had no chance to answer that question.
Here's a very
I
smart...
don't know if I've ever noticed that pattern.
Oh,
Star
really?
Wars. Yeah, I don't think so. Are there birds in Star Wars?
Are there's Minox.
There's falcons, I guess.
Oh, by the way, if you're just listening or watching this, I recorded with Ross, the Star Wars man, commentary tracks for spoilers, both Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and so those are going to be going up this week. So it was like sitting down in the studio last night for 5 hours talking about
Star Wars.
it. Was super fun, but it is so nerdy. But if you are a supporter on Patreon at the $5 level, you get access to those in the podcast feed.
Cool.
Okay, anyways, this is a fun one. This is great. The USS Barack Obama.
Shaq Fu.
Excuse me?
The Shaq Fu sequel.
No.
Not close?
No.
Barack Obama appears in that game.
USS Barack Obama. Let's try and reason this out. What game? Or
Civ 6.
Interesting choice. No.
Saints Row 4.
No. Call of
South
Duty
Park?
Black
Oh.
Ops 2.
Okay.
Isn't that tricky?
That's fine. That's like the one Call of Duty I haven't played, actually.
The USG Ishimura.
Dead Space.
Dead
There we go.
Space, yeah.
Yeah.
The Hyperion. Looking at you, Serial.
StarCraft.
There we go, baby! The Aquila.
That's Assassin's Creed.
Yes, way to go. That's Assassin's Creed 3. The Jackdaw, Assassin's Creed 4. Edrestia is Odyssey. Huh. Ava's Hammer.
Is EVA?
Yes. EVA. EVA.
EVA.
We did it. We answered the question. Moving on.
I was born in a cross. All right, so it's a very specific reference for anybody that cares.
I have no idea. I don't know.
That is Wolfenstein New Order / New Colossus.
Oh, that's right. I should have known that one.
The
I
Borealis.
apologize.
Crap.
Half-Life.
There we
Hey,
go.
oh,
Half-Life
nice.
2.
Yeah,
Way to go.
That's an actual like ship in the water. yeah.
Absolutely. All right. This is my favorite game. Mike Spam writes in, says, "Hey, Ben," and I'm making the insert joke here. By the way, I didn't read any of them, but so many people wrote in saying, "Hey, Ben," and his computer-loving cohorts.
That's
which
good. We like that.
I wanted to make fun
CLCs.
of at the start of the show, but we had a newspaper writer actually in the room at the start of the show. If you were curious who Kyle was waving to, so like, we shouldn't make fun of newspaper articles at the start
What
of
a
the
bunch of losers.
But my hometown newspaper wrote an article about MinnMax, and then in that, they said they like labeled everybody, and they said Ben and his computer-loving cohorts. I'm like, what does that mean?
It's got alliteration, man. What are you going to say? Video game loving
I mean, they
gurus?
fact-checked it. Like, it's accurate.
Second time I've been in a local newspaper. First time it's been positive.
Okay.
No, let's move
Expand.
on. We got a lot to cover. What are you talking about, Serial?
Because a little while ago, there was like a local newspaper who did a story on my brother, and it was like, oh yeah, he's like super successful. He's a coder or whatever. He's like, I think part of the angle is like he's Mexican American, so it's like for the heritage and stuff. And like at the end, it's like his brother might have more trouble like succeeding. He's an English major. Like, that is how they ended the article. Wow. And look where I am now. They were right.
Yeah, in a cold basement.
Yeah.
Now I love computers.
I'm a cohort now.
Okay, hey Ben and the cohorts or whatever. I'm back with another round of Game That Fact, where you have to guess the game based off of the questions asked by players like you on Game Facts.
That's good.
So people going to Game Facts and searching for these questions.
Good.
or typing in these questions, you know the drill.
This is a good angle.
It's very good. We played it once before on the Game Informer show. It might have been in the Phantom Zone. Where you guys
I
weren't
remember
there.
it, yeah.
Okay.
I listened to it. I don't think I participated.
There we go. All right. So we give the platform and the year first.
Okay.
The platform is the Nintendo Switch in the year 2049. No, 2018.
Okay.
Question number 1. Do we need to be friends?
Can I ask if it's like a Switch exclusive, or is that too much of a
No,
hint?
no.
You
Okay.
buzz in with your name when you're darn good and ready.
So do we have to be friends?
Yep.
Splatoon 2?
Incorrect.
Smash Brothers.
Incorrect. There's more. There's 2 more questions here.
Oh, okay.
I could get used to this.
It's an online game of some kind.
Who wants a real rival?
Let's go Pikachu and Eevee?
Yes, correct.
Oh, I thought it was only one.
Yeah,
I thought
it
was
was,
one
doesn't
but
guess.
count.
you know
I'm
what?
gonna say
That's-
let's go Pikachu and Eevee.
That is correct.
Yes!
And then
Nice
the third
job.
question was 4 trade evolvements.
So, but do we want to actually play it that way? Right?
Well, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
sorry. I thought we were just shouting answers because we were having fun.
You are.
No,
I will play
There's
properly.
no
Serious,
fun down
dude.
here.
I
Yeah.
will play properly.
Okay, the platform is the Nintendo 64. The year
2019.
1998.
Okay.
I can't find the bow. Please help. And I don't know what stairs everyone is telling me about because there's millions.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Incorrect. If it helps, they misspelled or they used the wrong theirs. Question 2.
It does. It helps a lot. I actually know what it is now.
Question 2. Where are all the locations of spots to plant beans?
The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
There we go. Way to go. Question 3
gonna
was,
say
what do
that.
I do with the blue chicken?
Man, I don't remember Blue Chicken.
I don't remember that.
Oh my God, this is good. Platform is basically everything in 2011.
Okay.
Question 1. How do I become a vampire lord? No links.
No links.
Question 2. The marriage ceremony won't start. Help!
Skyrim.
Yes, there we
Oh,
go.
nice.
Skyrim.
How to
Question
get married in
3.
Skyrim.
My companions are gone. Where are they? I love this game.
That's good.
This is good, yeah.
Platform is PS2. The year 2006.
Okay. Ooh,
Unique, isn't it? Why can't I kiss girls anymore? Oh, I'm sorry. This is from Serial's Diary, actually.
Oh yeah, also released in 2006 on PS2.
Didn't sound well.
What did your memory card icon look like?
It's just a thing, a picture of my face, kind of. It was like a flat.
Peace
Peachy
sign,
lips.
Yeah.
Question 2. Defeating the nerd boss? Question?
Bully.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go,
nice.
Serial. Question 3. Where and how do I find kick me signs? Okay. The platform is Switch/Wii U in 2017.
Okay.
Super Smash Brothers.
Nope.
That was 2018.
Also,
I
the
don't care.
game didn't come out on both
I
platforms.
don't care.
How
A
to
Smash Brothers, whatever.
how to beat this game without a walkthrough?
I love that he posts that
Wow.
question to get help on how to beat the game without getting. Very good.
Oh, I'm dumb. I'm
Yep,
dumb. Damn it.
How do I fix Part 3 Stone Monument when it isn't working? What do I do to fix
Is
it?
it Breath of the Wild?
There it is.
Yeah,
Breath of the
yeah,
Wild.
yeah.
Question 3. Where is the best place to find a shooting star? What is a shooting star in Breath of the Wild?
It's a really valuable. I mean, you see them literally land from the sky, and then you
I
can
don't know
trade
if I
them with
saw one.
fairies to get. It's how you get some of the best equipment in the game. They're rare. They're super rare. It was actually probably the one thing I left undone in that game was collecting enough shooting stars to get all the good stuff.
The platform is the 3DS.
I'm familiar.
The year is 2013. As a hint, hang on, who submitted this thing? Mike Spam. As a hint, Mike Spam says this game has over 2,000 questions asked, and it's still getting them nearly daily on GameFAQs.
What was the platform again?
3DS,
3DS.
2013.
Okay. 2013. Okay.
Question 1. How to get a spider?
Animal Crossing.
There we go.
Wow. Nice.
Question 2. Canberra gave me a happy tea that I can't wear and acted suspicious when giving me it. What is this event exactly? And then question 3 is issues with long distance traveling and best friend messaging. That's very good. I love that game. I will play that game every week if
Yeah, I like it.
Mike Spam, you want to keep that stuff rolling because I think that's awesome. It's been a long one, but let's wrap it all up with Get a
Get
load
a load of
this.
this.
All right.
Zuriel, what do you got, man?
Hold on. I've been told multiple times that I have to do the thing. So. Get a load of this.
Okay.
There
It counts at
I don't
least.
really have like a thing. It's not like a video or audio or a tweet thing. It's more like there was an article this week / video on IGN that is called, I want to say, "The Lie That Helped Build Nintendo," and it is about how the Swedish distributor of Nintendo is like one of the only parts of that company that is independent from Nintendo.
Oh, I started reading this, yeah.
Yeah, and they have like a history of like this guy who basically was like, I think he just owned like a store in Sweden, and he was playing a Game & Watch, and he was like captivated by it, and he basically found a way to talk to Nintendo and said like, I will take as many as you can give me, but he didn't necessarily have like the resources or distribution network to actually sell those units. So he basically lied to them and said like, yeah, I can sell these units, it'll be fine. And then Nintendo was like, okay, all right, here's like what I think the minimum order was like 10,000 Game & Watches, sell these. And so it catalogs that history of like how this guy's company basically became the de facto distributor for Nintendo in Scandinavia and parts of Europe, basically all entirely built on this guy having lied to Nintendo.
It's also a really good headline and like framing for that story, because how else would you frame that story of like, this Swedish guy is different?
It was interesting to read just as like a time capsule piece of like him getting the Game & Watch for the first time and like flying back home.
Yeah.
And like the idea of like that was like the first time people were like playing games on an airplane, and like he shared it with his neighbor, and they're like, what is this thing? You know,
Yeah.
like it's interesting.
And they have like a whole story within there about like how he went to Japan for like the idea that he was going to go there to their 2 separate offices over like 2 days, and then that like because of I think inclement weather and like scheduling stuff, he basically only had 1 afternoon to visit both. So he had to like figure out like, okay, how am I going to try to get these people to how am I going to visit these people so I can even convince them to do it? So it's a really good story.
Yeah.
I believe it was Joe Screbbles, I think is his last name.
I'm not sure the byline. But
Cool.
yeah.
That sounds great. Love it.
That's much more interesting than mine.
Take it away, dude.
Get a load of this.
Yeah.
It's cold out right now.
Thing that's on. Yeah.
Yes. In the winter region, you guys know that I've been dealing with leaky tires on both of my cars,
Yeah.
right? My car, my wife's car. We've been trying to figure it out.
Wait for this punchline, Kyle. It's gonna slay.
Yes.
Can't wait.
When we went to the community thing,
Yeah.
when we came out, our tire was almost flat, and it is that terrible feeling of like, I have to try and get this car to a gas station now, hope that it has an air pump, hope that the air pump works, all that crap.
Yeah.
So we managed to do that, got it home, next day completely flat, so we couldn't get it to a tire place either. I called my mommy, like a person does.
Right.
I was actually trying to call my dad, but he wasn't home. So
He hasn't been home
Important
for
detail.
13
yes.
years.
So I said like, we need a jack. We have a spare for the car. We need a jack and a tire iron and stuff. She came to me with this miraculous gadget. It's about this big. It's just a tire inflator that you plug into your cigarette lighter and then put it on your car. They cost like $50, and then you just turn it on and it will reinflate your tire for you.
So instead of just
Pumping?
a pump.
No, well, the idea is
supportable
Yeah,
pump.
because you can't use like a bike pump or anything like that. I
Right.
thought you would have to get like a giant air compressor
I love
kind
this.
of thing. It's just a little thing that, and I was like, oh, for $50, I will totally. Because if you've ever had a flat tire, like I am paranoid about flat tires from then on.
Yeah.
And you can just throw it in the trunk of your car, and just have it with you.
And tire inflator?
Yeah. They're
be damned.
$50. But that's not all, because that doesn't actually fix the leaky tire. It just lets you refill it. So we took both of our cars to Discount Tire. This is not a promotion or anything, right?
Hashtag not ad.
Yes.
But if they want to, we're open to it.
Sure. Way to poison the story, Kyle. But at that point I was like, I don't care how much it's going to cost. Like, we just have to get these tires fixed so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
We were there for like an hour and a half because it's huge lines, because everyone is having the same problems when it's winter like this. They fixed both of them. They gave us our receipt. It's $0. They just fix flat tires for free. And we didn't buy the tires from Discount Tire. It's just a way to get you into the door. And then if your tire is so bad that you actually need to buy new tires, then you're already there and we'll probably buy it to them. But the guy just came up, was super nice, was like, oh yeah, we resealed them and patched them, whatever you need, and here are your keys back.
Give us your wife.
Have a good day.
Wow.
Yes, and then they kidnapped my wife.
There we go.
So if you are in a wintry region, keep those 2 hot tips in mind.
What was it? Tires
you.
Plus?
Yep.
All right.
No,
Right.
no, Discount Tires.
Oh, Discount Tires. Excuse me.
Don't say Tires Plus.
All right, my turn?
Yeah, I was waiting to see what happened if I didn't host it for a second.
Get a load of this. Yeah. So this is this guy, Jazmoo, Archie Henderson on Twitter said, I am a music historian with Adrian RMG. I have researched the best-selling single of every decade all the way back to 14,000 BC. Here's a thread. 2010, Ed Sheeran's The Shape of You. So he has like...
Slow down. What is this?
Okay. This guy...
14,000 BC?
Yeah. So what he's doing is he's like he's sharing like the biggest hits of all these years,
Okay.
right? So like the first one is like, Ed Sheeran,
Really
a recent
good.
song.
And this is a hot new song.
Yeah. So that was 2010s.
Oh.
This is 2000s. James Blunt, You're Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
We all remember where we were.
And then it's true. Mambo number 5 for the 1990s. This is important setup for everything.
I got it.
Oh, we know it, right?
We love it.
And I was like going down this list, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. 1980s Cher, I Could Turn Back Time. Okay,
Classic.
But then it totally catches you off guard because starting in the 1970s, and this list is really long. It's just made up songs, and this is supposed to be a song by the Bee Gees called "Ha." And it goes on and on. This is the 1960 Herbie Bonson, Do the Crunch. Look at that picture there.
Do the crunch.
Oh, that's very good.
And then it just it gets crazier and crazier, and then it just gets more absurd the deeper you go down the thread, and then it even they because Cher has If I Could Turn Back Time. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Go down the list. There's Cher Comes Back at a certain point. Oh yeah, the 1580s. So and it's just this it just works.
Stupid joke.
I loved it so much because the first 3 are real songs. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
But your first hint should have been when he listed it, went back to 14,000
I know.
BC.
That's why I was like, what is this? This is crazy. And the
right.
first 3 songs are real, but then it just gets so insane of just So what is it? Wait, this one's song from the 1430s. Anyway, it's a really great. It's really long, and it's worth it just listening to every single song. It's very funny.
I love it.
Beautiful.
This is much simpler. Last week, George Broussard, who's the co-founder of 3D Realms and Apogee, and helped create Duke Nukem and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He just tweeted some data from Google Trends saying currently Stadia is trending downward towards hot dogs on Google Trends. I have no idea what this means, and present it merely as a data point. And I went and checked the update now, and yeah, hot dogs are a hotter Google trend than Google's own Stadia.
There you go. Talk about things people forgot came out this year.
Yeah.
Also,
exactly.
unfortunately, you didn't say get a load of this, so it doesn't count.
Oh,
You lose.
Listen,
Trover's another moment. It's a moment of the year now.
All right. Thanks so much for sticking with us in the long haul. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or consider supporting the Patreon if you have not checked it out yet. Patreon.com/MinnMax2ends. We'd really love to hit that graphic design thing by the end of the year. Next week, maybe we'll be even longer. This is going to be MinnMax Awards Round 2, otherwise known as the actual ranking of our games of the year, and we're not doing it individually. We'll have our own individual list. We'll probably share on Patreon or find some clever way to do it, maybe YouTube in some way. But this will be for the communal table MinnMax assessment of the official ranking of top 10 games, or maybe more. Let's find out next week, eh?
Wait, hold on. What is up with you randomly, while Fava was telling a story, you just grabbed 2 cans of LaCroix or whatever and put them on the table.
I wanted to not forget that they were down there. There's not some Easter egg in these cans on the table. Sorry. We've lost our minds. We've been down here for too long. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, there's that GoFundMe link in the YouTube description. We'll be buying a bunch of fun toys and games for kids stuck in the hospital soon, so donate there if you want to feel good over the holidays. All right, everybody, be good, have fun. Let's go.